Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei failed the entrance exam of Kuoh Academy and went to Nanyo Academy Ikkitousen Part 2. Before we start, please go support DavidArmandoLopezRey for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. This is the translated version I made. There will be some wrong he or she calling here because it's translated, so let me clear this. Issei is a male in this story. Chapter 2. The Awakening of the Red Dragon Emperor Part 2. Narrator summary. On Hagen Island, unknown to the human world but known to the supernatural, since there is a clandestine tournament with extraordinary powers and martial arts, Gehenna tournament that ended every 3 years, Issei Hyodou, who was the champion of the island, defends his undefeated against the legendary beast manticores, thus starting a fierce confrontation between the monster versus the old man Hyodou, where he came out victorious. However, he always knew that his grandson had a hidden power, and now it is time for him to show it before the world. On the other hand, our protagonist arrived at the city of Kuoh, which was a raiment stand to buy raiment to take away, and also as he would contact his friend from elementary school who helps with the clothing situation. When he arrived at his apartment, he had dinner and went to sleep, where later his first encounter with a red celestial dragon, who introduced himself as Drake to the brown-haired boy. The red dragon never believed that he would contact Issei so soon, that he has awakened the hidden potential within him. The brown-haired boy asks the dragon in a curious tone if it was that gauntlet on his left arm that he wears now. Drake answers that that gauntlet was a sacred gear. Issei did not understand what sacred gear was. Drake begins to tell the origin of the sacred gear to Chestnut, who was capturing his interest in knowing more. Then he told him about the 3 biblical factions and their previous wars. Issei asked him what name the gauntlet had, and the red dragon replied that it was a longinus that has the power to surpass the gods and mass in a certain time. Its ability is to multiply the power of the user every 10 seconds and can reach on par with a high-class demon to god. When mastered, the gauntlet can even kill a god. That made the Chestnut was incredulous and shocked that his left arm was a weapon for gods. Issei again asked him how it ended up sealed within the gauntlet. Drake tells him that he and the White had a rivalry to know who was the better dragon. They even got involved in the second faction war, where God in Formas made a temporary alliance to seal their souls in the longinus. The red dragon tells the brown-haired boy what his name was, and he says his full name. Drake tells him that they are now partners. Issei wakes up from his dream, seeing that it was very early while looking at his left arm. Remembering what Drake said, he got out of bed to get ready to go out, while giving his personal hygiene, changing clothes and preparing his usual breakfast. Leaving the apartment to go to the train that would take him to Kanto. Inside the train, Issei processed the information that Drake said about the 3 factions and the sacred gear. Now more than ever he had a long way to go, and while he was going to Hakufu's apartment that the girl gave him. When he arrived at the building, taking the elevator to the 15th floor, walking in the hallway in front of the door, Issei takes a breath and begins to knock on the door for him to open it. However, he had not heard anything if there was someone, and again trying to knock, an older woman in an office suit arrives, had some food purchases that she asks our protagonist what he was doing behind him. Who was he looking for? And he answers Hakufu. The office worker woman replies mischievously that you are her boyfriend or lovers. Issei tells her the misunderstanding, that he is just a friend classmate, but asks her if she is here in her apartment. The woman kindly replies that she left her apartment, saying that she was depressed for losing in combat and that she has not eaten anything since she left. The brown-haired man thinks it was because of her fight for Ryamu. He thanks the woman for the information she gave him and left the building to begin his search for the orange-haired girl. Meanwhile, in the hospital in Saji's room, he was having a nightmare flashback of the events that occurred yesterday, where our protagonist had grabbed him by the head with a boosted gear without any effort that quickly slammed him hard into the ground, creating a crater and a wave of wind that broke the glass of the hallway, while again he lifts him up with blood on his face and losing consciousness that he did not lose that fear. Issei releases him in the air and then sees a fist from the red gauntlet that hits him so hard in the chest that he sat him into a wall, creating another large crater and causing internal damage. While he fainted with a large wound, Saji suddenly wakes up in the hospital bed that was bandaged on the head, his feet and arms covered in plaster. The blonde breathes frankly, and his whole body trembled again, while in his mind he couldn't get the red dragon out, and it was a threat to his plans. Suddenly someone enters Saji's room, who turns around to see the person, and it was Ryamu, who looked at Saji's critical state. He tells him that we saw him making fun of his state, but the blue-haired girl tells him no, and asks him how he was. The blonde answers that he only had a fractured ribs, broken bones and among others, that he will be out for 4 months, and also asks who else knows about his defeat. Ryamu answers that to Taku from the Yashu Academy. He tells her that he will recover and will leave Kanto in 4 months, leaving her in charge of the academy. The blue-haired girl does not say anything, but obeys the order and leaves the room while walking in the hallway and thinking that she wants to know about that red gauntlet of the brown-haired girl, and tomorrow she will look for him while in Saji's room. I told no one that I would go visit. Taku when she saw Flower. On the other hand, Issei continued his search on the street, and until he finds her that they were wearing the same dress that they met, she murmured something that she should not leave without having had breakfast, and so deep in thought that two subjects approached her with bad intentions towards Hakufu. Issei saw her look that she wanted to grape. Drake mentally spoke to her that he was going to lend his help for that situation, and the brown-haired girl that she tells on him, while she approaches the orange-haired girl and the duo of Avildors, the girl recognizes her friend who yells at her, and he responds with a greeting as he approached, but the subjects try to threaten her. Issei says no, one of them launched himself to hit him, that had worried Hakufu, and I told him to be careful. The motionless one who quickly counterattacked his attacker who sent him into a wall of the building knocked out, and while his companion who was scared of fear fleeing the place, Drake and Issei, had the mental conversation that did it. The red dragon tells him that he gave a little of his power and finished their conversation that Hakufu very excited asks him how did you do it and he answers that he learned by watching the kick you did to the big guy. She was going to continue, but her stomach pulled her and roared with hunger. Issei invites her to eat, and she enthusiastically responds that she drags him down the street, and while on top of a building that someone is watching him. Meanwhile somewhere in the Nanyo Academy, Kani and Gakushu have a conversation. The black-haired man tells him that the order to kill is annulled, but the madman does not agree that he threatens to kill him. Gakushu tells him that he does not have enough level to face him, but the madman that he can do it while leaving the place. Inside the pizzeria, Issei and Hakufu are sitting at a table eating a family pizza and a soda. The brown-haired boy didn't waste any time asking if she knew anything about the four divas of Nanyo. She answers that a little, and Issei asks her please if she knows anything about the four divas of Nanyo. She is hesitant about her friend's sudden question. He tells her out of curiosity, and the orange-haired girl begins to tell what her cousin said, that the four divas were an elite of the strongest fighters in the academy, a certain Taku. Again the brown-haired boy hears that name from that mysterious person. The Kufu tells him that Taku is the leader of the Kuoh Academy, who was responsible for the other rival academies being destroyed by his order for having attempted a rebellion against him and the academy. Now it is the only academy that rules over the others in all of Kanto, and including his academy. Issei listens to everything his friend said. He can't think that he has a bad feeling about his current situation, but stopping to think begins to take a sip of his drink, while the orange-haired girl is excited to face Taku who was very strong. But the brown-haired girl does not think the same since facing the leader of the Kuoh Academy alone would be suicide, and also has no more bucking problem with the Suchin Jutsu if he existed or not as the leader of his academy, and there was also Saji although he is hurt, it is not known if he will return with revenge towards him. Now more than ever he was going to protect Hakufu against a threat that is found, when he stops thinking and asks her the last question if she knew anything else, but she shakes her head and tells him that it was all she knew while eating her last piece of pizza. Issei asks the waitress for the total bill, and also tells the orange-haired girl that time to go, that she accompanies him to her apartment, and she accepts him as a girl. The two left the pizzeria to go to the orange-haired girl's apartment. Afternoon, on Nanyo Street. Issei and Hakufu continued walking through the streets. When they were passing a bridge they stopped to look under it. There were some boys who were fighting against a person. It was a 19-year-old man. His height is 173 centimeters. He has dark skin. His hair is black with a couple of hairs on his chin, eyes of the same color. He is wearing a white short-sleeved shirt, a hat of the same color. Dark blue shorts and some worn sandals. The boy noticed that this person had a magatama on his left ear. The basic said the black-haired man with a shout as he hit the fighter in the face, causing him to fall into the water. Damn, today's fighters haven't learned the basics, he said as he shouted to himself in the sky, while the boys were unconscious on the floor. The brown-haired boy saw how the girl went down the stairs to see where the fight was, so he followed her without detours. When they arrived he saw how the subject put a lock on the black-haired man's left leg. "You're a basic geek, I'll break your ligament," said the subject with a confident tone, until the black-haired man took a lot of strength to lift his left leg up which the subject still held. "Great," said the brown-haired boy and the orange-haired girl at the same time because of what they were seeing. "The basics," he exclaimed the black-haired man as he slammed his left leg down hard on the floor, causing the guy's back to hurt. "Don't use the submission hold in a street fight, damn it, you're a bunch of freaks. Why do you try to use flashy moves when you haven't even mastered the basics yet," he said as he lunged at another guy. "The basics of street fighting are punches," he said as he lands a punch on the right side of the guy's face. "Kicks," he said as he kicked the first guy and the second guy in the head, but he didn't notice that a guy was carrying a butterfly knife in his right hand. "I," said the guy with the knife as he tried to stab the black-haired man in the back. "Abnormal," said the black-haired man as he tried to kick the guy with the knife, but the same guy who did the lock held him by the right leg, preventing him from moving from there. When the guy tried to attack with the butterfly knife someone hit him on the back, causing him to fall to the floor. The one who did that was Hakufu. Using a butterfly knife against someone who is unarmed is shameful, said the orange-haired man, making the black-haired man look at him strangely. Who the hell are you? Said to a boy with a handkerchief. Where are you going with those breasts? You want us to grape you, right? Said a guy with a criminal face. One of them tried to attack the girl who has her back turned around, but she turned around to kick the guy in her face, causing him to fall into the water. Are you also from Kuoh Academy? Said to a guy wearing a black cap. If that's the case, we won't hold back, said to a man in a handkerchief. Go for her, said the guy along with his Ella boys. They lunge towards the girl, who smiles challengingly as she gets into a combat stance. I don't know who you are, but thank you, said the black-haired man with the white hat. The guy tried to hit the girl with his right fist, but she dodged it when she did a backflip so that she would land on the ground to kick the guy in the chin, causing him to crash into the three guys. She gave another kick to the other guy's stomach, causing him to fall into the water. Not bad at all, said the black-haired man in a cheerful tone as he hit one of the subjects. Hakufu hits another guy in the chest with an open palm. The black-haired boy tilts his head to the right while dodging the guy's fist and then elbows him in the stomach. The girl jumps to kick the other guy's forehead with her left foot and then lands on the floor, but when she was about to lose her balance, one of them caught her from behind. Damn, said the orange-haired woman as she watched a guy with a necklace of 5 phones lick his knife to Ella to get closer to her, which freed her from his grip to Ella, but it was useless, and when he got there he broke the neckline of the girl's dress of her. Hey, Issei said, annoyed as the guy held his friend at him. Stop, that's not the way to fight, said the black-haired man with a goatee when he was about to address the girl, but the guys blocked his way. I won't sit back and do nothing when Hakufu-chan is in danger, thought the brown-haired boy when he got upset by what he was seeing, and without further ado, he ran to where Hakufu was and stood in front of her. Who the hell are you? Asked a guy with a 5-phone necklace in an annoying tone. I'll kill you, he said as he tried to stab the boy. For his part, Issei reacts quickly to grab the subject's wrist with his right hand, causing the knife that was a few centimeters from his face to stop. He moves away from the subject's wrist when he prepares with his left fist. No one noticed because a green aura came out that surrounded the fist and then hit the subject's stomach at the same time that he flew out to crash into the wall, which formed a crater. Then he turns to grab the right wrist of the one who was holding the girl. He began to press him hard, causing him to release the girl at once. "The bastard," said the subject as he formed an expression of pain as he felt the bone in his wrist began to break. He released his grip very abruptly to pounce on the boy with his left fist. The boy quickly dodges it to begin hitting the subject's chest with the same kick he used before, causing him to crash hard into the wall, forming a large crater, and after that he falls heavily to the floor. "Who's next?" said the brunette with a serious look as he cracked his fingers while turning to see the boys who were beginning to tremble. They swore they saw how the boy's brown eyes turned emerald green with very fine pupils. At this, everyone started running while screaming in terror. The orange-haired girl had her eyes open, seeing how the boy had hit 2 subjects with great ease until the young man's eyes returned to normal. "Are you okay?" Issei asked the goatee boy. "Yes," said the black-haired man as he looked at the boy with curiosity and respect. "Lesu number?" I asked Brown. "Issei Hyodou," the boy with the white hat responded in the same way. "And she is Hakufu," he said as he pointed his hand at the girl who was still stunned by what happened. "Nice to meet you, MNN," said the black-haired man as he looked at the holes in the walls. Then the girl came out of her astonishment. "That was great," Issei said the orange-haired girl with a tone of joy because the boy had fought. "It's like you're someone else," he said excitedly. "Well, I don't want you to get hurt," Hakufu-chan said Issei with a calm smile until he looked at the black-haired boy. "Hey, what are you looking at?" he said in a doubtful tone. "You don't feel anything when you look at him," the black-haired man replied, causing the brown-haired man and the orange-haired woman to look at him strangely. "I only see holes," Hakufu said as he looked at the shattered wall. "Don't tell me that once they've finished the fight they'll leave, right?" said the black-haired man when he turned to look at the young men. "They know," said the brown-haired boy in a doubtful and nervous tone. "I'm leaving," said the orange-haired girl to herself until the black-haired boy approached her to grab her shoulders. The boy thought that he was going to hit him, but "Stupid," said the black-haired man with a shout at the girl who gave her a fright. "In baseball, on the field, in judo and the dojo it is sacred, therefore, what is the place for street fights?" he said as he moved away from the girl, while speaking to himself from the air. "It's a riddle," Hakufu said as he held his head with both hands. "I don't understand, maybe I'm just stupid," she said when a drop came out on Issei's head. "This street is our sacred place," said the black-haired man as he pointed at the holes in the wall. "And you think you can go to your homes after destroying the sacred place?" she said while taking her bag to open it and then take out a red metal box. She opened it to start taking out the objects to begin rebuilding the wall. "First, you fill the holes with putty," he said as he applied the putty to the small hole. Second, you spread it out well, so that you can finally sand it, he said when he did it with his sandpaper, and then cleaned it with a handkerchief. And we're done, what do you think? It's perfect, isn't it? He said when he finished rebuilding the wall with a smile, then he kneels down to start praying to the wall. Dear God of the streets, please allow me to have a great battle tomorrow, he said in a calm tone, making the brown-haired and the orange-haired take a step back while a few drops came out of their heads. These too stupid for this, of course, Issei and Hakufu thought at the same time. While on the bridge was the same girl who had been watching the young people for a few hours. Wow, that boy is interesting, but I feel an energy coming from him, I wonder what it is, said the mysterious girl. This will be so much fun, he said with a smile, and then started to walk away. I'll have to finish it tomorrow, said the black-haired boy as he looked at the horizon while the sky was setting as he took his bag to see the boys. The basics of you two are not quite right, but you are good at fighting, I thank you for what you did, he said with a smile. You're welcome, said the brown-haired boy, responding in the same way. Me too, said the orange-haired girl with a smile. My worries have disappeared until he said he remembered something. What was it that I was worried about? She asked herself. It's because of the fight you had with Ryamu, Hakufu-chan said Issei, making the girl understand for a second. I see, said Hakufu, hitting his head and sticking out his tongue. On the other hand, you circa and apostrophe T walk down the street like that, said the black-haired man as he looked at the girl's turned cleavage from her. Hakufu-chan, do you still have my sweater? The brown-haired boy asked. Yes, I have it in my jacket, I had to wash it last night, answered the orange-haired girl. Use it, said Issei, making the girl take out the boy's sweater that was inside the jacket and then put it on at once. Well, it's time for me to go, said the black-haired man as he began to leave until. Wait, said the brown-haired boy, making the black-haired boy stop and turn his head to look at the boy. It's rude to ask the name of the person whose name I just gave you a few minutes ago, he said, while the black-haired man with a goatee spoke. True, how did that not occur to me? My name is Kakuten Genju from the Kuoh Academy of Engineering Department, but everyone calls me Tun-chan, said the black-haired man as he introduced himself to the boy. The Kufu-chan and I are students at Nanyo Academy, Issei said, quickly introducing himself. One thing, Tu-chan, he would say when the aforementioned became curious. We'll see each other again, okay? He said while the black-haired boy agreed at the boy's strength and then left the place. He would return to fix the street the next day. Well, we have to go, Hakufu-chan, he said as he began to walk until. Issei, what am I going to do with this? Said Hakufu as he carried in his hands the black-haired boy's red metal box which he had forgotten to pick up, causing the boy to turn around to see him. I guess you should keep it, said the brown-haired boy until he remembered something. Now that I remember my phone, he thought when he got upset about his black phone which he had lost. It must be when I ran into Ryubi-san yesterday morning, she might have saved it, that came out of his thoughts. Okay, said the orange-haired girl for her friend. Let's go to your apartment, Issei said as he walked away from the place followed by the orange-haired girl. Yashu Academy. Student council room. In a dark room there were 3 boys when they began the conversation. When they called us, I thought it was because of a strong guy, but said a guy wearing a black cap, spiky hair of the same color with some hair on his chin, eyes of the same color, his face is that of a rebel and a red magatama on his left ear, he was looking at something on his phone. Shut up, if we don't finish her, Tataku will break our bones, said to a guy wearing a purple jacket. I'll hold on like the rest and also try to have a good time in a fight, said to a guy with white glasses, his black hair braided on both sides, a white scarf on his head but upside down and a yellow magatama on his left ear. On his phone he looked at the image of the orange-haired girl. Kuoh Academy. It's strange to see you so hurt, Saji, said the green-haired girl as she looked at the blonde who had a bandage on his head. His foot and right arm were covered by a white cast as he held himself up with a crutch with his left arm. Is he here? Asked the blonde. In the orchid room, Ryofu replied. See you later, Ryofu, Saji said as he slowly walked towards the orchid room. It seems that Saji was swept away by Ice-kun. I think I'll see him again, thought the green-haired girl because of the brown-haired boy. Orchid room. The blonde had arrived at the room whose walls and ceiling were full of crystals, and on the floor, there were too many orchids of different colors. Suddenly a hand with small bandages touched his shirt, removing a small pollen, making him stop because he felt someone behind him. You have a pollen, was it because of someone important's birthday? A male voice said while the blonde clenched his teeth and his body began to tremble. Mastavalia, huh? Said a young man's voice. Itaku, said Saji seriously. That means temptation and insignificant, said the same voice, 16 years old, his height is 163 centimeters, he has dark brown disheveled hair, eyes of the same color, his body is all bandaged, he was wearing a white button-down short-sleeved shirt, dark green tie, gray pants and dark brown shoes. Just like you said as he approached the blonde to place his right arm around the blonde's neck while making a sadistic smile. Welcome, Saji Kuntataku said in a sadistic tone to the blonde. The Kufu department. The brown-haired boy and the orange-haired girl had met at the entrance of the girl's apartment. We arrived, said Issei as the girl went to open the door. I have to go to my apartment, Hakufu-chan, he said as he turned around to leave the place until. Wait, Issei said Hakufu as he took the boy's hand to make him stop. Let me invite you to have some tea to thank you for everything you did for me today. Well, she had an innocent smile. I'd like to, but I don't want to be a bother to you, said the brunette as he scratched the back of his head. Come on in, said the orange-haired girl as she opened the door to her apartment and then walked in while pulling Ella's boy's hand. Issei was surprised to see what was inside the orange-haired girl's apartment. There was a bedroom where there was a normal-sized living room, a dining room, a kitchen, a bathroom with a tub, 3 bedrooms with their respective beds with a closet, television, air conditioning and some drawers to store things. Did you pay for all this? The brown-haired man asked while looking at the place. Yes, my mom has given me the money from her savings to pay for this apartment. She was thinking of visiting me, but for some reason she has some pending matters to do. You can sit on that sofa, answered Hakufu while offering the boy to sit on one of the sofas. Excuse me, said the brown-haired boy as he sat on the comfortable sofa. I'll go change to make tea, said the orange-haired girl as she walked to her room with her jacket. The boy waited patiently for Hakufu for about 10 minutes. It was the first time he entered a girl's apartment, so he found it now which was the quietest. He observed how everything was clean until he fixed a picture frame on a table. He approached see clearly what it was about. A girl with orange hair that is tied by 2 pigtails with a white hat. She was wearing a dress of the same color. The young man recognized that it was the orange-haired girl, then a boy with black hair. He was wearing an orange shirt and dark blue shorts, and finally a woman with short hair that reaches her shoulders and is dark magenta in color who is wearing glasses and was wearing a fuchsia yukata with red edges. What are you doing? Hakufu said, causing the boy to jump in fright, so she appeared next to him. She was wearing a pale pink dress that showed off her soft thighs. Nothing, I was just looking at this photo, said Issei when he recovered while pointing his left hand at the photo on the table. Who is the boy and the woman? I asked curiously. That's Kauken and she's my mom, said the orange-haired girl with a big smile. So she's his mom, it's weird to see him so young, thought the brown-haired boy looking at the photo again. And that's the boy who was hospitalized when you told me from the first day, he said, pointing to the black-haired boy. Yes, Hakufu said in a sad tone. Well, leaving that behind, I'll go make the tea, she said as she headed to the kitchen to make the tea. Of course, Issei said as he looked at the photo again until he heard the heavenly dragon's voice in his head. You look like you're having a good time with that girl, Buddy Drake said mentally. Yes, but there's something that worries me, said the brown-haired boy in a worried tone. And what is it? Said the red dragon with a curious tone. There are some fighters who want to finish Hakufu-chan, Issei said with a worried and serious tone. Fighters? That's new to me, said the red dragon. Drake, do you know about the 3 kingdoms? The brown-haired boy asked seriously. No, mate, why? Replied the red dragon. Well, I'm going to tell you a little about that, said Issei, as he began to tell him a little about the story of what the green-haired girl had said to the celestial dragon. You're telling me that every warrior who possesses those magatomas fought each other to become the strongest of all? Said Drake due to the new information his partner gave him. Yes, it's like a war for territorial supremacy in the Kanto region, said the brown-haired man with seriousness. So the spirits of the legendary heroes are sealed inside the ancient gems, said the red dragon, and the boy nods. Yes, and now I am in this place where there are fighters fighting for destiny, but I am not one of those people who wants to conquer the rival academies of this region, Issei said mentally. You're right, you're not one of those warriors. I'll just tell you one thing, mate, said the red dragon in a serious tone. What is Drag? Asked a brown-haired boy. You are the current Sekiryuite of this era, and not only that, everyone will know the feared power of the Red Dragon Emperor, replied the Red Dragon with respect and pride. Thanks for that, Drake, Issei said with a small smile. You're welcome, companion, and something else, you have company, said the Red Dragon, making the boy turn around to see how she had a tea in her left hand and a piece of cake in her right hand. Here you go, Issei said the orange-haired girl when she handed the tea along with a piece of cake to the boy, who accepted it gladly. The young man drank the tea and then was stunned. How did the tea I make turn out? She said hopefully. Delicious, it turned out very well, Hakufu-chan, said the brown-haired boy with a smile, making the aforementioned girl happy about it and then take a bite of the piece of cake. I'm glad you liked it, it's my first time making that tea, said Hakufu sitting in the armchair. Wait, your first time? Issei asked with a surprised expression. Yes, it's my first attempt, answered the orange-haired girl. One thing, Hakufu-chan, when I contact my friend, help me get her new replacement uniform, she said the brown-haired boy. Okay, I'll be right back, Hakufu said as he went to his room to find his tattered uniform to put in a bag and then went to the living room to hand it to the boy. Here you go, he handed the bag to Chestnut. Well, what time is it? Issei asked his friend about him. It's 8 p.m. the orange-haired girl answered as she looked at the clock on the wall, letting the boy know that it was time to go home. It's late, I have to go, said the brown-haired boy when he finished drinking tea and half of the piece of cake. He got up from the sofa and then went out, but you'll be back tomorrow, Issei Hakufu said, making the boy turn around to look at her. Yes, see you, Hakufu-chan, Issei said with a smile as he left the apartment to head home. The orange-haired girl had a great time on this day when she met the brown-haired boy on the streets of Nanyo. For some strange reason she feels a tightness in her body. Never before in her life had she felt something like that, so she brings her right hand to touch his chest. Why do I feel this way? Hakufu said to herself until she heard the sound of a phone on the table, so she went there and then answered the call. Hello? I have welcomed the call. Hello Hakufu, how have you been, said a woman's voice on the line. Okay, mom, and how's Kaken? Said the orange-haired girl, concerned about her cousin's health. Kaken-kun is still in a coma, the woman said, making the girl feel sad. I see, Hakufu said, feeling relieved but sad for her cousin. Another thing Hakufu you did, the woman said suspiciously. Oh, nothing, I just walked around the streets when I was feeling down, said the orange-haired girl a little nervous. It's not because of the fight you had at the academy, right? Said the woman in a scolding tone. Ah no, said Hakufu in a scared voice. I know you're bad at lying, Hakufu, tell me the truth, said the woman in an authoritative tone. You're okay, I was discouraged by the fight I had with Ryamu. Out of nowhere, two guys tried to flirt with me from the streets. Suddenly I saw Issei coming to look for me. One of them tried to hit him, but he dodged him and then kicked him, sending him 2 blocks to crash into the wall of the building, and the other guy started to shake because of what Issei did and then ran out of there. He invites me to the pizzeria because I have not had breakfast this morning. We went to cross a bridge. I met Kakuten Genpu from the Kuoh Academy. He is more stupid than me, but he is funny, he always said, the basics. A guy tried to stab him in the back, but I stopped him, then the guys attacked me and Kakuten. I was held by one of the fighters when the guy with the 5-phone necklace approached him with a knife. Issei quickly came to get in front of the guy to hit him with his fist, causing crashed into the wall, and then squeezed the fighter's wrist, causing me to free myself from the guy's grip and then do the same kick he did before. He walked with me to the apartment. Issei was leaving, but I invited him in. I made him some tea along with a piece of cake to thank him for what he did for me. Apparently he liked my tea because of what I did for the first time, and then he went home, said the orange-haired woman when she finished telling her mother everything. So that's the same Issei-kun who gave you his bento since lunchtime, said the woman with a curious tone. Yes, Hakufu said excitedly on his cell phone. And apparently he's a good warrior, said the mother with some intrigue. Mom, Issei doesn't have a magatama, said the orange-haired woman, causing the woman to be shocked by what her daughter said. How? Said the mother in shock. He doesn't have a magatama, but I saw something happen to his left arm, said Hakufu, trying to remember what he saw. Is it because he's hurt or something? Said the mother with concern. He didn't shake his head. So, said the mom to get to the point. It's because I saw a strange gauntlet that was red with a green gem and golden horns, said the orange-haired girl when she saw what happened yesterday afternoon at the academy. How strange, said the woman at the new information. Hey? I don't understand anything he's saying, said the orange-haired girl on the cell phone, confused. Oh, nothing, I've never heard of that before, said the woman. Well, mom, I'm going to sleep, we'll talk tomorrow, said Hakufu, yawning. Okay, rest, Hakufu, said the woman and then hung up the call. The orange-haired girl also cut the cell phone call and then went to her room to get ready for sleep. Dojo reunion. Tokyo. Meanwhile in Tokyo, inside the dojo was the woman who appears in the orange-haired photo, who is sitting in the Seiza position while looking at the night sky. So he's not a warrior, huh? The woman said in a whisper. I don't know what to think about that, but if he's helped Hakufu twice in less than 2 days, maybe he has a nice son-in-law, she said with a mischievous smile. How? On the street. The boy sneezes because he feels something peculiar and then continues his walk towards the building, but he didn't know that he was going to have an unexpected visitor in his apartment. Chapter 3. Unexpected meeting and training. How? Apartment building. The younger Hyodou was inside the elevator having the conversation with the red celestial dragon before taking to the floor of his apartment. What do you think, partner? Said Drake to his bearer, who took a while to respond. It's because of what happened today, the brown-haired boy said mentally. It's because of the girl, right? Said the red dragon with some doubt. Yes, there are some fighters who want to eliminate her, but Issei said and paused. I do an apostrophe T fight much because my hits are pathetic. If I could be strong, admitting his current level to him. Partner, I suggest that to start the best thing would be training to help you improve your strength and endurance. I will also explain how the booster gear works, and we will practice the basics, said Drake seriously. I think it's a good idea, Drake, said the brown-haired boy with a smile. Well, partner, I hope you're ready tomorrow so we can start training, said the red dragon with great expectation. I'll be ready for that, Drake, Issei said with great determination. That's the spirit, said Drake, ending the communication. When the elevator stopped at the floor where the apartment was and the elevator door quickly opened where the brown-haired boy got out while walking calmly as if he was in a hurry, Issei was still worried about his cell phone since he didn't know if his grandfather would call him to find out how his first week of school in Kanto went. As he continued to worry, from a distance, there was a girl of about 18 years old. Her height is 151 centimeters. She has gray eyes, long bright pink hair that flows to the sides down to her thighs. She is wearing a white sleeveless blouse tied with only one button, showing off her stomach and cleavage with a loose blue tie with a wide arrow design and a short red and white plaid skirt with a thick white belt around the hips with black thigh-high stockings and black shoes. Measurements: breasts 85, waist 56, hips 81. David. Ignore the katana and shinobi boot. She has a split personality due to certain events that she wants to forget. She is kind, sweet and affectionate, and her angry side manifests when she pronounces the name of her ex, where she launches insults and sudden fits of rage. Many boys were victims of the pink-haired girl's anger, and her name is Asami. The girl had her arm crossed under her chest, while having an adorable pouty expression on her face that she was tired of waiting until she screamed. Issei, you're late, said the pink-haired girl, pointing her finger at our protagonist, who is surprised. Issei said with an astonished expression. Haha, I surprised you, and I also brought food, said his brother's ex-girlfriend to show a bag of prepared food. Don't waste my time and let's go in for dinner, said a friendly smile. The brown-haired boy took out a key to his apartment from his pocket, opening the door, and where he was, he asked the pink-haired girl to enter first, and she accepted, entering the apartment followed by him, who closed the door. So it's a new home, Yahin said, walking down the hall. Yes, late graduation gifts from my grandfather after being banished by my parents for being Isamu's hindrance, reported Issei, who was behind her. The pink-haired girl stopped walking and turned to see Issei. What she had heard from her changed her entire being from her to be furious. Issei, tell me what they did to you, that miserable thing, she said in a cold tone without emotions. Calm down first, then we'll talk about it when we finish eating, said the brown-haired boy reassuredly to the pink-haired girl. Isamu's former calmed down and turned around to continue her walk since she didn't want the food she brought to get cold, so the two went to the dining room where Yahin gave Issei the bag that contained seafood karaki. The brown-haired man asked the pink-haired girl to sit down since dinner would be served in a few minutes. She accepted Issei's request to sit on the dining chair while waiting for the food. Damn it, Isamu and your bucking parents got away with banishing Issei because he is a disgrace to the family, Yahin thought with hatred while his hands hit the dining room table. Why does Yahin have hatred towards the Hyodou family? The main reason, when she and Isamu had been engaged since the age of 13 after the family relationship between the Asami and Hyodou, the pink-haired girl never liked the treatment that was being done to the brunette by her fiancé and in-laws when she went to visit the Hyodou house. Yahin was the only one who did have hope that her brother-in-law had more talent than Isamu. But obviously his parents did not think the same since he was the black sheep of misfortune. When she was in elementary and high school, she was always a punching bag for the older brunette and her bullies. She even intervened by stopping the beating of Isamu and his friends, which bothers him that his fiancé worries about her brother. Isamu and his thugs retired from the place, leaving Issei lying there massacred by the blows. Yahin did not resist that he went to help the younger brown one, who took him to the infirmary to heal his brother-in-law's wound. Since then the pink-haired girl had to change his fiancé's attitude. However, it was going to be a difficult task since ego and pride did not allow his fiancé to contaminate with the presence of Issei, so he chose to punish them as well to show him that a trophy did not have that right to humiliate him and his family. Over the years, Yahin tried to change the brown-haired boy who always failed his plans of reformation, but also began his hell at his hands since Isamu sometimes verbally mistreats him in front of his parents and father-in-law at parties or events he had to go to, also the forced attempt to have sex with him. But she refused. That made Hyodou brown-haired man angry that an attack would make him grab his hair while he began to sexually abuse his body. Yahin told his fiancé to stop, but he did not listen since there was under his pants, but was interrupted by Issei saw everything that was happening. The brown-haired boy was thrown on top of his older brother while he asked a pink-haired girl to tell her parents what Issei was going to do. She accepted the request and went out, where a few hours later in Wilbert's office, Asami had heard everything her daughter said, and the man saw Isamu with his parents, who also remembered that he was defending the eldest son. That was the beginning of the breakup of engagement between Asami and Hyodou. Months after the attempted grape incident, Yahin no longer hung out with Isamu, having hurt him emotionally, while the brown-haired boy was planning his revenge against Yahin and his in-laws for the humiliation, so they committed the biggest crime that would be the trigger for a tragedy for her and her family. In June 2016, Wilbert had been accused of committing the crime of tax fraud for the Hyodou family, the Japanese anti-fraud specialty police interrupting a family dinner, where they arrested the man who was taken to the police station to start the trial procedure, and the news was circulated on social networks and news channels. Where the Hyodou family minus Issei went to the Asami residence to tell Yahin's wife and mother, June Asami, that the engagement between them is annulled and breaking all friendship with them before the trials. Little by little the Asami family was frowned upon by people. June decides that his daughter should be sent to the clothing business that is in Tokyo, and there she continues her studies while she stays in Kuoh to do an investigation of the alleged fraud, so mother and daughter separate for a while, and since then Yahin has a marked hatred towards Isamu and his parents for having ruined his life. So busy remembering the past until I hear the voice of younger Hyodou. Dinner is served the brown-haired boy with 2 plates of seafood karaage. Just in time, said the pink-haired girl who came out of her thoughts. Issei placed the plates on the table and a bottle of orange juice he had in the refrigerator as he sat in his chair. "Itadakimasu," the boy said as they started dinner. After dinner, the brown-haired boy gets up from his seat while collecting the plates and glasses from the tables to take them to the sink to be cleaned. Yahin also gets up and goes to the living room where he sits down, and then Issei also sits down to start the conversation. "So Issei, what have you been through for me to banish you?" the grey eye asked seriously. "Since my graduation from high school, my parents were more demanding of me preparing for the entrance exam at Kuoh Academy," said the brown-haired boy with his eyes closed. "Oh, so they finally saw potential in you," the pink-haired girl said half sarcastically. "Not really, when the results of my entrance exam came, I was denied, and that was enough reason for me to be expelled from the house," said Issei with a sad face. "DCH, that has to be Isamu's work exchanging grades," Yahin thought sympathetically to the brown-haired boy. "If you didn't stay at Kuoh Academy, where did you go?" the grey-eyed girl said to her former brothers-in-law. "In Nanyo, Kanto," said the brown-haired boy, his sadness changing. The girls are shocked by the revelation that Issei was sent to more dangerous regions, where, according to what he says, there is a war between schools which has no school authority. She speaks again. "It's good that you found a school far from your brother," Yahin said with a sincere smile. "And I thought the same, since I would have accepted Kuoh, my life would be a real hell again," said Issei. "Like over there, at that academy?" the pink-haired girl asked. The brown-haired boy began to tell how his first week of school went. Yahin heard everything his ex-brother-in-law said where he had met girls, and she made a joke that they were his future girlfriend. Issei blushed at the pink-haired girl's joke when she mentioned people who wanted to flirt or grape him like Saji and other boys from the rival academy. She had to tighten her forearms. "But hearing that you had intervened in the situations that those girls he mentioned were in." Issei remembered something like he stood up from his seat. "Where are you going, Issei?" Yahin said curiously. "Wait a moment, I'm just going to get something," said the brown-haired boy. A few minutes later, the honey-eyed man had a bag that he was carrying in his left hand. "What's in that bag?" the pink-haired girl asked Issei. "That's the uniform of my friend I mentioned," answered the brown-haired boy, who nodded again. "I can see it, what condition it is in," Yahin said with interest. "If you take it, give it an evaluation of your clothing instinct," Issei said as he handed her the bag. His brother's ex-girlfriend opens the bag, and when she takes out the torn uniform with her right hand. "Shit, I thought he was lying to me," told the grey-eyed woman, seeing the state of the uniform. "Who could have done it?" she asked while also examining the skirt. "The Kufu told me it was a madman armed with a rotten," the brown-haired man answered seriously. "Well, what do you want me to do with that uniform?" said Yahin. "I know your visit is sudden, a big favor was asked of me, so I could get a replacement uniform from a store in Tokyo," said Issei while bowing to the ground. "Please, Issei doesn't have to kneel, but I will help you," said the pink-haired girl uncomfortably. "Really?" said the brown-haired boy, rising from the ground. "Yes, since I'll be here for 2 days with my mom watching my father's situation and his trial," Yahin said with a smile. "Thank you, Yahin," Issei said to give her an arm, who accepted the arm. The pink-haired girl feels the warmth of her former brother-in-law as he transmits a different feeling to her than when she was with Isamu. The two boys separate from the hug while she looks at the clock on Issei's wall, which was 10:45 p.m. "Oh shit, it's late, I have to go home," she said excitedly. "I think it's better for you to go now, you don't want to make your mom worry," said the brown-haired boy. "Yes, you're right," said the grey-eyed girl as she put the torn uniform in the bag and got up from the chair. "Then, I'll walk you out of the building, it's the only way to thank you for bringing me dinner and visiting me," said Issei. "You're very kind, Issei," said Yahin, half blushing. The brown-haired boy and the pink-haired girl left the boy's apartment and took the elevator to get off at the entrance of the building, where a taxi was waiting for the girl. Issei, like a gentleman, opens the door of the taxi for her and she enters carefully, closing the door. Your friend's uniform will be sent to your apartment tomorrow afternoon, Yahin said from the taxi window. Again, thanks Yahin for your help, said Issei who was standing. Next week's call, said the pink-haired girl happily. Okay, I'll be in touch, said the brunette with a smile. The taxi driver began to drive him towards the Isamu residence. Yahin said goodbye to his former brother-in-law and friend from the window of the taxi from afar, while Issei turned around and entered the building to sleep with that day full of surprises. The next day, Issei's room. The boy is starting to wake up earlier than usual, while he had a lot of laziness in his eyes, due to the sunlight that passed through the window of his room from which the day dawned. The time was 8:30 a.m. He gets up from his bed and then leaves the room. He went to the bathroom to brush his teeth. After 5 minutes he left the bathroom and then went to the dining room. He went to the refrigerator to drink a glass of cold milk and eat some fruit. Well, the brown-haired boy had a pending matter on this day. When he finished drinking his glass of milk, he left it in the sink, and 20 minutes later, the brown-haired boy again returned to his room with training clothes, wearing a black long-sleeved sweatshirt with red lines. Pants of the same color and red sports shoes with white lines. While he was about to leave, he remembered a map that his grandfather had left when he had it ready for that day. Issei went to his personal desk, and inside a dribble was the map where the secret Hyodou dojo was. I'm just about ready to go to the mountain, said Issei as he left the room and headed to the front door, then took the knob, turned it to the left to open the door, and then left the apartment to go train, but not before locking the door. In the Kuoh Mountains. We found ourselves in a deep forest that is far from the inhabitants of Kuoh City. The boy had arrived at the place to begin his first training. Suddenly the voice of the celestial dragon was heard from his mind. Well partner, this is the perfect place where there will be no interruptions, so you can train, Drake said seriously. Of course, Drake, said Issei when he was attentive to the words of the celestial dragon. Well, before you begin your training, I'll tell you a few things. You see, your physical qualities are low because you are a human being. It will take you a long time to reach the level of your true potential because of the amount of increases you can withstand from what you find is pathetic. Considering that you only awakened the sacred gear 2 days ago, said the red dragon, while the boy became frustrated with himself. Damn, that's not okay with me, said the brown-haired boy, and then sighed. Because of the complicated situation I find myself in with those fighters. They want to finish off Hakufu-chan. She is alone in that region because her mother is in Tokyo and her cousin is in a coma. I don't want her to get hurt because of my weakness, she said with a worried tone, until the celestial dragon had an idea. There is a way to solve your problem, partner, said Drake, earning the boy's attention. What is the method to do it, Drake? Issei asked with interest. You must become a hybrid, replied the red dragon. Hybrid? Said the brown-haired boy with a curious tone. That's right, half human, half dragon. The reason for this can help you strengthen quickly, so you can break your human limitations, but you must offer me something very important that will cost you a maximum price, so you can access it this way, said the red dragon with a serious tone. And what is the price? Said the brown-haired boy who was willing to make the sacrifice. The heart, said Drake, making the boy stunned by that. Your human heart will be replaced by a dragon's. Are you willing to take that risk, Issei Hyodou? He said seriously, somewhat worried. Issei closed his eyes for a few seconds. He is between a rock and a hard place for what he is now. Many things have happened in the Kanto region since the first day began. The orange-haired girl who had formed a friendship on that day fought with the students of the Nanyo Academy. Then the imperial decree passed that was going to eliminate her by order of Injutsu, and finally the stalkers who tried in vain to talk to the girl on the streets of Nanyo, just as she passed by the bridge, when one of the fighters tried to hit her friend, and there was also an opportunity to get that blood off the cursed family. The celestial dragon was offering his heart to acquire a dragon. If he accepts, he will be able to fight against his opponents to protect what is important to him, or if not, he would be a weakling for having little strength and equally pathetic for not showing his spirit, so that some fighters would finish off his friend once and for all. He did not want anything to happen to her, but he would be willing to give his life to protect her. He will have to leave his weak and useless side to become someone else. He will have to pay the same coin to the dragon, so that he can learn to fight and defend himself from any opponent. He will have to become a hybrid. It is the only possible option. He took a deep breath and then opened his eyes. I accept, said the brown-haired boy with a determined voice along with a determined look. The decision now. I will help you with that, partner, because this process will last a few minutes, but you will have unimaginable pain that will be worse than hell, and you must prepare to endure that experience of what is coming. Said Drake with a warning tone and a bit of concern. Okay Drake, start now, said the honey-eyed man with a confident tone. Okay, try not to die, said the red dragon. After finishing those words, the boy began to feel a great pang in his chest, causing him to kneel, while his right hand was on the ground to hold himself up, and his left hand touched the area where his heart was, which he felt like it was burning inside his body. "Ugh," said Issei as he screamed with a pained expression while enduring that experience, as the celestial dragon said the pain was unimaginable. After 5 minutes had passed, the pain in his chest had completely faded away, causing the boy to collapse to the ground while falling unconscious. While in that state, his body began to change, which became a little muscular, and the tips of his hair bangs turned crimson red. 10 minutes later. The brown-red one is beginning to regain consciousness. He gets up somewhat disoriented until the celestial dragon began to speak. "I knew you would make it, partner, you are strong enough to endure that pain, how do you feel?" said Drake while the boy opened and closed his hands. "Different, it's like I have energy in my body," Issei said as he looked at his hands. "Well, since you have a dragon heart, we will do a test. Hit the tree nearby with a single fist, concentrate your energy in your left hand," said the red dragon, making the boy nod to test his strength. The young man walked towards the nearby tree and then closed his eyes to concentrate until a green aura emerged surrounding his left hand. He then formed a fist and then suddenly opened his eyes and hit the center of the tree hard. When he drew his fist, the boy saw the result of what he did. "Incredible," said the brown-red one, who was amazed when he saw in the center of the tree a ball in the shape of his left fist. "Not bad, partner, even though you are a hybrid, the dragon heart is beginning to modify the blood that runs through your veins, and over time you will become a humanoid dragon, which will give you a superhuman boost, such as speed and strength. This will help you improve your physical abilities that will become higher to reach a higher level," Drake said happily. "Now we will begin with your basic training, but first we must do some stretching to prepare," he said in trainer mode. "Understood, Drake," said Issei as he began to stretch his arms, legs and waist, and then jumped 5 times. As he finished he snapped his hands. "Ready," said the brown-red one, motivated. "Okay, now you'll have to do 100 push-ups and 100 squats, then we'll take a tour through the forest in less than 2 hours, so you can increase your speed. When you've improved, you'll have to repeat this exercise many times. Well, you have the opportunity to train on your day off and after your activities or at night," said Drake as an order. "Okay," Issei said as he got on his knees and then touched the ground with his hands, then he stretched his legs and got comfortable before starting his push-ups. 4 hours later. "Impressive, partner, even though you trained properly, your physical qualities are already becoming dragonic, now your body is stronger than I expected," said the red dragon, amazed by the growth of its carrier. "Ah yes, if I had continued without stopping my arms and feet would hurt right now," said the brown-haired red-haired boy who was exhausted while catching his breath from all the exercise he did. "It is because your body is adapting at this moment, your DNA is beginning to improve, because the dragon's heart is different from that of a human, you will have to endure what you do, partner, because this will be your training from now on," Drake reported. "The handling of the booster gear will be for another day, go take a break, because tonight I need to talk to you about something very important." Finishing communication with Issei. "I hope to find the location of the secret Hyodou dojo tomorrow, and I don't want to destroy the entire mountain and forest," Issei thought, already completely recovered. "Okay, Drake, now I'll go visit Hakufu-chan," said the brown-red boy as he started running towards the apartment building. Issei department. The boy had arrived at his apartment, now he went to his room, then he left to go take a shower, but not before putting his sweaty clothes in the washing machine. After 10 minutes he returned to his room, he went to get some clothes from his closet, he puts on a black flannel, and then puts on a white shirt, blue pants with black lines and black shoes with red lines. When he was already dressed he left his room towards the kitchen, he went to the refrigerator to get the orange juice that is in the jug, he pours it into a glass and then drinks it, then he puts the juice back in its place. "It's time to prepare Hakufu-chan's bento, since I have a feeling she's going to be starving," said Issei, who opened the refrigerator again to take out various things. The brown-red one didn't know what to make today to take away as bento, but he decided to prepare extra large buta no shageaki and tori teriyaki. While he began to prepare the orange-haired bento, a messenger arrived in the hallway of the apartment with a package that was going to our protagonist's apartment. The messenger stopped at Issei's door and rang the bell. The brown-red boy was finished putting away the first bento box and went to the front door to answer who it was. When he opened the door there was the messenger with a package. "Excuse me for the inconvenience, you are Hyodou," Issei said the messenger, while taking out a device from his pocket. "Yes, it's me," Issei said to the messenger. "I came to deliver that package on behalf of Yahinasami, so can you sign for me to deliver the package," said the young man, showing the device that he gave to the honey-eyed man. The brown-red man took the device to start signing and then returned it to the messenger, who handed the package to the boy. "Thank you for signing and have a nice day," said the messenger, who left the place. Issei closes the door while in his hand he had the package and only had one thought. Thanks Yahin, I owe you one, thought the brown red while giving him a smile. The boy left the package in the living room and continued to finish the bento to spend more time in Kanto. After finishing the bento for Hakufu, he takes a backpack to put the package of clothes in bento. Issei goes to the door when he opens the door and then leaves the apartment before locking the main entrance. Train destination. Nanyo. The brown red is sitting at the train station heading to Nanyo, while his hands carried the backpack where it contained the bento and uniform package which he would give to the orange-haired girl. He took a light calm sigh and then looked out the window. He had sacrificed his human heart for a dragon one, as the celestial dragon had said, he is now a hybrid between human and dragon. He must train a lot to fully develop his endurance, strength and speed to be able to protect his friend. Now he places his left hand on his chest while he felt his heartbeat at a normal pace until the train began to slow down, which is why his stop had arrived. He gets up from his seat and then gets off the transport. He began to walk to go to his friend's apartment while the train closed its doors and then continued marching towards the next station. As he continued on his way until Issei Hyodou said in a male voice, making the aforementioned turn around to meet Ikkitousen, who was wearing a black short-sleeved shirt, pants of the same color and white shoes. Ikkitousen, what do you bring here? Issei said with a curious tone. I need to talk to you about something important, said Ikkitousen with a serious tone. What is it about? The brown-red boy asked with a doubtful tone. Not here, we'll talk somewhere else, said Ikkitousen as he walks in the opposite direction to go somewhere. Well, the boy is surprised by that and then starts following him. I wonder what she wanted to talk to me about, thought Issei, who was curious about this. Well, he still has time to visit his friend. Clarification after chapter 3. 1. Jaehin is Isamu's ex-fiancé and Issei's friend ally. 2. She has a real hatred towards the Hyodou family and Isamu, except for Issei and Juzo. 3. A part of Issei's training begins, and in one of the chapters the Hyodou dojo is seen. 4. Issei sacrifices his heart to continue his training, and it is also an opportunity to undo the blood of his parents. 5. Issei's new appearance will continue to change and also be less perverted. 6. Ikkitousen was Issei's first ally friend. Chapter 4. Duel and Rebellion Part 1. Candy Shop and Ice Cream Parlor. This is too uncomfortable for me, Issei thought. It was strange to be in this place while listening to the comments of the girls who are at the other table. He was sitting at a table closer to where he is by the window, and in front of him is Ikkitousen, who was eating a vanilla cake with strawberry that is on the table. What's wrong? Said Ikkitousen while carrying a piece of cake in his mouth with a piece of cutlery which he held in his right hand and then eating it. Nothing, I was just thinking, that's all, said the brown-haired red-haired boy who tried to ignore the girl's comments. I've always liked sweet things, said the black-haired boy in a serious tone while he calmly ate his cake. Yes, there's nothing wrong with you having a taste for desserts, Issei said in a nervous tone until he laughed a little. Well, what did you want to talk to me about, Ikkitousen, he said in a serious tone. It's about Sansaku, said Ikkitousen while using his tongue to remove a piece of cake. Hakufu-chan. Why with that? The brown-red boy asked curiously. The Kuoh Academy plans to attack her, the black-haired man replied, causing the boy to narrow his gaze. Why her? Asked Issei, who understood the situation very well. I'm told that Sansaku helped Kakuten of Kaiosho in a fight, Ikkitousen replied when he finished eating the vanilla cake with strawberry and then took the order menu and then snapped his fingers, signaling to a waitress to bring him some ice cream. Yeah, I was there, said the brown-red man when he sighed, knowing what happened on the bridge, making Ikkitousen notice him. And I know how that happened. The black-haired man asked with curiosity. Of course, the reason for this is because Hakufu-chan hit a guy from behind when he was trying to stab Kakuten with a butterfly knife, Issei replied. I see, said Ikkitousen as the waitress arrived with the big guy's ice cream. The point of this is that you and Sansaku helped a Kaiosho fighter who had a fight with the protected students of the Kuoh Academy, the waitress who was on the tray, and then placed it on the table as she left from there. Yes, you're right about that, said the brown-haired red-haired boy who was more serious than usual. That's not Sansaku's problem. Kaiosho High School is one of those that are against Otaku, said the black-haired man. And that makes everyone think that our academy allied itself with Kaiosho against Otaku, Issei said when he had understood that part. I have no doubt that Otaku will try to attack our academy, said Ikkitousen with a slight tone of concern. Does she know about this? I ask our protagonist. Sighs, I'm sorry, Hakufu-chan doesn't understand the situation she's in right now, said the brown-haired red-haired boy with a worried tone. Well, we never tell him officially, but the truth is that our academy is against Otaku, said the black-haired boy, closing his eyes for a few seconds. Sooner or later, Otaku will challenge us, he said when silence surrounded him where they were at the table for a few seconds until he spoke. Issei Hyodou Division School Series. Yeah, what's wrong, Issei said as Ikkitousen looked at him until he looked down at the ice cream. What part do you think I should eat first? said the black-haired man as he looked for a way to eat the ice cream. How about we eat the cream first, because the banana will be I have no words to tell you, said the brown-haired red boy with a drop on his head. In the streets of Nanyo. Now the boy had left the candy and ice cream shop 10 minutes ago. He was walking through the streets. Well, he was worried about the orange-haired girl. Since then he remembered Kakushu's words. She is not a simple fighter, she bears the name of the Supreme Conqueror on her back, so it is very possible that Tataku intends to attack Sansaku. What have Hakufu-chan and I gotten ourselves into, since we helped Tu-chan with those fighters from Kuoh Academy? Issei thought to himself until the celestial dragon spoke from his mind. Partner, we have company, said Drake, making the boy stop thinking, and then turn his head to the right to see a group of fighters sitting in the destroyed cars. That's why the young man realized that he was looking at the place, which was a dump of abandoned wrecked cars. Hey, isn't that you, Issei Hyodou from Nanyo? Said to a guy wearing a black hat, spiky hair of the same color with some hair on his chin, eyes of the same color, his face is that of a rebel and a purple magatama on his left ear. He is wearing a long-sleeved yellow shirt with black lines, black pants and shoes. Yes, it's me, and who are you? Asked the brown-haired red-haired boy when he had a bad feeling about what was going to happen. It's strange the accessory is walking around by itself, said the guy with the hat in a mocking tone. That's what you mean, Issei said with a doubtful tone. They say you always go with that girl with super boobs everywhere, as if you were an accessory, said the guy with the hat, making the boy upset. Apparently you are a fighter, isn't it true, said the brown-red boy with a serious tone. Well, those boys began to laugh as if it were funny at those words. That is a fancy word, replied the guy with the hat. If you have nothing else to say, I'm leaving, said Issei as he was about to leave until. Wait, said the guy in the hat when he got up from his seat. To introduce myself, I'm Hanu, he said when he knew I'd take off his hat the way he introduced himself. From Yashu Academy, and I have nothing against you, I just want to see the Hakufu girl while taking out a cigarette to start smoking. From Yashu, said the brown-red with a serious tone. And why do you want Hakufu-chan? I asked the guy with the hat. I'll just tell you that I have some business with her, said Hanu, exhaling the tobacco smoke. When he finished speaking, the four boys stood up from their seats and then jumped and landed on the ground to start surrounding the boy who left his backpack on the ground. Mate, stay alert, those guys are weak because they think they are tough guys, said the red dragon. Don't be overconfident, I know you've trained the basics today, but you still need to learn how to fight hand to hand while analyzing through the brown-red eyes. I understand, Issei said as he prepared to defend himself and then start speaking. I don't know what the hell is going on, but isn't Yashu Academy supposed to be against Nanyo? Said the group of fighters led by Hanu. My boss wants to do this, so I take orders, said the guy in the hat while throwing away the rest of the cigarette. Also, my opponent is the famous girl with super boobs, so I have a pleasant reward, he said with some perversity. Since then the boy had understood what he had heard until he remembered Kakushu's words. Itaku will attack our academy, especially Sansaku. Itaku, it's not like that, said the brown-haired boy to the group of Hanu fighters. Okay? Said the guy in the hat with a doubtful expression. I won't let you go for her, Issei said as he made a defensive stance. Stupid, do you want to fight them all by yourself? Hanu said arrogantly. You have a lot of courage, but okay, finish him, said the order to the whole group. The subject swings with his right fist towards the boy while he is dodging him to his right and then hits him in the chest with his left fist. He jumped to get distance, two subjects approached his place. He hits the first subject in the face with the same left fist and then turns around to kick with his left foot into the chest of the second subject, sending him crashing into the rusty car, and finally he hits the other subject in the chest with his right fist and then falls to the ground near the feet of the guy with the hat. What's wrong with you, you can't handle that worm, said Hanu with an annoyed expression. They are useless, he said until he fixed an iron bar on the floor and then smiled arrogantly. I'll do it myself, he said as he grabbed the crowbar from the floor and then smashed the windshield of an abandoned car before moving forward. What's wrong, Hanu? Said a new male voice, making the aforementioned stop suddenly to see a subject with white glasses. His skin is dark, his black hair is braided on both sides, a white scarf on his head, but backwards, and a yellow magatama on his left ear. He is wearing a white short-sleeved shirt, dark green pants and dark brown shoes. He has his hands in the pocket of his pants while he was on top of the roof of a rusty car. Oh, yeah, I thought we didn't need you to take care of that girl, said the guy in the hat. Because she's a girl, is it because you want to find her and then abuse her? Asked the man with the white handkerchief. And that affects you, Hanu said until the guy with glasses jumped and then landed in front of him while grabbing the iron crowbar. You're a fighter, said the man with the white handkerchief and then removed the iron bar and threw it away while he made a small smile. With Hakufu. Meanwhile in Nanyo Park was the orange-haired girl who had finished training 2 hours ago. She is wearing a pink short-sleeved shirt, red shorts showing her exposed thighs, sports shoes of the same color, white socks and red and black fingerless gloves. Now she is walking towards her apartment. I do not remember the name of this ability that Kaukan told me. Hakufu as he put the index finger of his left hand on his chin, while thinking an idea came to his mind until he spoke. I know, this skill will be called basic style, he said with a cheerful smile. As he continued walking he heard some knocks a block to his right. What was that? I wonder what it is, said the orange-haired girl with a curious tone until she started running to go to that place. Back with Issei vs Yashu group of fighters. Issei is in a defensive position with a little tiredness until a subject with white glasses passed between the boys in a normal way until heading in his direction. Mate, that guy is strong, but he's not compared to my power level, but you have to be careful, said the red dragon mentally. Of course Drake, said the brown-red boy who was going to pick up the backpack. I want you to forgive these people for their stupidity, said the man with the white handkerchief. I'll make them retreat now. The only target for me is Sansaku Hakufu, because that's the order I received. Retreat, he said, while the fighters retreated from that space. Ishiji, damn it, Hanu exclaimed in an annoying tone. Don't worry, I have no intention of fighting you, said the man with the white handkerchief. Don't you know who I am? He said in a respectful tone. Actually no, Issei said, shaking his head to the side. Well, I am Tsuji Shigi, the level 8 warrior of the Yashu Academy, one of the 5 best fighters in the Kanto region, said the subject with the white scarf identified as Tsuji. Do you want to raise your fist against me? I asked the brown-haired red-haired boy. I wish, said Issei in a defiant tone. Don't underestimate me, told Tsuji who stands on guard. This guy doesn't know who he's messing with, thought the red dragon seeing how that confrontation was going to develop. What do you think about this? If you manage to land a single hit on me, I'll forget about my fight against Hakufu, said the man with the white handkerchief. Ishiji, don't make up your own rules, said the guy with the hat in an angry tone. It's a promise, true, said the brown-red when he was attentive to what was coming. Yes, said the man with the white handkerchief. The Kuoh Academy Orchid Room. Welcome, said the dark brown-haired boy while he was kneeling and smelling the purple and white orchids, and then turned his head to see the blonde who still had the cast on his right arm and foot. I took action as soon as you gave me the information about the Supreme Conqueror. It was actually helpful in that regard. While looking at the blonde. You took action, said Saji approaching. With Rai Ayu from Yashu Academy, said Tataku with the flower in hand. He may not be important, but he has a strong man under his command. Will the blonde from Nanyo listen to him? You mean Tsuji? The blonde said curiously. I decided to make that girl disappear quickly, Saji-kun, said the dark brown-haired boy with an innocent smile. That's not your style, Saji said as he spoke. Are you scared? He said while the dark brown-haired boy laughed softly at those words. If I believe that's what she says, I would take care of her myself, said Tataku, as he smelled the purple and white orchid again while smiling and then removing 3 pieces of the small plant, causing it to slowly fall to the floor. But I have to eliminate the false elements before they reach me. Did you know that I actually like the quiet life? He said while making a sadistic smile. Why would I know that, said the blonde as his body trembled and at the same time he was sweating profusely from his head. Your arm must hurt a lot as well as your leg. No, said the dark brown-haired man seeing the state of his visitor. When he finished saying those words, the blonde opened his eyes as he felt someone behind him. It was the green-haired girl, while her right hand was on her waist when she saw him. Well, see you later, Saji-kun, said Tataku as he raised his right hand and waved it in farewell, but without turning to look at the aforementioned. It was fun seeing you today. As he left the place. The blonde clenched his teeth as a drop of sweat ran down his forehead to his chin. The battle between Issei and Tsuji. Meanwhile the boy is in a defensive position and the man with the white handkerchief still has his hands in his pants pockets when the place is in a silence that surrounds them between them. It's been 5 minutes since they've been like this, said to a fighter. Yes, Tsuji, something like this has never happened, said another, while the others continued to watch due to the tension in the atmosphere. Bam, Hanu said, watching from a distance. On the other hand, the orange-haired girl had arrived at the site to find out the sounds of the blows until she saw her friend. Issei Hakufu shouted. The boy reacted quickly and then punched his opponent, but the latter took his right hand out of his pants pocket to form a fist while hitting the young man in the stomach. In less than a few seconds the glasses of the man with the white handkerchief were broken because the brown-haired red-haired man's left fist was a few centimeters from his face, and at the same time the boy fell to the floor and then spit out a little blood. Issei, said the orange-haired girl with a scream with a worried expression and then ran to where the boy is. Are you okay, partner? Drake said mentally. Yeah, wow, that hit was rough, but it's nothing serious, Issei said as he held his stomach with his right hand because of the pain he felt. It's a good thing you're okay. If you weren't a hybrid, you would end up very hurt from that blow, the red dragon informed its bearer. Call an ambulance, said Tsuji as he took off his broken glasses and then released them from his right hand, letting them fall to the floor as he turned around to prepare to leave the place. Where the hell are you going? Asked the boy with the hat. Although it was only on my glasses, that boy managed to hit me with one blow. Get out of the way, replied the white handkerchief. Hey? Hanu muttered in an annoying tone. Are you crazy? I shouted, but he didn't pay attention. Wait, said Hakufu, causing the white scarf-wearing man to stop. Don't run away, you shouldn't have hit Issei, you will pay, she said with a furious tone, while a flash of tears appeared in her eyes. Don't do that, Tsuji said as he turned around to see the girl. That young man risked his life from him just to protect you, he said in a respectful tone. That's enough, Hakufu-chan, said the brown-haired red-haired boy as he got on his knees. Issei, said the orange-haired girl with a worried tone. You can get up after receiving my attack, said the man with the white handkerchief, somewhat impressed. Hakufu saw how she lowered her guard and then jumped to kick the guy with the white handkerchief on his face, but he took a step to the left from which he dodged the girl's attack without a problem. She took a step back and then got into a combat stance. You don't realize the distance, you are terrible, said Tsuji in a disappointed tone. He's right, it was Hakufu-chan's mistake to have attacked like that, Issei thought while watching the battle. From then on, the orange-haired girl began to hit him with kicks and punches towards the subject with a white handkerchief. He did not move from his place to dodge the girl's attacks, but it seemed that Hakufu's blows were nothing to him. He simply remained in that same position until he finally hits the girl's stomach with his right fist, from which he sent him flying several meters back and then crashing into a disposable car while the windows broke in the process. Terrible, I expected much more from Tataku's request, said the man with the white scarf as he turned around to leave, until. Wait, said the orange-haired girl as she stood up. So what, I gave you the same attack as your friend, you shouldn't even be able to get up. I'll tell you something, that young man is stronger than you, I'm 100 times stronger than him, that's the reality, said Tsuji without offending the girl. I don't think so, the brown-haired red-haired man thought that the white scarf guy was underestimating his friend's strength. At that moment, the girl managed to get up completely, while murmurs of admiration and amazement were heard around the fighters who were there by the dark brown-haired man's order. I'll tell you something, I must make sure to return what they slow me, that's my family motto, said Hakufu while clutching his stomach with his right hand. When she is about to try to hit the guy with the white handkerchief again. Stop, Hakufu-chan, Issei said in a firm but serious tone. Issei, what's wrong? Said the orange-haired girl with a doubtful tone. Tell me, what are you doing here? The brown-haired red-haired boy asked the girl. I came from the park because I finished my training, and I came to this place when I heard some sounds of some blows until I met you, Issei answered Hakufu as if she were an obedient girl. I understand, I came because I brought you a bento, he said until he remembered something. Where is it? He said while looking for her backpack until he found it where he left it. There you are, he said as he began to stand up. Do you really think you'll get up? Tsuji asked, not knowing that the brown-red one was a dragon. He doesn't even have the strength to do it, he said to a fighter mockingly. He won't be able to do it, it's useless, said another fighter, joining in with the insults. Yes, I can, say when he had gotten up from the floor with little effort, causing everyone who was there to be stunned and incredulous at what the boy did. How do you eat? He said to a fighter with his eyes wide open. Impossible, how did he manage to get up after Tsuji's blow? Said the other fighter in a surprised tone. Who is this boy? Said another fighter in a scared tone. Amazing, said Hakufu as she felt amazed that her friend had done everything possible to get up at once. The boy began to walk at a normal pace and then picked up the backpack from the ground with his right hand due to the pain in his stomach that was already fading normally. After that he headed towards where his friend was. Issei, are you okay? The orange-haired girl asked. Yes, Hakufu-chan, we're leaving, the brown-haired red-haired boy replied while smiling. But that guy hit you, said Hakufu with an angry expression. I know, but he will stop bothering us, said Issei. But said the orange-haired girl when he tried to speak, but the boy didn't let him. If he had hit me many times, you know what would happen to me after that, she said, the brown-red making silence around the place until she spoke. I understand, said Hakufu as she imagined her friend on the floor with many bruises on his body from the blows of those boys, and she didn't want him to get hurt from that. Okay, let's go, Issei said as he took the girl's left hand and then left the dumpster. The young men had left the place, which left the fighters standing. It's done, let's go, said the man with the white handkerchief as he began to leave the place with the other fighters. Wait, how is it done, grr, don't treat me like that, said Hanu with a tone annoyed by the behavior of his partner. On the other side of the streets of Nanyo. On a street where there is a water fountain, we can see the blonde hitting the tree on his left with his right foot, causing the plaster he had on to break into pieces. You're an idiot, do you really think you can do it? said the green-haired girl, while the blonde hit the tree with his right arm which was covered by the cast. I've been lucky since I was young, and I hope I'll be lucky this time too, although my arm and foot still hurt, said Saji with an arrogant smile as he watched the cast on his right arm fall off in pieces, revealing a small knife he was holding, and then throwing it to the floor, leaving it stuck in the middle. You haven't changed at all since I've known you, Ryofu said indifferently. Yes, that's why I can be the first man in your life, said the blonde when he walked to stand in front of the girl. Thanks to you now I hate all men, said the green-haired girl venomously. Except for Ice-kun, he's a different person, he thought, because of our brown red that was forming a feeling. Oh really? Saji said in a mocking tone. What a waste, while on his face he had a shit-eating smile. Are you ready? Ryofu said in a serious tone. I see you're not wearing a bra yet, do you want me to measure your size? Said the blonde with a funny and arrogant expression at the same time as he touched the girl's breasts with his hands, something she doesn't like at all. It's those attitudes of yours that disgust, told me the green-haired girl with a tone of repulsion. Let's go unnoticed if we have to do this, Ryofu-chan told Saji as he grabbed the girl's cleavage on both sides and then opened it abruptly, causing her breasts to bounce back in time, which threatened to come out. Bastard, but there is someone who is better than you, said Ryofu as he jumps back. And who was it? Said the blonde with a doubtful tone. You'll know if you manage to beat me, said the green-haired girl with a challenging smile, making Saji accept the challenge. The Kufu department. The young men had arrived at the girl's apartment 20 minutes ago. They were in the living room when the boy was sitting on a sofa with a glass of blackberry juice which he held in his left hand, while the orange-haired girl had finished eating the bento that her friend brought, which she thanked her friend very much for. Issei, are you feeling okay now? Hakufu said, still worried. Yes, I'm fine, he said while drinking some blackberry juice until he became serious. There's something you should know, Hakufu-chan, he said seriously. What Issei? Said the orange-haired girl with a curious tone. You know why this happened on this day, right? Issei said without losing that serious tone. Not really, Hakufu said in a doubtful tone. Bakuyo specifically, Tataku wants to get rid of you just like Nanyo, said the brown-red boy dropping the bomb on his friend. Hey? Said the orange-haired girl in a surprised tone. Why? He asked his friend who answered. I'm not really sure about that, you remember Kakuten who is on the bridge, said Issei while she nodded her head. He is from Kaiosho, that academy is against Tataku, the students you fought yesterday, and the two I defeated were from Kuoh Academy. Now Tataku thinks that our academy allied with Kaiosho, and we are on his list to eliminate us. Talking to him won't do any good, sooner or later he will attack us anyway. The people who are in the dumpster of abandoned cars are from Yashu Academy, they are under Kuoh's orders, and it was obvious that Tataku sent those fighters to finish you off, he said, summarizing the situation, so that the orange-haired girl would not suffer an overload. You mean those guys were after me, right? Said Hakufu, understanding the situation you've come into. Exactly, Tataku has his sights on you, said the brown-haired red-haired boy while leaving the glass on the nightstand. And you're not the only one who's in this situation, I'm in that problem too, Hakufu-chan, he said with absolute seriousness. So, what can we do? Said the orange-haired girl, a little desperate. For now we must be careful because of what is going to happen, said Issei. Tataku may be planning to finish us off, he said while clenching his fists. But Issei, you are strong, you hit the guy with a single kick yesterday in the streets, and what happened on the bridge, you also beat those two fighters, as long as I am with you everything will be fine, said Hakufu in a confident tone. Maybe so, for now we have to be attentive for what's coming, Hakufu-chan, we don't know what will happen because of what's coming, said the brown-haired red-haired boy, grabbing the glass of juice again. Okay, said the orange-haired girl more calmly. Hey Issei, can I ask you a question, he said while taking a piece of Issei's bento. Yes, what is it about, Issei said taking his other sip of blackberry juice. What can I do about that strong kick you did to that guy yesterday? Asked Hakufu. Well yes, you can perfect it with basic training, that will help you improve your hits, replied the brown-red. Even though he said it normally, he didn't want her to find out that that blow was because of the power of the heavenly dragon that helped him out of that little problem. Really? Said the orange-haired girl in a tender tone. Sure, Issei said as he took the last sip of the juice. Yes, said Hakufu in a cheerful tone as he got up from the couch and then started dancing with happiness. For his part of him, the boy had a slight drop coming out of his head, so he is watching his friend's small action of him and then sighs calmly while making a small smile. Looks like my partner is starting to mature, Drake thought. This is going to get interesting, while a smile formed on his fire-breathing snout from him. With Ryofu and Saji. The sky is starting to cloud over due to the weather, and after that it started to rain in the streets at this time. In a place where there is a water fountain, we can see the blonde who was unconscious who is face down with a pool of blood on his head, next to it is the small knife on the floor, and finally there were some small craters, on the other hand is the green-haired girl who was standing. We can see that her academic uniform is battered and damaged, which shows almost all parts of her attractive body. The reason for this is because there was a fight between the two of them, and the result was that she beat him. Saji, said the green-haired girl while breathing tiredly. The person I'm interested in is Issei as he leaves the place left by the blonde in the crater. But Issei. The boy is running through the streets because of the rain that has passed. Since he left the orange-haired girl's apartment, he had given her the new uniform package, which she thanked him for in a friendly way. The orange-haired girl asked her friend if she could call him on his cell phone. He said yes, but he didn't have his phone number for now, so she wrote her personal number and her apartments on a sheet of paper with a pencil that was on a small table. The young man told his friend if she needed to talk about something, to which she agreed. "Are you going to do something, partner?" the red dragon said mentally. "Not for now, Tataku might be up to something," Issei as he continued running. "Is it because of the conversation you had with the huge guy a few hours ago?" said the celestial dragon to his cover that he does not stop running. Yes, Gakushu may be right in his words of Ella that Hakufu-chan has the name of the supreme conqueror on her back of Ella, said the brown-red boy from across the street. I must assume that this Tataku guy intends to kill that girl, said Drake completely seriously. True, I'll see what I'll do later, said Issei until he heard some sounds that were in an alley. Out of curiosity he approached the place to see what was happening. When he arrived he saw the subject with a white scarf from before, and he was not alone. Behind him there was a subject who has a purple jacket, and in front of him, the type of hat for which they are starting to talk. "I didn't tell you to kill her," said the guy in the purple jacket with an annoyed tone. "Ryu to Tsuji," said as he turned around to see the aforementioned. "You're useless," said the guy in the purple jacket as he hit the guy in the white handkerchief on the left cheek with his right fist, who had a serious look on his face. "Don't look at me like that, I'm your leader. If we don't kill Sansaku, then Tataku will kill us. You don't understand that," Ryu said. "Anu," said the guy with the white scarf when he turns around to see the guy with the hat, making him realize this. "What are you saying?" said the guy in the purple jacket in a hysterical tone. "So, you were the one who didn't follow orders to eliminate Sansaku," said the guy in the hat with an annoyed tone. The boy had understood that the man with the white handkerchief was acting with his back to him. He had disobeyed the dark brown-haired man's order at first. It was likely that he did not want to kill the orange-haired girl. Suddenly he noticed the man in the purple jacket, who was taking out the pocket knife, with which he was trying to attack the man with the white handkerchief, who was distracted. "Careful," said the brown-red one with a shout, causing the one with the hat to see him, as well as the one with the white handkerchief. But it was too late. The guy in the purple jacket had stabbed the guy in the white handkerchief in his back, causing him to open his eyes because he was taken by surprise. "You again?" Hanu said in an annoyed tone. "Why did they do it?" Issei asked in a serious tone. "It's simple, Tsuji has not fulfilled the order to kill that girl with super breasts, and that is why we must eliminate him," answered the guy with the hat. "You just throw him away as if he were a tool." Tsuji made his decision not to hurt Hakufu-chan. He had no intention of killing her, said the brown-haired red-haired man with a serious tone while clenching his fists. "What does it matter? We will save ourselves in this skin with Tataku, and that is why we will have to survive this," said Ryu with a sadistic smile, while he removed his knife from where it is in the back of the subject with the white scarf as he fell to his knees. "Well, I guess we'll have to eliminate you for interfering in this. It's nothing personal, but I'm just following orders," said Hanu, while taking a knife out of his pocket. "Damn, they are despicable," said Issei with a serious and cold look. "I didn't think they could attack that guy," said the red dragon from the brown-red man's mind, watching with disapproval. "These guys will not be forgiven for what they did to Tsuji," Drake said the brown-red to his partner. "I'll have to fight, and even though I don't fight well, I'm going to hit those idiots," he said while making a defensive stance. "Okay, buddy, but don't activate the sacred gear because that would raise suspicion. We don't want other people to find out about this," said the red dragon seriously. "Of course," Issei said after finishing the mental conservation. The place had become tense as the sky was still raining until a thunder sounded in the streets of Nanyo. The two subjects ran towards the boy with their knives, which he quickly dodged from those cuts. The one with the hat tried to stab the young man. He saw how his attacker approached in slow motion. He dodges him to the left while he turns and then kicks him in the chest with his left foot, sending him flying out of the alley and then crashing into the wall, causing a crater to form, and after that he falls heavily to the floor while time began to run normally again. "Damn idiot," said the guy in the purple jacket as he tried to attack the boy in a desperate way. The brown-haired boy turns to hold the attacker's right wrist with his left hand, causing the knife to stop when it was a few centimeters from his stomach. He began to press him hard, causing him to release the knife at once. Ahhgg, let me go, Ryu said with a pained expression as he got on his knees. On the other hand, the subject with the white handkerchief was on his knees, but he was conscious, but was losing blood from the stab wound his former partner had made. He looked at the boy who had hit him in the stomach from the dumpster of abandoned cars, about how he had defeated the one with the hat with ease, and now the one in the purple jacket who was on his knees because of the pain he was feeling in his right wrist, until he felt a green energy coming from the boy's body. That young man's aura is far superior to that of another warrior, thought Tsuji as he watched the boy. That ready, said the brown-haired red-haired boy in a serious tone as he continued to squeeze the wrist of the guy in the purple jacket and then made him get up as he released his grip on him. The boy began to hit him hard in the chest and face of the guy, because of which he was about to lose consciousness. He continued hitting until he hit him in the right cheek with his left fist, causing him to fall to the floor face down, while his feet rose a little upwards and then lowered to the ground, causing him to become unconscious. Incredible, said the man with the white handkerchief, while the young brown-haired boy had defeated his former companions. The Kuoh Academy orchid room. Meanwhile, the dark brown-haired boy was in the center where the purple and white orchids were, where he was lying in a relaxed manner, while the green-haired girl was licking her body, where her navel was as she began to slowly raise item. How does it feel to beat your ex-boyfriend, Tataku said in a calm tone. It feels good, said the green-haired girl as she continued her work. Cancel the Great Fighters Tournament, said the dark brown-haired man, making the girl stop licking. Cancel the tournament. Ryofu said in a doubtful tone. Small fish do an apostrophe t eat big one, said Tataku, while in his left hand he held his cell phone. On the screen we can see a message, there it said the following. There is a failure due to Tsuji's betrayal, I will take responsibility for this. Ryu. Back with Issei versus Ryu. There is a failure due to Tsuji's betrayal, I will take responsibility for this. Ryu. It seems that they have a connection with Tataku, said Issei while looking at the message on the cell phone of the guy in the purple jacket and then leaving it on the ground. Then he turns around to approach the guy in the white scarf. You need help, Tsuji, he said as he extended his left hand to the aforementioned. Yes thanks, Moreno said as he took the boy's hand and then stood up slowly. Why did you do that for me? While waiting for the boy's answer. You did the right thing, you turned your back on those people who received orders to eliminate Hakufu-chan, answered the brown-haired red-haired boy as he placed his left arm around the neck of the man with the white scarf to hold him. Issei Hyodou said to Tsuji when he was about to lose consciousness due to the loss of blood from his wound. Hold on, Tsuji said Issei as they began to walk slowly but normally out of the alley where he left the guy in the purple jacket on the ground and the guy with the hat outside who was unconscious. There is no honor in this anymore, said the dark-skinned man with a white handkerchief and then fell unconscious. Damn, and now where is the hospital, said the brown-red boy to himself while carrying Tsuji when he thought of a way to find the hospital until. I know where it is, said to a female voice that appeared behind them, making the boy look over his right shoulder to meet the blue-haired girl. She was wearing a white short sleeve, a blue skirt, a pair of thigh-high stockings and black sneakers. In her left hand she was carrying a red umbrella. Raimu. Issei said with a doubtful tone from meeting the girl he had seen in the halls of Nanyo Academy 2 days ago. Do you need a hand, Issei Hyodou? Said the blue-haired girl. Yes, said the brown-red boy while nodding his head. Raimu approached where the boys were. When he arrived he put his right arm around the neck of the dark-skinned man with a white scarf to hold him and the boy together, while his umbrella covered them where they were, and then they began to walk towards the hospital, under the rain of the streets of Nanyo. Nanyo Hospital. They had arrived at the place. The brown-red man had called a nurse who was in a chair reading a women's magazine. When she heard the boy's voice she approached to attend to the man with the white handkerchief who was unconscious due to the loss of blood on his back. The girl called the doctor and the nurses who work at this place, loaded the patient onto a wheeled stretcher and then quickly took him to the emergency room. Excuse me, you are friends of that guy, said to a nurse with long black hair as she approached where the teenagers were. No, Issei and Raimu said at the same time while shaking their heads. So what happened to him? Said the nurse in a doubtful tone. Some guys attacked him in an alley. When I was passing by, they stabbed him in the back by surprise. They saw my presence and fled from there, said the brown-red man, while omitting what really happened from that place. I understand, said the nurse, writing down all the necessary information. Well, if you'll excuse me, I'm leaving, Issei said as he turns around to leave until. Shall I join you? Said the blue-haired girl while standing at the boy's right side. MNN sure, said the brown-red boy as he left the hospital with the girl for whom he had his umbrella in his left hand. But Issei and Raimu. The brown-haired boy and the blue-haired girl walked quietly through the streets of Nanyo in the rainy weather. Neither of them said a single word until the boy decided to break the silence. Raimu, said Issei series. Forks. Said the blue-haired girl as she continued walking. Why are you looking for me? The brown-red boy asked with a curious tone. I came to thank you for what you did, Ryamu said, making the boy look at her with a confused expression. Huh? What about? Issei said with a doubtful tone. For hitting Saji Genpu, said the blue-haired girl with some hatred. Ah, I see, wait, you know him, said the brown-red boy surprised. Yes, he was my old friend, but he is a conceited womanizer, Ryamu said with an annoyed tone. I don't know why you make me remember someone I hate, Issei thought angrily. And why? He said, continuing the conversation. He always spends his time flirting with some girls in this region, he was an idiot, said the blue-haired girl. I would say that he is an arrogant, conceited man, and he reminds me of my older brother who has the same characteristics, said Issei with contempt. Through on the other hand I passed through the alley, said Ryamu while looking at the boy. Well, some things have been happening today, said the brown-red boy while scratching the back of his head. Tell me, she said, interested in knowing what had happened. Itaku sent the fighters from Yashu Academy to eliminate Hakufu-chan, Issei replied, making the girl upset to hear that name. Itaku, said the blue-haired girl with an annoyed tone. You know him, said the brown-red with curiosity, since it was an opportunity to know about a current enemy. Yes, Itaku Chue, he is a first-year student at Kuoh Academy, for 2 years he has participated in the Great Fighters Tournament, he had defeated Yashu Academy, and after that he was the winner of that fight, said Ryamu without missing any detail. And now he has ordered Yashu to destroy her and our academy, Issei said seriously. How do you know? Said the curious blue-haired girl. The Kushu informed me since I met him, said the brown-red to the girl. I see, Ryamu said, understanding the current situation. I have to get to my apartment, Issei said. Are you from around here? The blue-haired girl asked with a curious tone. No, I live in Kuoh, answered the brown-red. Why? He said with some interest. I failed the entrance exam for Kuoh Academy, I wanted to attend, but the problem is the transfer exam, it would take me half the year to do it, I didn't want to be left without education, so I had no choice but to enroll in this region, said Issei with a half-truth until he found out that he had arrived at the train station. Well, I have to go, while saying goodbye to the blue-haired girl. Now? Said Ryamu, who was enjoying the company of brown-red. Yes, see you at the academy, Ryamu said the brown-red boy while he made his way to catch a train going to Kuoh. For her part of her, the blue-haired girl came to the boy who was taking her away from there, turned around and then headed to her house. I don't know why he spoke in a normal way, he was supposed to say about the red gauntlet he had on his left arm, but it wasn't the time to talk about that, in fact, he told me about what happened that day, he must be protecting Hakufu-sansaku, so that Tataku wouldn't get to her, if that boy has defeated the fighters from our academy, he might be stronger than the others. I think I found the right person to fight, Ryamu thought while making a small smile. Hakufu apartment. Bathrooms. The orange-haired girl was lying in the tub while thinking about what happened. Issei, he helped me with the bridge while he defeated those 2 fighters from Kuoh Academy with ease when they tried to do something to me, he had also hardened the blow from that fighter from the garbage dump. On the other hand, I don't know what that strange gauntlet is that is on his left arm, since he spent 2 days in the academy, I'm curious about it, but I must admit that I get excited to see Issei doing those hits. He helped me in those days, he was always good to me, Hakufu thought until he spoke. The warrior. No, Issei said he doesn't have a magatama, he can be a fighter, she said as she got up naked from the tub and then made an expression of joy. Well, I've decided I'm no longer the Hakufu from before, now I'm the number 2 Hakufu, and I've decided that I'm going to become a great fighter, I want to be like Issei, yes, he's strong, and besides that he beat those boys at the Nanyo Academy, now I'll have to train more than the basics to be like him, she said with a cheerful tone, while making a dreamy expression. Chapter 4. Duel and Rebellion Part 2. Nanyo's location unknown. Saji was lying on a bed while being watched by 2 people talking to each other. I don't understand why our leader saved the life of that stranger, said to a small boy with dark skin and grayish-blue hair and purple eyes wearing a gakurin with a long coat over it. I do an apostrophe T know either, said a handsome young man with silver-white hair and red eyes wearing the same as his companion, a priest's coat. I see, the boy said emotionlessly, watching the blonde lying on the bed. By the way, what are you doing, Jean? The white-haired man asked his companion. Suddenly someone else arrives and speaks. Jean is outside checking the area so that curious people don't come to our hideout, reported a young man with black hair and glasses. He wears the same thing as his leader, he wears a combination of a Japanese school uniform, more specifically, the gakurinus that Japanese schoolchildren wore in the fall, and wears a wizard-style robe over his uniform with a cape of feathers. He should have told me to go with him and that he was here taking care of a wounded man, that's not my style, he said annoyed, something the black-haired man ignored. It's Kao's order and we have to obey it without question, said the magician in a calm tone. Something that the white-haired man made a face of disgust, but he had to follow the order even though he didn't like it, it was working. "So, haven't you woken up our guest?" asked the black-haired man. Neither of them answered the question when the boy was about to answer but was interrupted by the blonde who was disoriented. Saji opened his eyes slightly, his vision blurring as he heard a magician's voice speak. "I see you're awake," said the black-haired man with glasses. "Where am I?" said the blonde, feeling dazed by the battle against the green-haired girl in the park. "How long was I gone?" he asked while the people present were silent, going to answer his question. "I found you in the crater that was in the park in poor condition," answered the magician. The blonde remembers the last words she heard from Ryofu after being defeated. "The person I'm interested in is Ice-kun." "Damn it, Issei Hyodou is ruining my plans," Saji thought with hatred while clenching his fists and then looking at the three boys who were watching him. "It was you who saved me in the park," said the blonde calmly, who agreed to the black-haired and dark-skinned boy without emotions. "That's right, it was our leader who ordered me to heal," said the magician in a respectful tone. "Who is your leader?" I asked curiously. The black-haired man was about to respond but was interrupted. "I am the leader of this faction," said the voice of a young man with short black hair and blue eyes, wearing the same outfit as the magician, an ancient Chinese outfit that was charismatic and had a spear unknown to the blonde. "So you are the leader and I can know your name," Saji said to the faction leader. "My name is How. Issei Department." The brown-red boy arrived home 20 minutes ago and went to the food to make a quick dinner with instant ramen, and after finishing dinner, he went to take a shower and then went to his room to sleep. Inside his room he was wearing a red shirt and white shorts while lying on his bed with his hands behind his head. "Mate, I must show you something," said the red dragon. "What is it about, Drag?" Issei said curiously. "You will know, you have to close your eyes and clear your mind," said the red dragon. "Okay," said the brown-red man while closing his eyes because what the celestial dragon had said. "You can open them now," said Drag in his true original form, causing the boy to open his eyes. "Where are we and who are those people?" Issei said with a curious tone as he inspected the site. "We can see a large white room, there were many people like men and women, and there were some tables and chairs in it, but they were all standing, on their faces they had empty looks without emotions. Partner, we are within the dimension of the former wearers of the booster gear, all those people in front of you are the former wearers, they let themselves be dominated by the demise of the power of the activation of the Juggernaut drive, that is why they entered the madness and greed of that curse," said the red dragon with a serious tone. "Juggernaut drive?" said the brown-red one with doubt. "It is a forbidden ability of the sacred gear where the beings are sealed inside it, it unleashes its true power, but it will cost the life of its owner, it is because that will lead to death, I will tell you a piece of, you should never use it advice, or you will end up like them, do you understand me?" said Drag with a serious expression. "Yes, I don't want to imagine what will happen," Issei said with a nervous tone until he spoke normally. "That's why they all fell into the curse, but no one could avoid falling into it," he curiously said. "There were two people who were not corrupted by the curse of the Juggernaut drive," said the red dragon. "And who were they?" the brown-red boy asked with great interest. "Some of my former possessors from those times were Belzerd, the first strongest Sekiryuite, possesses superhuman strength, expert in hand-to-hand combat and master of weapons handling, he defeated the target 2 times, Elsha, among all the female wielders, she is without a doubt the strongest woman of all, master of magic and very expert in strategy. She has defeated the target 3 times, answered Drake proudly as he mentions his 2 previous wielders. "Wow, they sure were very strong, I hope to meet them to get to know them better, and if possible, I would like them to be my training teachers," said Issei. With a tone of surprise until. "Well, if you want to be my apprentice, let me tell you that I am a very demanding master," boy said a male voice in a cheerful manner. "Ara, so you finally brought him," Drake a female voice said softly. The boy turns his gaze in the direction of those voices and then finds 2 people. The first was a man with short green hair, pink eyes, dark skin, his height is 170 centimeters, he is wearing a black sleeveless jacket but no sweater under it, on his wrists there were silver bracelets that made them look heavy, black pants with a hole in the right knee and heavy boots of the same color. The second was a beautiful woman with long wavy blonde hair, blue eyes, soft skin, her height is 160 centimeters, beautiful body with good breasts, perfect hips and long legs, she is wearing a simple white dress that reaches her knees and black sandals with gold lines. "Elsha and Belzerd, I didn't think you would return to this place, I thought you were deep in the booster gear," said the dragon surprised. "To tell you the truth, Drake, we don't like coming to this place," said the green-haired man. "That's right, that's why we came to meet the current Sekiryuite of this era, and it seems that boy is cute," said the blonde with a soft smile, making the boy blush from that compliment. Thank you, it's nice to meet you," Issei said while bowing. "There's no need to be formal, if you want to be our new apprentice, you don't have to worry about it because you want to learn from us, boy?" Belzerd asked. I'm a rookie for having some pathetic hits of a weakling, but I want to protect what is important to me. Not only that, I'm willing to fight for my friend wherever she is. I want to be strong so as not to live in fear and not lose the people who are close to me, told me the brown-haired red man with a determined look. That was brave of you, boy. You have great determination in your words, and despite being a teenager you are already beginning to mature. Your ambition is not selfish nor hateful. With the words you just said, it is not a lie nor doubtful. I can say that someone with a pure heart did not let you be blinded by the power you possess. You can count on my help to teach you everything I have said, the green-haired man with a genuine smile. But the training for what you're going to do won't be pretty at all so far, he said seriously to our protagonist. No matter how much effort I'm going to make or how difficult this is, I'll just say this: I am Issei Hyodou, the Sekyuute, and I will show everyone not to mess with a real dragon, Issei said with a determined tone, while his eyes changed to those of a dragon. The real training is about to begin. The next day. Nanyo. The sun rose from the horizon of the city of Nanyo, which is known for where the warriors of any academy possessed magatomas that were controlled by destiny and fought each other from their respective territories, each with their own unique style. On the streets we can see 4 subjects who were under the train bridge where the transport passed by until their cell phones began to ring. Ring ring ring. In the park, other people were also paying attention to their cell phones, which suddenly ranged. Ring ring ring. On the other hand, some boys with their racing motorcycles were also checking their cell phones, through which the doorbells were ringing. Ring ring ring. In an empty classroom at an academy, 2 male students were also ringing their cell phones. Ring ring ring. At the train station, some people waiting for transport were also checking their cell phones because of the sound of their rings. Ring ring ring. At the bus stop, some girls were checking what they had on their cell phones. Ring ring ring. Everywhere in the city and everyone began to read what was on the screen. It said the following. You have a message. Imperial Order. The Great Fighters Tournament opening. And from there we see a slight evil smile from a certain dark brown-haired boy. How? Mountain. In Kuoh City, we look deep into the forest where we can see a young teenager with brown hair and red streaks who was running in that place. He was wearing a white sleeveless hooded sweatshirt with red lines, dark blue pants and black sports shoes with green lines, since a few minutes before. The boy had gotten up at the same time, 7 a.m. and had breakfast and then went out to train in the mountains for the second time. The boy remembered the conversation he had with the first Sekyuute. Flash black. Okay boy, I'll tell you what you're going to do, so pay close attention to me, okay? Said the older green-haired man. Yes, Issei said as he agreed. The training routine requires a degree of physical conditioning such as strength, dexterity, endurance and agility. This is what we will do. First Drag will tell you what you are going to do when you train, while I will teach you about hand-to-hand combat training and weapon handling. Finally, Yashu will train you in magic control, Belzard said seriously. You already understood what I explained to you, he said, looking at the boy who was processing the information. Of course Sensei, said the brown-red boy, motivated. You don't have to call me Sensei, call me by my name, it's okay, said the older green-haired boy. Yes, by the way Belzard, can I ask you something, Issei said to the man. Go ahead, said Belzard. The training I have to do will be daily, said the brown-red with a doubtful tone. That depends on you. When you resist the training routine, as I told you before, it won't be pretty at all so far, answered the older green-haired man. You can visit me so I can teach you hand-to-hand combat, it's okay, he said with a smile. Yes, Issei said to his new teacher. End of flashback. He agrees with the first Sekyuute's explanation of the training routine, by which he must learn how to fight and defend himself from any opponent and protect his friend at all costs. As he continued running, a light sweat that was on his forehead quickly ran down his nose and he felt his hot, humid and slightly agitated body roasting in the morning sun. Haha, this sun is killing me, told the brown-red boy as he panted from loss of breath while continuing to run through the forest. It's normal to do this kind of exercise, comrade, said the red dragon. That's why you have to run, because the main thing is speed and endurance. You need 10 more laps, he informed his partner about him. I know, I'm just getting used to being a hybrid, said Issei, while feeling the muscle pain in his feet. Also, you didn't say that 129 laps ago, he mentally said to the red dragon. The boy had run less than 20 kilometers through the forest without stopping for 3 hours. His body hurt, but he was already used to this type of training. If you want to be strong, it takes time. If you still have energy while you were counting, I'll add another 20 more. I won't forgive my wielder for being weak, Drake said with a strict tone. And when you're done, you'll do 150 squats, 100 diamond push-ups and 100 crunches, he said it like a military instructor. Apparently the celestial dragon feels no mercy in this type of training with a young teenager. This will hurt all day, but I won't give up, thought the brown-red boy as he continued running. 5 hours later. The boy was lying under a tree while drinking a bottle of water that he had brought from home. His body hurt all the way to his muscles, but the celestial dragon had told him a few words when he was training. The more you sweat now, the less you will bleed on the battlefield. What are you going to do, partner? Asked the red dragon. For now, go see Hakufu-chan, Issei answered as he looked at the blue sky. He was thinking about the orange-haired girl, since yesterday some boys from the Yashu Academy were sent by order of the dark brown-haired girl to eliminate his friend from him. And what about the fighter you helped yesterday? Drake said to his partner who was still looking at the sky. He remembered that Tsuji had seen the situation at the dump until he told him something to solve this problem. Receive a single blow to forget the order to eliminate the orange-haired girl, for which it was a promise. He almost hit him in the face, but at the same time Tsuji hit him in the stomach, but the young man managed to break his glasses, and that is why Tsuji has kept that promise. Suddenly, her friend appeared at the place to see what was happening, and even worried about the boy who had been hit by Tsuji until she attacked the fighter with fury, but her fists and kicks were not effective until Tsuji attacked her the same blow that he did for the boy, but she managed to get up from the ground but felt the pain she had in her stomach. But she was surprised that her friend managed to get up, which was unknown because he was already a dragon-human hybrid who had hardened that blow. She had to convince her friend to get out of the dumpster, but she was going to tell him something, but she did not succeed because the boy told her what would happen to him after being received by many blows from those boys, and so they left the place calmly. When he was running through the streets during the rainy season, he had heard the conversation of the three boys until he found out that Tsuji had omitted the order to eliminate Hakufu, but he did not expect that one of his own companions had stabbed him in the back for not complying with the order. That's why he had to fight with those boys until he defeated them quickly. When he was carrying Tsuji, who had become unconscious due to blood loss, until the blue-haired girl appeared who for some strange reason for her helped him to take the wounded fighter to the hospital. Well, I don't know how Tsuji is, but I think he'll be fine, said the brown-haired red-haired boy while touching himself where he was hit until he got up from where he was and then stretched his arms up where he had taken a quick rest. Well, leaving that, it's time to go home, he said as he started running towards his home. Issei department. After taking a shower, Issei went to his dining room where he had his lunch prepared. He sat in the chair wearing a red long-sleeved shirt, black pants and shoes of the same color. He was eating lunch calmly and after 10 minutes he had finished eating. He went to the door when he opened the door and then left the apartment. Train destination. Nanyo train station. The train doors opened as the boy got off the transport to start walking out of the station towards the orange-haired girl's apartment. The Kufu department. The brown-haired boy was in front of his friend's apartment door while he adjusted the sleeve of his shirt. After getting ready he knocked on the door. Knock knock knock. Who is it? Said a female voice that could be heard inside, and the boy recognized it as the orange-haired girl's voice. Hakufu-chan, it's me, Issei said from the door. Ah, I'll open the door for you in a moment, okay, said Hakufu. Okay, Issei said as he calmly waited for his friend until the apartment door opened. Hello Hakufu-chaya, he said in shock. The boy stared at Hakufu, who was simply wearing a white towel which was a little short but did cover her voluptuous body, and the bottom part, her hair was wet from having just finished taking a shower. He blushed at the beauty of the girl in front of him. Her soft skin, as well as her innocent face, looked very pretty. With this beautiful image he saved it in his memory in the folder. Voluptuous bodies. Looks like I won't need a porno for a while, thought the brown-haired red-haired boy. He couldn't stop looking at the orange-haired girl, although he tried hard not to make a perverted face in front of her. Issei, what's wrong? Hakufu said with a doubtful and innocent tone as he saw that his friend of him had N''T spoken for a minute until the boy shook his head from side to side as he had come out of his thoughts of him. Ah, nothing happened, Hakufu-chan said Issei while he held back from noticing the girl's attributes of her, because of which the towel almost covered her pink nipples, until he had to breathe calmly to control his masculine impulses of her, while he sat up and then spoke. I came to see if the uniform I gave you yesterday is okay, he said, already calm. Ah, thanks Issei, I appreciate it, since I won't have problems with my mother, said the orange-haired girl, while thanking the boy. Come on in, she said when she invited the boy. Excuse me, told the brown-haired red-haired boy as he entered the apartment while his friend closed the door. Make yourself at home, said Hakufu as he left the bag on the table while taking a mini towel that was on the chair and then went back to drying his hair. On the other hand, the brown-haired boy went to sit on the sofa while he carefully looked at her friend who was almost finished drying her orange hair. Would you like something to drink? I asked. Water, please, Issei said in a calm tone. Okay, but wait a moment while I put on some clothes, okay, said the orange-haired girl. Yes, said the brown-haired red-haired boy while Hakufu went to his room to get dressed. When he was no longer in sight, he sighed and then thought. I have to calm down, apparently she has good hips, beautiful thighs and a nice butt, even her breasts too, and she almost hides her beautiful nipples, while trying not to think anything perverted. It seems you need intelligence and control your perversion a little, partner, said the red dragon. I know, said Issei, already calm. But at least I know how to control myself, he said, relaxed. What can be done, said Drake as he sighed and then began to speak. On the other hand, I felt a weak energy in that girl, buddy, he said seriously, something that the boy noticed. Really? Said the brown red with a curious tone. Yes, but I can't figure it out, said the red dragon in suspense. Oh, by the way, she's coming, he said while the boy turned around to see how the orange-haired girl who was carrying a glass of water in her right hand was wearing a white shirt with red edges, but it was noticeable that she was not wearing a bra until he saw that she was only wearing her purple underwear, through which her beautiful thighs were showing. The young man covered his nose so that he would not have a nosebleed. I have to calm down, Issei thought at the beautiful image of his friend of him, which was a critical blow to his mind of him. Issei, are you okay? Hakufu said as he looked at his friend. Yeah, I'm fine, said the brown-haired red-haired boy who had managed to recover. Here's the water, said the orange-haired girl as she handed the glass of water to her friend. Thank you, Issei said as he took some water that he had offered to his friend. And what have you done today? I have asked her. Well, I went out to do some shopping for dinner, Hakufu replied. Hey Issei, can I tell you something, the girl said half seriously. Of course, what is it about? Said the brown-red one while he was going to drink the water. I've heard rumors that a fighter was injured since yesterday, said Hakufu, causing the boy to stop a glass he had in his left hand that was a few centimeters near his lips. Where did you hear that from? Issei asked as he looked at his friend while leaving the glass on the table. Since in the store when some boys talked about a fighter who was attacked in the afternoon, the orange-haired girl answered. What was his name? He said while thinking of the fighter's name. Tsuji Shigi, said the brown-red man, making the girl notice him. Yes, that one, what happened to him? Said Hakufu with a curious tone. I don't know if I should tell you, said Issei, who knew what to do, whether or not to talk to his friend about what happened in the alley. Tell me, told the orange-haired girl who was making a sad puppy face. For some reason she wants to know when I tell her about Yashu's boys from the day before, so the boy takes a breath until she speaks. Okay, but you'll have to listen to me carefully, yes, said the brown-haired red-haired boy when she acknowledged her head. When I was running to the train station, I heard the conversation from an alley. There was Tsuji, this Hanu guy, and another one I don't know, but I heard his name, Ryu. They kept talking until Ryu attacked Tsuji by surprise, and they saw me, they tried to attack me, but I had to hit them until they were unconscious. I helped Tsuji from the ground to take him to the hospital, but he fainted. I didn't know where the way was until Ryu appeared. He said, telling the events of yesterday until the girl interrupted him. The one we saw from the hallways, said Hakufu when he remembered that girl who had fought from the locker room. Yes, she showed me where the hospital is, and she also helped me take Tsuji on the way, said Issei, who has finished telling his friend about him about yesterday. I understand, said the orange-haired girl who had heard everything her friend told her. By the way, how are you? He asked a brown-red boy. I do an apostrophe T, no, do an apostrophe T, asked the nurse. Issei answered as he shook his head until the girl had an idea in her mind of her. I know, because we are going to the hospital to visit Tsuji, Hakufu said with a happy expression. Hey, really? Said the brown-haired red-haired boy with a doubtful tone. After you helped Tsuji, that's why we're going to visit him tomorrow, said the orange-haired girl with a smile. Well okay, we'll go before going to the academy, Issei said with a sigh. Yes, Hakufu said, nodding his head. By the way, Hakufu-chan, said the brown-haired red-haired boy to his friend who was looking at his face. Tell me, said the orange-haired girl curiously. Would you like to visit me at my apartment? Issei asked, making the girl happy. Really? Hakufu said in an innocent tone. Yes, that's why when you have a day off I could take you to where I live, that's okay, said the brown-haired red-haired boy with a sincere smile without any perversion. It was the first time for the girl, since she was always with her mother and cousin since her childhood, before she had no company like friends and neighbors, because she was always receiving intense martial arts training with her mother, as well as instructed in tea ceremonies and flower arrangements at the Sansaku dojo from an early age. When she traveled to this region and lived in this apartment, she felt alone since she arrived, since she does not know the people in this city and needed someone to accompany her. Her cousin was in a coma and her mother in Tokyo who does not know when she will come, when she thought she would be alone until the brown-haired boy appeared in her life from the first day. She helped him and accompanied him for days and also invited him to her apartment. Now his friend invited him where he lives to introduce himself to the boy's parents. That is why she will not be alone, because there will be trustworthy people who would form a friendship with her. Of course, he said the orange-haired girl with a smile. After the young people were talking normally until the boy saw the time on the clock on the wall which showed 5 p.m. "Well, Hakufu-chan, I have to go," said Issei as he got up from the sofa and then headed for the exit, "but… Issei, are we going to see Tsuji tomorrow?" I asked Hakufu. "Sure, see you tomorrow," the brown-haired red-haired boy replied as his friend left the apartment heading home. "See you tomorrow," Issei said the orange-haired girl until she remembered something. "True, I forgot to give him his sweater, but I think I'll give it to him later. Now what kind of gift will I bring?" he said while thinking as he headed to her room. In the streets of Nanyo. The boy walked calmly while the sun was setting from the horizon, although he did not know much about this region, but he still recognized the paths he passed by when he continued walking until… "What a surprise to see you on these streets, Ice-kun," said a female voice that was recognizable to the boy. Then he turned around to meet the green-haired girl who was behind him. She was wearing a white-sleeved blouse. On her waist she had a belt of the same color with a silver buckle, a blue skirt that reached her knees and golden sandals. "Ryofu-chan, how are you?" Issei said with a smile as he waved to the girl. The boy hadn't talked much to her on the train for 3 days, maybe he could make up for lost time. "What are you doing here?" asked the green-haired girl. "Well, it's that I went to visit Hakufu-chan to ask about the uniform that I gave her yesterday," answered the brown-red boy. "I see, it seems like you two get along well, right?" Ryofu said mischievously. "Yes, after all she is my friend, ha 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 ha," said Issei while laughing nervously. "Hey, would you like to spend some time with me?" said the green-haired girl. Huh?" said the brown-haired red-haired boy with a surprised expression who didn't know what to think about the girl's words. "Really? I mean, don't you have anything to do?" said the boy nervously. "Well, no, I just had to take care of some things," so said Ryofu as he approached where the boy was and then stopped in front of him. "Are you coming?" he said, looking into her honey brown red eyes. "Of course," Issei said while initially he was happy. "If I want to continue this relationship with Ryofu-chan, I'll have to take advantage of it." I thought with joy that it was a date with the green-haired girl. After that, the brown-haired boy and the green-haired girl began to walk through the city center. The boy doesn't know much about this region, but the girl who accompanied him showed him streets and places so he could get to know them. After walking around a lot, they went to a park and then the young people sat on a bench until the girl began to speak. "Well, Ice-kun, I've noticed that you've dyed your bangs," Ryofu said with a curious tone as he looked at the boy's red bangs in his hair. Well," Issei said as he thought quickly until he found some words that might help. "It's a new look I had since yesterday," he said, a little nervous. I see, you look good," said the green-haired girl, while giving her opinion of her. "Thank you," said the brown-red boy highlighted. "It's been days since we saw each other, don't you think?" said Ryofu watching the people having fun. "Yes," Issei said as he remembered that day since he met her for the second time. "On the other hand, Ice-kun," said the green-haired girl when changing the subject. "You were fighting with Yashu's fighters," he said while looking at the boy who took him by surprise. "How do you know?" said the brown-red boy surprised. "In your eyes it says that you fought against the fighters in the garbage dump," Ryofu said in a calm tone. "Something like that," said Issei since she knows how to get the truth out of him. "You're a fortune teller, Ryofu-chan," he said jokingly. "Sometimes," said the green-haired girl who laughed a little. "Do you regret coming to this region?" he said to the chestnut tree who was silent before saying his answer. "From the beginning, I thought that my life would be cruel since I got here," said Issei who was being honest. "But since I met you, you've told me about the fighters and the Magatamas in this place. I realized that where I studied was not a normal academy, but thanks to that I became friends with Hakufu-chan. I've had a good time with her," I finished his answer. Yes, it was the fact that the boy liked spending time with the orange-haired girl, who despite being childish and a little clumsy, he liked because of the way she expressed how innocent she is. "You became very friendly with her, don't you think?" Ryofu said with a smile. "Of course, it was worth it to come here," said the brown-red boy without lying. When one of the two was about to talk, about 5 guys approached where the young people were. "Hey babe, would you like to spend some time with us?" said one with a rebellious appearance while shamelessly looking at the girl's breasts. "We're going to have fun with you," said another boy who was just like his friend. "I'm sorry but I'm having a good time here," said the green-haired girl with displeasure to the 5 guys who knew her intentions. "You better leave or you'll get hurt," he said in a warning tone. "Oh come on darling, a girl like you shouldn't be with a brat like him," said the one with an arrogant look as he tried to take the girl's arm with his right hand until the boy grabbed his wrist, by which he had gotten up from the bench. "Hey, you idiot," she said to go away, Issei said while frowning. "Who do you think you are?" said the rebel with an annoyed tone as he looked at the boy. "Could you leave her, she was talking to me," said the brown-red to the 5 guys who started laughing. "What happens if I don't do it, brat?" the rebel said in a mocking tone. "This Issei said as he released the guy's wrist and then gave. POW. A punch to the face that knocked him out instantly and then he collapsed to the ground that made his companions upset with the boy as they surrounded the young people. When the young man was about to fight, he saw how the girl stood next to him. "Hey Ice-kun, I'll take care of them," said Ryofu, who was cracking his fists. "Are you sure?" said the brown-red boy, unsure. "Calm down, I can defend myself," said the green-haired girl while he interrupted the boy. "Okay, at least I'll help you," Issei said as he got into a defense position. The four boys lunged at the young man. The boy dodged the guy's blows and then kicked him in the chest, sending him into the tree, knocking him out of the fight, while the girl dodged the other guy's punch without a problem and then hit him with his open hand across the chest, causing him to be thrown backwards and dragging his feet across the ground before crashing into a wall. "What a hit," thought the brown-red man, who was surprised by the attack that Ryofu made. "It seems that girl has used her Kai Drake," said mentally to his partner. "Boo," Issei said with a curious tone. "The vital flow of energy, when it makes an explosion in the Kai, it can critically attack its enemies," the red dragon reported. The boy watched as the green-haired girl evaded the attacks of the two guys without much effort and then delivered a powerful kick with her right foot that she performed with enormous mastery, causing the elegant fabric of her skirt to rise a little, revealing light blue underwear. "Nice," thought the brown-red boy, who saw that generous view. That strong kick made the guy fly to one side towards the ground where he was left unconscious, and she gave the second guy a tremendous hook to the chin that made him rise from the ground, but she did not stop with that, since with superhuman speed, she appeared on top of the guy to kick him in the entire back, which sent him directly to the ground where he cracked a little. Issei was incredulous at how the green-haired girl defeated the three guys without any difficulty, since he had previously seen the orange-haired girl fight in hand-to-hand combat with other fighters in the previous days. On the other hand, the green-haired girl has good movements for her way of fighting, as well as her speed, which is fast. She saw how the last guy took out a knife and moved to attack the young man. Suddenly his instinct screamed at the boy to dodge the cut before making contact. "Now you'll see how I destroy you, brat," said the guy with a scar on his cheek with an annoyed tone while he lunges towards the boy. "Pathetic," said the brown-haired red-haired man as he easily dodged the cuts and stabs and then gave him a right hook to the stomach, followed by a kick in the same place where he hit the guy, sending him crashing into the light pole, leaving him unconscious. "Not bad," Ryofu said, watching Issei's movement of her. "Thank you, just like you," said the brown-haired red-haired boy while shaking his hands. "By the way, Ryofu-chan, what kind of magatama do you have?" he asked the green-haired girl. "Do you mean this?" she said as she moved her hair back on the left side of her face to show the boy a golden magatama shaped like an earring from her ear. Previously, the boy has seen those magatamas, but in different colors. First it was Hakufu's, which has a jade green one, Gakushu's is silver, the black-haired one is white, the one with the hat is red, and Tsuji's is yellow. "You're thinking about the colors of the magatamas, aren't you?" said the green-haired girl in a normal tone. "Yes," Issei said that she deciphered it without problem. "You see, there are people who have their magatamas that depend on the rank or level of category of the fighter who has experience in combat," answering the brown-red's question. "Since you've seen my golden magatama, it's because I'm a class A warrior," she said. Well, the boy was stunned by that since she was very skilled since she fought with the three guys. "Now I understand that you are good at fighting and your punches are strong," said the brown-red-haired boy in amazement. "Yes, but I wasn't fighting seriously," Ryofu said with a shrug. "I see," Issei said as he realized that he saw the sky was about every turn night, so it was getting late when he intended to say goodbye to her. "But are you leaving?" the green-haired girl asked. "Yes, I'm running late," replied the brown-red man. "I don't want to miss the train to Kuoh," he said to the girl. "Before you go, Ice-kun, there will be a tournament in the next few days," Ryofu said while the boy turns to look at her. "Tournament?" said Issei, who was curious about that. "You'll find out, and if you want to talk, contact me at this number," said the green-haired girl as she approached to take a small card out of her pocket and give it to the boy, who took it with pleasure. "See you later, Ice-kun," she said with a smile as she turned around and headed out of the park while swaying her hips from side to side, where she was watched by the young man who was infatuated with that. "See you, Ryofu-chan," said the brown-haired red-haired boy to himself as he stood in the middle of the park while looking at the number on the card. "At least it went well for me," while jumping for joy. "Mate, it's getting late if you don't arrive on time," said the red dragon, making the boy come out of his thoughts of him. "Damn, the train," said Issei as he put the card in his pants and began to run very quickly towards the station, while the five guys are still unconscious on the ground after receiving blows from the young men. How? Night. It was 7 p.m. in Kuoh City, where the boy had arrived first at the ramen stand to take advantage of dinner. Now, while there were more people at this time enjoying the atmosphere, the brown-red boy started the conversation with Tsuji about Isamu's situation. "Old man, what news do you know about Wilbert?" said Issei, who was eating his favorite chicken ramen. I'll tell you later, I have to serve the customers, Tsuji said apologetically. Okay, said the brown-red boy to continue his ramen. Around 1 hour Issei had eaten 15 bowls of ramen that impressed the diners that a teenager ate like there was no tomorrow. He began to make comments towards the brown-red, but he did not give importance to what he told him the rest, since he was used to it thanks to the actions of his parents and older brother. Afterwards Tsuji asked Issei to accompany him to his office to have the conversation away from curious people. Both entered the office where he closed the door, where the two sat in their respective seats at the desk. The owner of the place broke the silence and spoke. Yoon visited me at my place, said the serious man. What did you say? Said the brown-red with interest. 2 weeks ago she and a private investigator found evidence inside some document, said Tsuji. What document was it? Issei asked. Yoon, you don't know it, but she has a feeling that she had a relationship with her husband's partners, but she paused. But the boy said the same. 2 days after the discovery of the documents, one of Wilbert's partners was found dead, he said with a grim expression. Just now when there was a test, Issei said in an annoyed tone. According to what Yoon told me, his father Goru is involved in that, said the ramen owner seriously. Well, knowing this bastard, I'd do anything, the brown-red boy grew. When the officers went to his residence to ask if he knew anything, but he was not there because the neighbors saw him leave in a Phoenix limousine, reported Tsuji. Phoenix Company, Issei said doubtfully. Oh right, I think he doesn't know after his banishment, he said, the man looking at the boy who made a face of disgust remembering that. Well, tell me, what do you have with the Phoenix Company, said Issei, annoyed to hear news about his ex-family. Goru made a business alliance with the second son of the company owner, said Tsuji. Who is the owner's second son? Asked Issei, who he should N''T have asked. Razor Phoenix, the man answered, revealing the name of the Hyodou's new partner. Chapter 4. Duel and Rebellion, final part. Apartment. Issei's room. It was 9 p.m, the boy was wearing a white shirt and blue shorts while lying on his bed, remembering the last events that had just occurred tonight. Ryofu's display of strength through Kai that was new to him. The rank of the Magatamas according to their fighting level. The fighters tournament. The discovery of evidence in favor of Wibert, but as a consequence the elder Asami's partner died, which left a lot of mystery in the police. And finally, whoever is a possible future problem is Razor Phoenix, since he was new to the supernatural world. If this Razor was one of them demon that Drake had mentioned according to the information of the current demon clans. That the Phoenix clan is expert in fire of his clan, and you also presume that they are immoral, but in reality it was regeneration due to the amount of magic of the clan members. The brown-red made a possible scenario that if he faces him and his chances of winning were 5% due to his current condition, he was still weak, and also he did not know how to fight the Phoenix, but there was one certain thing within him, he has a full year to prepare. When that moment comes, he has to reveal before the facts as the strongest Sekiryuite in history. He also had a damn gratitude to bastard Isamu, that if he hadn't sabotaged his entrance exam to Kuoh, he wouldn't have met Ryofu, Hakufu, Ryamu and Ryubi in Kanto. So immersed in his thoughts of him until the red dragon manifests itself in a green light now and interrupts the boy. Partner, Drake said from the green light. Yes, Drake said Issei, who came out of the thoughts he had. From what I saw hours ago, the girl from the park stance is very skillful with her punches, said the red dragon. Yes, since he attacked those 3 boys, said the brown-haired red-haired boy, well remembering what the green-haired girl did in the park. That girl has incredible energy, although she is not compared to my power, but her Kai keeps it balanced by her elemental attribute as well as her defense, said Drake. Elemental attribute? Issei said with a curious tone. There are 6 elements, which are fire, earth, water, wind, lightning and darkness, reported the red dragon. I saw, said the brown-haired red-haired boy who had understood that little information. Well buddy, it's time for your melee combat section with Belzerd, said Drake in a commanding tone. It's okay, Issei said as he closed his eyes. In the consciousness of the booster gear. The boy opened his eyes to see the former Sekiryuites who were waiting for him. Hi, Issei said the older green-haired man with a smile. Hello Belzerd, Elsha-san said the brown-red man while greeting his teachers. It seems you are ready for this, the blonde said to the boy. I am, Issei said excitedly. Well Issei, what Elsha and I will teach you will be about special training, said Belzerd. Special training? Said the brown-haired red-haired boy with a curious expression. You'll understand, said Elsha, laughing a little with a touch of mystery. Okay, Issei, follow me, we'll go to an appropriate place, said the older green-haired man as he began to walk while the boy followed him. It seems like Belzerd trained him extremely, thought the red dragon. Issei and Belzerd walked for a few minutes until they arrived at the place. It was a white room that was empty, since it is similar to the previous one. Well, since we're here we'll start. I need to know if you're good at fighting, but first the training will go on little by little. Your first lesson will be hand-to-hand combat, so throw a punch at me while I stop it. You must do it with all your strength, said the older green-haired man when he makes a position to stop a blow. Okay, said the brown-red man who took a light breath as he got into a fighting stance. Here I go, he said as he lunged at the man with his left fist to strike, but the older green-haired man stopped him with the open palm of his right hand very easily. It's not enough, Belzard said. Since you did it, even though you are a hybrid, you lack more physical strength to fight, and there will also be challenges when you face opponents or rivals that will surpass you. Well, you have that current strength, he said when the boy lowered his left fist. Believe me, if you want to be a warrior you have to be at your best. Now I will teach you Kyokushinkai karate, Aikido and Jiu-Jitsu. These fighting skills have a wide variety of modern or classic systems that are based on unarmed defense of one or more aggressors, both armed and unarmed. You already understood, said the green-haired man with a genuine smile. Yes, when do we start? Asked Issei, who is eager to learn these combat styles that the first Sekiryutai will teach him. But the enthusiasm was short-lived, as the man said it won't be pretty at all. Right now, Belzard replied with a wolfish grin while the boy tensed up at the expression on the man's face. Time skip. The seconds, the minutes and the hours are the time that the boy has been training non-stop with the older green-haired man to learn the techniques of traditional, modern, classic martial arts and self-defense. At first it was fists and kicks, then they moved on to joint dislocations, sweeps, throws, immobilization, submissions, strangulations, blows to vulnerable and vital points. Projections, blows with an open or closed hand. Each attack can be blunt, abrupt or hard for the young man, who thanks to his resistance with the help of the celestial dragon, was able to endure this training, and not just any one that could mean one thing: torture and pain, that I could assure you. But the boy did not regret that decision, rather he is already getting used to it. This would help his defense that requires dodging all the opponent's attacks, and he could make critical hits in strategic areas with superhuman speed that would be impossible to dodge or block from any area of the human body. Being a hybrid he could withstand this extreme training. The tiredness of the bones, the pain of the muscles, the sweat that ran down the skin, and the labored breathing are what the boy has at this moment. He never gave up on this because his determination in spirit and body and mind keeps him standing to become strong. A thought in the boy's mind. Anything to learn to help Hakufu-chan. He will protect the girl who has become fond of him, and there will be women who will be interested in the young Sekiryutai. I'm already at my limit, said the brown-red boy while breathing heavily on the ground. Not bad to say, your stamina is more than I expected, said Belzard, who was still standing when he was barely a little exhausted. Let's leave it here, we'll continue later because tomorrow it's your turn with Elsha to teach you about magic, he said while extending his hand to the boy, who took it and then stood up with the man's help. Now go rest, you still have to practice what you learned, and when you master it, I will teach you Muay Thai and kickboxing, said the older green-haired man to the boy. Yes, I will, Issei said as he closed his eyes when his body turned into particles of light. Real world. The brown-red boy opened his eyes lazily as he got up a little from his bed while yawning and rubbing his vision of him and then. But what? Issei said with a tone of surprise and confusion as he blinked several times to get out of bed to walk to the window to see how dark it was from outside, through which the streetlights illuminated the streets and houses were off. Drag, how long was I training in the booster gear? He asked the red dragon. There is a difference between the time of booster gear and the real world. You see, partner, you were training for around 12 hours, but here 6 hours have passed, meaning that 2 hours is equivalent to 1 hour on Earth, Drag replied. Now check your alarm clock, he said that the brown-red boy should check his alarm clock. The boy did as the celestial dragon said and set the time on his alarm clock. 2 a.m. said Issei, who was surprised since he had the training with the older green-haired man in the consciousness of the booster gear, and after that he returned to reality only to realize by seeing the time of dawn. Wow, but he couldn't finish because Drag spoke. Go take a rest, mate, because you're just a few hours away from dawn, ordered the red dragon. Okay, yawn, said the brown-red boy as he returned to bed to go back to sleep. 4 hours later. At 6 a.m., the sun's rays were shining through the window into the boy's face as he began to wake up. As he got out of bed to stretch his arms and take a big yawn, he got up to leave the room with a towel. Heading to the bathroom, he went to brush his teeth and take off his clothes to take a shower and finished in 5 minutes. Before leaving he saw his face in front of the mirror and saw that his hair had grown. Why do I have long hair? Issei said with a curious tone. Since you awakened booster gear and became a hybrid, you acquired a characteristic change like your body, your bangs and even your hair, said Drag. So that was it, said the brown-red boy who formed a small smile. At least I should change my hairstyle, she said as she took a hairbrush and thought of a specific hairstyle until she decided on a suitable look, and it was combing her hair completely down from left to right, covering her ears. I think it suits me well, what do you think, Drake? Issei asked. You look good, buddy, the red dragon thought from his mind. The brown red is already having a change of life, since before he was a person despised by his family and brother, who always looks at breasts and stars at girls in the locker room with his perverted friends, since his time in elementary school. Now he must leave this type of facet, because that is already in the past. Now since he started studying at Nanyo he became different since he met the green-haired girl, the orange-haired girl, the blue-haired girl, the muscular man that the boy previously felt hostility towards for hitting the girl on the first day, but with the passing of the days, he stopped seeing him as a bad person until he ended up liking him because he discovered that Kakushu was a good person. He doesn't like Saji because his attitude is arrogant since he touched his friend's breasts as well as stealing her magatama, that is why he dislikes him and he reminded him a lot of Isamu. He discovered that Ryofu told him about the history of the era of romances of three kingdoms and about the magatamas that are the reincarnations of the spirits of the legendary heroes and realized that region where the men and women of any academy are warriors who fought for destiny. Now he knew the situation he got into, but by failing the entrance exam to Kuoh he has managed to have a friendship with Hakufu. This made him lose interest in going to Kuoh. On the contrary, he was happy to talk to her during those days in Nanyo. Since the imperial decree he has begun to worry about the girl. This action made his perversion lower itself to the minimum and that. He felt a desire to protect his friend, then since he has awakened his potential, he has met the celestial dragon and told him about the history of the supernatural. Now he has a sacred gear in his left arm that has the ability to double the power and defeat the strongest, even to kill a god. That made the boy want to become strong to protect his friend. His determination and his spirit is greater until he decided to train with the red dragon. He even sacrificed himself to become a hybrid and also met the two ancient carriers to teach the boy everything. Now on this day, he will become a different person, one who is willing to help and protect the most important people, because he will become a fighter, a strong person who is not bound by fate. He is the Sekiryuite of this generation and the beginning of his harem. After Issei left the bathroom, he went to his room to get dressed in his academic uniform, only this time the white button-down shirt was slightly open, leaving his red shirt exposed. After getting dressed, he left the room to go to the dining room, where he prepared his breakfast more than usual, thanks to his dragon status. After everything calmed down, the boy finished breakfast and is putting his notebooks in his briefcase, after he was already ready. Ring ring ring. The phone in the living room is ringing. I wonder who's calling, said the brown-red boy, a little confused. As he approached the table where the desk phone was and then answered the call. Hello? Issei said from the other side of the phone. Hello, Issei, said a female voice that was recognizable to the boy. Well, Hakufu-chan, tell me, what do you need? Asked the brown-haired red-haired boy. Could you come to the hospital? Hakufu said from his cell phone. Sure, I'll be there, said Issei, who ended the call and left his apartment. Nanyo Hospital. After the train ride. After the brown-haired boy left his apartment to travel by train, he had arrived at the place 20 minutes ago until he saw the orange-haired girl from the hospital entrance carrying a sunflower t-shirt in her left hand and holding the panda bear stuffed animal in her right hand. Hakufu-chan, said Issei, approaching his friend. Who are you? Said Hakufu with a doubtful expression, seeing the boy who had told him his name. It's me, Hakufu-chan, Issei, said the brown-red boy. Well, the girl looked at him for a minute and recognized his face and his voice. Ah, hello, Issei, said the orange-haired girl with a smile. Well, the boy had a drop on the back of his head. Slow, Issei thought. And that's what you have in your hands, he said in a doubtful tone, while pointing at the bouquet of sunflowers and the panda bear stuffed animal with the index finger of his left hand. These are the gifts for Tsuji. I had to think of what to give, so I thought about taking my stuffed animal that I have as an ornament and bought the sunflower bouquets at the flower shop, said Hakufu happily. And did you bring him a gift? He asked his friend about him. No, I just came here in a hurry, I'm sorry, said the brown-haired red-haired boy in an apologetic tone. Until. Dear, said the orange-haired girl as she handed the panda bear stuffed animal to the boy who was looking at it with a confused expression. It would be bad if you didn't bring a gift to a friend, so I'll give you the stuffed animal, she said very excitedly. Okay, Issei said as he took the panda bear plushie, while his friend kept the sunflower bouquet. Ready, she said to her friend. Yes, Hakufu replied with a smile. Let's go, said the brown-red boy, and after those words, the young men entered the place. They went to ask a nurse. And they headed towards the room where the dark-skinned man was resting, and when they arrived there were two boys guarding the entrance. One has short hair with white glasses, and the other has his hair combed back and reaching his shoulders. There is a sign on the door that says, "No visitors allowed." The orange-haired girl did N''T know what to say. On the other hand, the brown-haired girl was N''T looking for words from her mouth, either until her friend Ella spoke up. Okay, let me see, first things first, we brought you some gift, she said as she showed him the bouquet of sunflowers, and the boy did the same action as her friend who showed the panda bear stuffed animal to them. Too awkward, Issei thought, who was ashamed of this. At least you look good carrying that stuffed animal, buddy, Drake said with a sarcastic tone. Don't make fun of it, Drake said, the brown-red one. Alright now, this to Tsuji, Hakufu said in an innocent tone. An awkward silence surrounds them for a few seconds until one of the boys speaks. The sign you can't read, said the one with short hair. From then on, the orange-haired boy handed the bouquet of sunflowers to the one with the slicked back hair while he took a step to kneel near the door so he could read the letters. Don't drill pots, said the orange-haired girl who had just read what the sign said, or at least she thought it did. You really don't know how to read, said the short-haired man when he saw the girl who was laughing embarrassedly while scratching the back of her head. No visitors allowed, he said in an authoritarian tone. How are you, Tsuji? Issei asked. Not good at all, replied the one with his hair combed back while shaking his head as if something bad had happened. What thing? Said Hakufu with a doubtful look. According to the doctors, he has not yet regained consciousness, his spine is badly injured by the knife stab wound, and when he wakes up he will not be able to fight again, nor will he be able to walk again, informed the slick-back man with a tone that is a mix of concern and pain from the terrible news. That statement made the orange-haired girl paralyzed by those words and lose her spirit to fight, while she felt a feeling of sadness and guilt that invaded her body, for which the brown-haired red-haired boy noticed it instantly. It is the same expression when she reminded her of her cousin's terrible accident, and then she gets up from the ground. Thanks, we'll come another day, said the orange-haired girl with a forced smile as she made a small bow and then began to leave, while the boy just handed her the panda bear stuffed animal with the slick back hair and then reached for his friend of hers. All the young people were already leaving the hospital to go to the academy. Wait, said the one with the slick back hair, making the young people stop in their tracks. The Shiji had the order to kill you, but for some reason he decided to ignore the order and not end your life. This is your fault, he said when he saw Hakufu, who covered his eyes with his bangs while clenching his teeth because he had heard those harsh words. This is all because of you. If you hadn't come, Tsuji would still be fine. POW. He didn't finish his sentence because he and his partner, as well as the orange-haired girl, had heard a dull sound until they saw the brown-haired boy who had hit the wall, leaving a crater the size of a soccer ball with his left fist, while he couldn't contain his anger at the words the boy had said. Enough, said the brown-haired red-haired boy with an annoyed look at the one with the slicked back hair. The reason for what happened 2 days ago was that Tsuji did it on his own, he knew the consequences, but he still made a promise that he would forget his fight with Hakufu-chan. I won't let them talk to my friend like that, because it's not her fault, she said to the boy who was standing. Issei, said Hakufu as he looked at the boy who was defending him. We have to go to the academy, Hakufu-chan, said the brown-haired red-haired boy as he withdrew his fist from the crater so that the orange-haired girl could see that it had some scratches and a little blood. After this, the boy took his friend's left hand with his right hand and then they began to leave the place, leaving the boys watching where the young people went. Hey, said the short-haired one who has been silent because of the conversation between his partner and the boy. Yeah, said the one with the slicked back hair. From what I've heard, that boy was transferred to Nanyo a few days ago. I heard that he had been defeated by an unknown force to the students of that academy for receiving the imperial order, and since 3 days ago the Rikuyo fighters were fighting with Sansaku and Kakuten on the bridge until he defeated 2 boys with great ease, said the short-haired one. Dude, you're joking, right? Said the one with the slicked back hair with a doubtful tone. And what if I tell you it isn't, said the short-haired one. You may be right, said the one with the slicked back hair. Nanyo Academy. The young people had arrived a little late to the academy. Luckily the teacher has apologized to his students for the delay when he was in an emergency. The class has been processed. Although the boy saw more and more the expression of guilt and sadness that his friend had, he worried about how she was since he found out about the condition of the older brunette. After the bell rang, the boy approached the girl, but she had told him that she needed to do some things, but he knew that she wanted to be alone for a few moments. Break. For now, the boy was lying on a tree next to a white bench while eating his lunch that was prepared by himself while doing nothing, but he was entertained when he saw some girls wearing white shirts along with black bloomers while doing exercises. Suddenly. David. Issei from Gakushu, and Gakushu is Kauki. I see you care about Sansaku, Hyodou said in a male voice as the boy moved his head to his right to meet Gakushu, who had his arms crossed. You look different with that hairstyle, said the big brown red-haired man. Gakushu, said Issei while the aforementioned sat on the bench. You've come to talk to me about something, he said in a calm tone. Of course I heard that you were with Sansaku when they had a fight with Yashu's people and that Tsuji was attacked afterward, said Gakushu. Wow, he sure spreads rumors quickly, said the brown-red one. I'm surprised his own people attacked him, said the black-haired man. It's not the people, Issei said as the muscle man arched his eyebrows curiously. What do you mean? Gakushu said curiously. There were only two people, Hanu and the other one I think is called Ryu, said the brown-red man while he tried to remember the names of those guys. I see, so it was the leader of the academy Yashu in his right hand. On the other hand I heard that some fighters are worried about Tsuji and are with him in the hospital, said the black-haired man. To be honest, Hakufu-chan and I went to visit him, Issei said while drinking his juice. To visit him? Said Gakushu with a doubtful tone. Yes, Tsuji is out of danger, but he has not regained consciousness, and the bad thing about this is that his spine is damaged, said the brown-red man. I guess Yashu has turned his back on him, said the black-haired man. Rather, they betrayed him, Issei said, and corrected the black-haired man. I'm glad you're not hurt, Gakushu said as the boy looked at him with a confused expression. Are you glad? Said the brown-red one. I do, at least for the moment. I need you and Sansaku to stay in good condition, said the black-haired man. What do you mean by that? Issei asked. The Great Fighters Tournament will be soon, Gakushu answered, making the boy remember the green-haired girl's words from her in the park. So what Ryofu-chan said was true, the brown-haired red-haired boy thought until he spoke. What is it about? He said with interest. All the academies in the Kanto region compete for the best composition, in other words, that is the event that marks everyone's rank, said the big guy. Well, the boy already knew that since the girl told him yesterday. The last one was done 2 years ago, and it gave the worst result, he said, while remembering something that was not good at all, as if he were seeing a nightmare. What happened? Said Issei. When it was all over, the winner was Kuoh Academy, a newcomer had defeated other academies completely alone, almost to the point of leaving any fighter in the brink of death, said Gakushu. You mean, said the brown-haired red-haired man who had heard every word of the muscled man and knew who he was talking about. The fighter is known as the Satan Chue Tataku, said the black-haired man. It seems that my doubts were cleared, Issei thought until he spoke. And what exactly is the objective of this tournament? Issei asked. Every 3 years, the champion must take the GIE potion and determine the date of the next tournament, answered Gakushu. GIE? Said the brown-red one with a curious tone. It's a rock made by Chikite of the Qin dynasty, better known as the Imperial Seal. Each academy can only register 5 contestants. Saji is lost, and Kane has lost his sanity, said the black-haired man. Wait a minute, if other fighters are going to fight in the tournament that means we will go too, said Issei, who had to take his rice ball. Yes, this was a direct order by Injutsu, said Gakushu. Well, the boy finds it strange that that person gave that order. Does he know about us? Said the brown-red boy seriously. For months now, we have only communicated by message, so I do N''T know his strategy, but his will is absolute, no matter what kind of person he is still our leader, said the black-haired man. Something's not right about this, buddy, Drake said. Yes, Drake, it's strange that this Injutsu guy doesn't show up in person as if he didn't exist, Issei said mentally. Now the contestants of our academy would be you, me, Hakufu-chan, he said until he remembered a certain girl with a left eye patch that he has not seen today, since in his opinion of her, she was beautiful and cute at the same time. And Ryamu is going to the tournament? I asked the big guy. She will decide if she enters, said Gakushu while looking at the sky. I understand, said the brown-red in a whisper. In some place. We look at a luxurious 2-story white house with navy blue roofs. At the entrance to it there is a sign on the left that says the person's name. Hall. Inside the house, we see a large room with good quality decorations. The windows are large with dark red curtains. There is a table of the same size, along with a flower shop of roses. In the center is a leather family piece of furniture, along with a small glass table. On the wall there is a painting with golden frames, and on the other is a fireplace with some noble style lamps. She'll be out in a moment, please wait here, said to a female maid, while the blue-haired woman wearing the academy uniform nodded her head for the lady to leave the large door, making the guest stay in the room. Ryamu began to walk through the elegant and decorated room while waiting for the person she was going to see to make an appearance until her attention was drawn to a photograph that was on one of the fine pieces of furniture where the teapot was. She approached, see it clearly in the photo. There were 3 young people on a motorcycle, a girl and 2 boys. The first was her, who looked a little younger. She had long hair that reached the middle of her back with a navy blue jacket, underneath it, a pale pink sweater and a white skirt, along with shoes of the same color. The second has blonde hair with a white shirt, while the sleeves were dark red, blue pants and white shoes. It was Saji Genpu. The last has violet hair with a black flannel. Dark gray shorts and blue and white shoes. She had a melancholic look when she looked at the photo that she had been carrying for a long time. Since then the door of the room opened when the person has entered the place. Long time no see, said a male voice while the blue-haired girl was a little startled, but she quickly regained her composure to look at the person. Hey diary, Ryamu. It was that young man in the photo, but there is a big difference. In the photo he was standing, smiling, he seemed to be very happy and alive. The one who just entered had an air of tranquility with a very optimistic personality, but he was also in a wheelchair, since he cannot walk or move on his own. His outfit consisted of a button-down shirt and light purple pajama pants with green slippers, and clearly his eyes showed that the 16-year-old was blind. "Do you want to make me a coffee?" said Tae with a smile. After the girl poured the coffee into the cup for the boy who tried a little coffee, she spoke. It's delicious, you make the best coffee," said the violet-haired man, enjoying his coffee. "It's instant, do T be so sarcastic," said the blue-haired girl with a tone of reply, while her eye is closed after drinking some coffee. Tae laughed softly. "You're recovering very well," Ryamu said, changing the subject. "That's right," said the violet-haired man as he raised his left thumb. "It's hard to believe that I was in a coma for 6 months in a hospital, and I recently learned to read Braille," he said, looking at his cup. "Forks," said the blue-haired girl, while the young man took the book to begin narrating out loud. Imada delicately caresses Karen's beautiful flower, and it opens as if reached by an intense burning said Tae with a perverted smile. "Do T say that out loud," said Ryamu, who was blushing and somewhat grateful that her friend was blind, so she couldn't see her expression until something special came to her mind. From then on, Issei began to caress the secret garden of Ryamu's burning body. The girl shook her head several times to clear her head of that imagination, while her blush grew deeper. Where did that thought come from? Why do I suddenly remember Issei Hyodou? And why do I behave like this? Thought the blue-haired girl, who was a little blushing, imagining the brown-haired boy she had barely been seen since 2 days ago in the streets and in the hallways of the academy on the second day. Ryamu, said the violet-haired man. "Did you leave?" he said 11 more to the air. "Ah no," Ryamu said as he quickly recovered to answer. "Sorry, I wasn't paying attention, you said something," the thought said, emerging. "Well, what's bothering you now?" said Tae. "I know you, remember, you don't visit me unless it bothers you. I heard that Saji was in the hospital, that lazy guy always gets into trouble," said the blind man to his friend. "Yes," said the blue-haired girl when she remembered what happened at the academy about the imperial decree. "And that the tournament of great fighters will start soon. I received the notice yesterday," said the purple-haired man. "Are you afraid of having a fight?" I asked directly. Ryamu didn't answer as that wasn't what really concerned her. I remember it well," Tae said with nostalgia. 2 years ago, during the 4th game between Nanyo and Yashu, he said when he remembered that day, since he was injured and bleeding from the blows that the bald dark-skinned fighter gave him. "I have no doubt that I would have died from receiving Bunshu's blow," he said, while remembering the fighter who was running towards him to deliver the finishing blow, until his friend reacted quickly to kick the fighter in the head. "But you interfered and I lost by fault. It was a good ending, don't you think?" he said when he finished remembering, while the girl got up from the furniture and looked at the photo again. "Although it was a fight that I wouldn't have won anyway, well, I ended up in a wheelchair after all. That was the price I paid technically. I know that you were the reason why I lost to Nanyo, but you were the strongest fighter at that time," she finished saying her memory of the past. Then, the blue-haired girl sighed and began to leave. "Ah, the bathroom is at the back on the left," said the purple-haired man. "No, I'm leaving now," Ryamu said. "Okay? Already?" said the blind man. "Yes, I have to find the person for the tournament," said the blue-haired girl. "The person?" Tae said with confusion. "The fighter or something?" His friend asked him the question. "Issei Hyodou," Ryamu said with a slight red tint on her cheeks, but she quickly recovered. "Next time, I'll make you a real coffee," she said with a smile. "Huh?" the violet-haired boy said doubtfully. "I'm not satisfied with being praised for instant coffee," said the blue-haired girl as she opened the door to leave the room. "Well, I'll be waiting for you from then on," Tae said to the air until he stopped smiling, until his expression became sad and melancholic. "I've always had feelings for you, Ryamu, but I guess in my state you couldn't reciprocate. If that boy didn't appear you would be with Saji. I can only wish you the best for being with the person you love," she said while she released a tear in her left eye and went to another room to rest. Nanyo Academy. Afternoon. Classes had ended for the day, the students were beginning to leave the academy to go home. In the classroom, the boy put his notebooks in his briefcase, but he was worried. 10 minutes ago, his friend went to the bathroom in the middle of class, and when she finished she has not returned. Suddenly someone called her. "Hyodou," said Gakushu, who was standing at the entrance of the hall. "What's wrong, Gakushu?" Issei said with a doubtful tone. "It's Onsaku," said the black-haired man, making the boy alert to that. "What happened?" said the brown-red boy excitedly. "She went out, it seems she skipped class," said Gakushu, while the boy was thinking about where his friend was until he had a click in his head. "Where is Yashu Academy?" Issei asked seriously while the big guy began to give him directions to one of the rival academies. "Yashu Academy?" Student council room. In a dark room were the leader and his right-hand man along with other subjects who were gathered. From the fighting tournament. Said the one in the purple jacket when he has gauze on his right cheek from the strong blow the boy gave him. I have an idea, why don't we give up and join forces with the winner? He said until his phone rang and then he answered the call. What's wrong? What are you saying? Says the other subject. Ryu, what's wrong? Said the one with the hat. That can't be, Ryu said in a hysterical tone. Yard. If you don't believe what I'm telling you, go see for yourself, said a fighter when several boys were looking at the orange-haired girl who was standing at the entrance of the academy while they were openly looking at the girl with lust. From among the crowd of warriors came the one in the purple jacket and the one with the hat. What do you think? Said the man in the purple jacket in a mocking tone. What are you thinking? Are you desperate for us to beat you up? Hanu said while whispering to his partner. Ryu, what are we going to do now? One of his men asked his leader of him. Are you Ryu? Hakufu said as he looked at the man. Yes, do you have a problem? Said the blonde smugly. I will never forgive you, said the orange-haired girl in a low tone. Tell me, what are you talking about? Said the man in the purple jacket. I don't understand what the girl is saying. Because you stabbed Tsuji in the back, he wasn't one of them, Hakufu said with an angry expression. One of us? If he can't follow a simple order, he's not one of us, Ryu said mockingly. Traitors, you are cowards, said the orange-haired girl before being caught off guard and kicked in the stomach by one of Yashu's warriors, causing her to fall and skid to the ground. That kick left him breathless. And you are an idiot, Hanu, why don't you end this? Said the leader Yashu, while the aforementioned smiles arrogantly. With Issei. The sky is about to get dark in Nanyo City. We see the boy running very quickly towards Yashu Academy while avoiding the crowded and large streets so as not to attract the attention of the people or police who lived in the places. Gakushu has said that in that place there were male fighters. Where women did not attend, if his friend is in danger he would have to get there before something happens to her. He ran with superhuman speed until he began to raise dust behind his walk. He did not notice it, but the celestial dragon did. Interesting, your speed is improving, partner, said Drag. How much longer, Drag? Issei asked. We're almost there, reported the dragon. Quick, matey, said to the chestnut red that quickened his pace. That's what I do, said the brown-haired boy who continued running while thinking. The Hakufu-chan, he said in his mind as he increased his speed towards Yashu Academy. But Hakufu versus the Yashu fighters. Patio. It seemed that things were not going well for the orange-haired girl. Her condition was deplorable, and her uniform was dirty from the dirt. She was holding her stomach with her left arm. The one with the hat made a sign to another fighter who got the message to launch himself towards the girl. She was going to get up, but the pain prevented it because of Tsuji's blow from the dumpster of abandoned wrecked cars until the guy ripped her sweater and shirt with his uniform, exposing her pink bra that covered her breasts, and only her good skirt remained. I want to taste this, so don't take it all away at once, Hanu said with a cocky smile. She fights very well, but her technique is that of an amateur. We are going to attack her legs until she can no longer stand, and then we will do with her what we want, he said in a lustful tone. You sure know how to enjoy women, hahaha, said Ryu while laughing with his partner. The girl stood up from the ground and threw her left fist at the man with the hat, but he gave her a right knee to the girl's stomach and then a right elbow to her back, causing her to fall to her knees. I can't breathe, said Hakufu, his lungs running out of air. On the other hand, the boy arrived at the patio quickly and saw his friend was hurt. The Hakufu-chan, said Issei with a worried expression, causing the aforementioned to turn his head to see her friend. Issei, said the orange-haired girl with a weak tone. You're late, although the punch you gave me made me lose a tooth, said the one in the purple jacket. You guys, said the brown-haired red-haired boy with an annoying tone while clenching his fists. You've come to save your friend, haven't you? Said the man with the hat in an arrogant tone. Since you're here, you'll see what I'm going to do to her, he said as he grabbed the girl's hair with his hand while the other was going to touch her breasts. Let her go, said Issei, feeling fury in her body as he was about to head towards the subject to hit him, but several people blocked her way. Get out of the way, Hakufu-chan, I exclaimed with hatred to the group trying to open the way. I can't lose now, much less like this, thought Hakufu as a tear came out of his right eye until he suddenly opened his eyes and then held the subject's left wrist with his right hand while the other hand held his right wrist with the left hand and then applied force to it. Ah, said the hat that moaned in pain. Ah, what's wrong? Can you move? Said leader Yashu. When Hanu released the girl's grip to punch him, she used her strength to counterattack with a kick to the guy's stomach, causing him to fly backwards and then fall to the ground, while the girl dropped her hands to the ground and gave a push backwards to then land on her feet, thus fully incorporating herself. This action has impressed everyone, as no one expected that, including the boy. It seems that girl has awakened her potential, said the red dragon. Really? Said the brown-red man mentally. Just watch, said Drake as the boy watched the scene attentively. Aga, now that I remember, Tsuji also felt her energy, Hanu said in a weak tone while holding her stomach. The girl's blow had the same force as the boy who hit him 2 days ago. Saji, said the orange-haired girl, while a quick memory of the brunette came to her. What comes next is this. She gave a loud scream in the air, causing all the fighters except the boy to jump in fright. What are you afraid of? Attack her, said the man with the hat while the fighters who didn't think twice launched themselves towards the girl. The brown-red boy watched as his friend had her head down, while the subjects approached in his direction, until he finally raised his head, but his silly, warm, carefree and innocent expression had been replaced by a cold look and a crazy smile. But what caught the boy's attention was that his eyes had very thin pupils, as if they were from a reptile. Drake, those eyes are, said Issei, who was surprised. Yes mate, she has the energy of a dragon, said the red dragon, who has confirmed the doubts of his bear. Hakufu punched the fighter in the face, sending him flying backwards, then she turned around to kick another fighter in the right cheek and turned around with the same kick towards another guy's face. She continued hitting the other fighters one by one with just kicks while smiling sadistically as if she was having fun. The brown-haired red-haired boy was motionless from seeing the brutality of his friend. He thought that she did not behave that way, much less suffer an opponent. He's laughing at me, said Hanu until he got angry enough to throw his fist at the girl. Damn, I muttered with hatred. Before making contact, the orange-haired woman jumped to dodge the blow and landed on the subject's forearm, who had an expression of disbelief. "Hey?" said the man with the hat before receiving a kick to the chin from the girl, causing him to fly backwards and then fall unconsciously to the ground while she did a backflip in midair and then landed on her feet and turned around to see the leader of the Yashu Academy, for which he took a few steps back to see the look on the girl's face. "That's it," Ryoyu said as he pulled a butterfly knife out of his clothes pocket. "You're the one they call Hakufu Sansaku, and that is the destiny of the sacred bead. I will kill you," said the leader Yashu. The subject threw himself to attack the orange-haired girl, but was only able to cut the string of her bra in two, while he was hit by a strong kick that knocked all the air out of him, and he fell to the ground where he became unconscious. Issei had seen everything while the remaining fighters fled in fear. It was obvious that his friend was not aware that she had just defeated practically all of Yashu's warriors, but leaving that aside, the boy had another small problem, and it was the free breasts that bounced without the bother of a bra while she had regained consciousness. He suffered a strong blush that almost made his nose bleed, in addition to certain other parts of his body were reacting in a way that the pants suddenly felt too tight. Control yourself, Issei. This is not the time to imagine, said the brown-haired red-haired man to himself while shaking his head from side to side to clear his head, but the image of the girl's breasts would remain in his mind until the day of his death. That idea was not bad. After a few moments, the boy composed himself as he approached his friend Ella and took off Ella's white shirt to then cover her as she looked at the fallen students in confusion. Luckily for the boy, he had a red shirt. Issei, what happened to them? Hakufu said with a confused tone. I'll tell you later, Hakufu-chan, but let's get out of here first, said Issei. Yes, said the orange-haired girl animatedly. Now I'll take you to the apartment, said the brown-red boy. No, Issei, I would like to go see Tsuji again, Hakufu said in a shy tone. Are you sure? Issei said doubtfully as she agreed. Let's go, she said while taking her friend's hand from her, and they both ran out of the academy to the hospital. Nanyo Hospital night. It was 8 p.m. The young men arrived at the hospital as they walked through the hallways to go to the older dark-skinned man's room and saw the two boys guarding the entrance, through which they noticed him. We want to see Tsuji, said the brown-red boy to the Yashu boys. May I know why? Said the one with the slicked back hair. We came from Yashu Academy, and Hakufu-chan finished off all the fighters, including the leader, said Issei, making the boys stunned and surprised. Are you upset? I asked them both. No, said the short-haired one. So said the brown-red man who looked at the aforementioned speaker. We have decided to stay by Tsuji's side, said the one with the slicked back hair. That's why we found out that Yashu is finished, he said to the brown-red. I didn't trust Tsuji and then was overthrown for not killing Sansaku. It seems history is repeating itself, said the short-haired man, paused and took a breath to complete his sentence. And Tataku got what he wanted, finished the one with the slicked back hair. Story? Issei said doubtfully. And that was what Tataku got, he said until. Please, I have to see Tsuji, said the orange-haired girl with a sad tone. I understood what happened to Tsuji, and that made me furious, so I went to Yashu, but it wasn't me who did it, she said to the two boys. Hakufu-chan, said the brown-haired red-haired boy as he looked at his friend Ella when he remembered the dragon energy in her from minutes ago. Suddenly the sound of wood was heard. The doctor will be here soon to make his rounds. It is better that you see him now, said the man with the slicked back hair who opened the door of the room, giving access to the young people who without saying a word went to enter. When they entered the room, Issei and Hakufu saw the older brunette who had regained consciousness while lying on the stretcher and was receiving half a liter of blood transfusion. Next to a table they saw the panda bear stuffed animal and a sunflower vase. "It's good that you're awake," Issei said with a half smile. "It's also a pleasure to see you again," Issei Hyodou said the older brunette with a sarcastic tone. "Shiji, Yashu," said Hakufu, who didn't know how to express himself. "I know they abandoned me," Tsuji said in a simple tone. "Even so, it's over now," said the brown-red man with a sigh. "What do you mean?" the older dark-skinned man asked in a confused tone. "She took care of all of them," Issei replied as he pointed out to his friend, causing the older brunette to be surprised. "I'm sorry Tsuji, because of me your friends left you, and now you won't be able to go to Yashu again," said the orange-haired girl with a sad tone. "Don't blame yourself, Hakufu-chan," said the brown-red boy who changed the mood. But said Hakufu, but the boy interrupted him. "What they abandoned him were not his friends," said Issei when he placed his hand on her girl's shoulder. "Do you remember your motto, about I must make sure to return what they slowed me down," was the phrase she said to the dark-skinned man in their first confrontation. "Yeah, what's up with that?" said the orange-haired girl with a curious tone. "Well, you hit back at Yashu's fighters instead of Tsuji, that's why they already got what they deserved," said the brown-haired red-haired man with a smile. "That's true," said Hakufu, who understood those words. "Tsuji," Issei said as he looked at the aforementioned. "Tell me," said the older dark-skinned man. "Would you like to enter the Nanyo Academy?" asked the brown-haired red-haired boy. "That's a great idea," said the orange-haired girl with an excited tone, and it seems that she has become encouraged again, as before she wanted the brunette as a friend and it was better for him to transfer to the Nanyo Academy. "It doesn't sound so bad," Tsuji said with a smile. "But for now I will stay out of fights in the academy. The doctors told me that it would take about 3 months to fully recover, although I will be in the wheelchair. By the way, I thank you for bringing me here and not leaving me stranded on the street and not being in a coma for a while," Issei Hyodou thanking Issei for the offer. "You're welcome," said the brown-red one. "And call me Issei or Ice, for friends," he said to the brunette. "Well, I just wanted to see how you were doing," said Hakufu. "But I think it's getting late, we should go," Issei while taking out his cell phone to see the time. It was 8:30 p.m. "It's okay," Issei said as he gently took his friend's hand while the older brunette watched them. "Take care Tsuji, we'll see each other someday," he said goodbye to the dark-haired man. After that, the young people left the room. "It seems that these young people make a nice couple," said the older dark-skinned man in a whisper, but with a smile. Outside the hospital. "I think Tsuji is a good fighter," said the orange-haired girl. "Yes, and it will be," said the brown-red one. "Now that I remember, I was going to tell you about the Great Fighters Tournament while walking down the street." "Great Fighters Tournament?" Hakufu said in a curious tone. "Yes, Gakushu said that you and I should represent our academy," Issei said to his friend. "But if you don't go, I won't go either, because if I force you it would be a bad relationship on my part, so I will respect your decision about that tournament," he said in a calm tone. "I'll go," said the orange-haired girl. "What's your motive in this, Hakufu-chan?" asked the brown-haired red-haired boy. "Well, after everything you did these days, you always worry about me and helping me since we met, and you were always there while I accompanied you, and that's why I love you so much," Issei said Hakufu with an innocent tone and honesty, making the boy surprised by the good words he has said to his people, since he has never heard these such words with a girl. "And I have decided to enter the tournament," while his eyes had fire of determination. "Hakufu-chan," said the brown-haired boy, moved by his friend's words, while inside he was seen by 2 former Sekiryuite, who also saw the orange-haired girl's true potential. "I feel cheerful again now," said the orange-haired girl. "Great Fighters Tournament, here I come," she said with a smile and determination, since she was going to fight against strong opponents, while the boy smiled at how his friend is her. After the young men left the hospital and left, from afar, on the other street we see 2 subjects who were watching the couple. The first was a tall subject with dark brown skin, muscular but bald. He has a silver magatama on his ear. He was wearing a dark blue sleeveless shirt, black pants and brown shoes. The second subject is of average height, but what stands out was that he has a vertical scar on his right eye, while only his left eye could be seen. He has a golden magatama. He has brown hair that reaches his shoulders. He was wearing a dark purple jacket, underneath it a black shirt, dark gray pants, shoes of the same color and a white sun cap. "Is that her?" said the bald guy with his arms crossed. "She was the one who destroyed Yashu, and that boy must be her companion," said the scarred man. "And the way he looks is laughable," said the bald man. "At least it was a good show, it wasn't bad for us," he said when they both smiled arrogantly. In an empty warehouse. "Ahahaha, the great tournament fighters," said the black-haired Kaiasha with a tone of joy after sitting on a wooden box after clapping his feet in excitement over the announcement. "Hey, keep it down," said to a guy with short hair with pointed ends of a dull chocolate color. He had a yellow magatama. He was wearing a black jacket, underneath it, a dark red shirt, black pants and shoes. He was standing at the entrance of the place. "Kakuten, there's someone who wants to see you," said the brown-haired pointy-haired man. "I?" said Kakuten while pointing at himself with his finger. "And who is it?" he said when he managed to stand up. "I didn't know you liked mature women," said the one with pointed brown hair. "Nah, what are you talking about?" said the black-haired man as he passed the guy and went outside. "Wow," said a male voice, making the pointed subject notice a 17-year-old boy who is lying on the floor. His height is 170 centimeters. His hair is dark crimson red with locks that reach the bottom of his forehead, yellow eyes. He was wearing a white button-down shirt, but unbuttoned, a dark red shirt, black pants that are rolled up to his knees, and he was barefoot. Finally, he has a silver magatama on his left ear. He was looking at his phone about what happened at Yashu Academy. "What thing?" said the one with pointed toes. "He says Yashu was defeated," Sasu said. "Defeated?" said the brown-haired spiked man with a curious tone. "The tournament will be good, I'm looking forward to it," said the dark redeed with a smile. The Kufu apartment entrance. 20 minutes later. The brown-haired red-haired boy and the orange-haired girl had been at the entrance of the girl's apartment after the moments she had spent that day. "We're here," Issei said. "Can I give you your shirt back?" Hakufu said about the shirt of the boy who lent him since they left Yashu. "Don't worry, I already have another one in my apartment, you can return it to me later," said the brown-red one. "Ah, I didn't know that," the orange-haired girl said. "Thank you, Issei," he said with a smile. "You're welcome," Issei said in a calm tone. "See you tomorrow, Hakufu-chan," he said as he was about to leave. "See you tomorrow," Issei said Hakufu as he approached the boy to give a kiss on the right cheek, by which he was taken by surprise as he said goodbye to him and then entered his apartment, but he didn't notice that he had a slight blush on his cheeks. While the boy was still feeling the touch of the girl's lips on his cheek. "That was great," said the brown-haired red-haired boy when he recovered. "An innocent kiss, sweet dreams," Hakufu-chan said as he left the building with a calm smile to take a train to the station to return to his hometown. Kuoh. In the streets of Nanyo. "Really?" he said to a guy in a dark red shirt who was sitting on a metal barrier with his friend. "Was Yashu defeated?" asked the friend in the red shirt. "Yes, Sansaku from Nanyo Academy went there and defeated them alone, and there was also the boy Hyodou with her," said a guy wearing dark sunglasses and a backwards cap. Suddenly a certain beautiful fighting girl was walking on the sidewalk. They looked at her and recognized that woman. "Hey, that's not it," said his friend about him. "But that long hair, it must be," said to a guy in a dark red shirt. "So Sansaku appeared, how interesting. On the other hand, Hyodou, will he be that boy?" our leader said. "Thought the girl who has long purple hair that goes all the way to her feet, ending with it being joined by a small ring and her bangs that covered her left eye." Anu said to a man in a dark red shirt. Unchao said to a man in a dark red flannel. "That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Kanu Unchao, an expert A-level fighter whose skill was known and feared throughout the Kanto region, is known as the goddess of martial arts. Somewhere in the woods. In the forest area, we see some bleeding and unconscious fighters on the ground, while we see the blue-haired girl who is still wearing her Nanyo academic uniform, walking calmly in search of an opponent. The reason for this is that she has to defeat the fighters to collect 10 magatamas to be able to enter the tournament, giving her the opportunity to face the only person. Tataku. As she continued walking, she saw the green-haired girl lying against a tree, through which she noticed the girl's presence. "Don't you think it's too late to visit?" Ryofu said with a calm smile. "And what about you?" Raimu said with a serious look. "I came to see Tataku," he said to the green-haired girl. "Well, it's not here there," said the green-haired girl. "I know you came here," said the blue-haired girl in a serious tone. "And I came to take it away," he said seriously. "To take it?" "Ha ha ha," said Ryofu while laughing at the girl's comment and separated from the tree. "You act like I'm a girlfriend," he said in a playful tone. "That's funny, I know his habits, I know what he likes and where he wants to be, I know everything about him," she said as her arms opened as if she were receiving something. "Yes, that's right, and of course he knows me intimately," she said as she touched herself from her thighs to her breasts. "Now what do you say? You ask me how much you know about him, haha," she said to her opponent who was silent. Raimu was listening to him, but his eye was closed when he was in a bad mood because of the girl's comments from her, and he opened it suddenly to launch a spinning kick at the green-haired girl, who had quickly crouched before receiving the blow. "How rude," said the green-haired girl as she swept the girl's foot with her left foot, but she jumped and then distanced herself while she stood up. "It's not good to show so much jealousy, giggle, and now I, Ryofu Housen of the Kuoh Academy, will begin my attack," he said as he licked the index finger of his left hand with his tongue in a sensual tone, while the blue-haired girl stood up, adjusted her right glove, and then got into combat position. It seems that both warriors from different academies Nanyo and Rikuyo are fighting each other at this moment. Clarification after Chapter 4. The full appearance of the Yashu Academy with its leader Ryuayu, Hanu and Tsuji to fulfill Tataku's mission of killing Hakufu. Issei will be trained by the former wielders of the boosted gear, Belzerd and Elsha during the course of the tournament. Tataku appears as an enemy of the saga. Little more is revealed about Saji and Ryofu's past before they start their fight. Tei reveals that Ryomu and Saji were childhood friends. Ryofu has feelings for Issei. Issei begins to suspect Tataku's plans because Hakufu has a relationship with the Supreme Conqueror. Tsuji is Issei's new ally friend after being saved from Ryuayu and Hanu's betrayal. Ryomu helped Issei with Tsuji to the hospital, but she had intentions of asking about that red gauntlet. Issei and Ryofu's first date. Ryofu's abilities are based on Kai, so I will use all manga material from the sequel Lupu Hansen. Razor Phoenix was mentioned as a cameo for the moment and now as an ally of the Hyodou family. Issei's growth is increasing and his character is evolving. Bakushu reveals more about the history of the fighting tournament that occurred 2 years ago where Tataku won it. He has GIE as an imperial seal and also explains that to enter the tournament, you have to be 5 people. Hakufu accidentally releases his dragon power against Yashu Academy. Issei and Hakufu enter the fighter tournament. The mysterious girl who has been watching Issei is revealed to be Kanuan Chao, who is also going to participate in the tournament. Chapter 5 The Great Fighters Tournament. Issei Department. Living room. The brown-red man was wearing a white shirt and black shorts that he was playing on the console, where he had Kuoh XV while playing his video game. He had to clarify many things in his mind due to the amount of information that Kakushu had said. Things have happened since Kanto, first. The Great Fighters Tournament, where warriors compete to fight each other to achieve the best composition, and second. Her orange-haired friend has defeated all of Yashu's warriors since that academy, but she behaved very violently because inside her a dragon has awakened and taken control of her body. After finishing his game, he turned off the console and the television and went to the piece of furniture where the phone was while he looked at the card in his left hand that had the green-haired girl's number on it. I wonder if Ryofu-chan is awake at this hour. Issei said to himself. You're going to call her, Drake said to his bear. Yes, Drake said the brown-red man while he dialed her number and then called her. He waited for 10 seconds and… Hello, said a female voice through the telephone receiver. Hello Ryofu-chan, I'm Issei, my name is Issei. Ah, how about Ice-kun? Ryofu said with a sensual tone. I suppose you already know about the tournament, right? He said to the Drake bear. Yes, said the brown-red one. By the way, are any of you going to participate? I asked Ryofu. I don't know the details yet, but they will go, the green-haired girl replied. I understand, and are there rules? Said Issei. Yes, there is Ice-kun, there are 3 rules which are 1 degrees only warriors from each academy will participate since an ordinary, normal person will not fight in the tournament. 2 degrees weapons are strictly prohibited during the pre-military of the tournament and 3 degrees killing the opponent is prohibited, informed Ryofu. Well, the brown-haired red-haired boy thought about the rules that the green-haired girl had said, only the first one was a problem since he does not have a Magatama, but that will be fixed later. Tell me Ice-kun, who are the ones going to the tournament? I asked brown-red. Well yes, that would be me, Hakufu-chan, Gakushu and Ryomu, answered Issei. Ryomu? The green-haired girl asked again, although she already knew who it was. Ryomu-shime, my dear friend. The fighter from Nanyo as well as one of the 4 divas, right, Ryofu said as if it was normal for her. Yes, said the brown-haired red-haired boy since it was the 4th time he was taken by surprise by the green-haired girl. She has participated in the tournament before, but Nanyo lost by fault for something I don't know, said the green-haired girl. I see, Issei said. I'd love to talk to you, Ryofu said, then paused. But it will be tomorrow, since I know what time you will be in Kanto. Come early, so I can tell you a few things when we meet at the station, he said to the brown-red boy. Okay, good night Ryofu-chan, said the brown-red boy. Good night Ice-kun, said the green-haired girl and then ended the call. After this, the boy got up from the furniture and walked to her room. Issei's room. Issei is sitting on the bed while he was thinking about what happened that day until the red dragon spoke to him. Partner? Drake asked the boy who came out of his thoughts about him. Oh? What's wrong, Drake? Said the brown-red man. You're okay, you've been quiet since you entered your room, said the red dragon to his carrier. Yes, well, it's about what happened at Yashu Academy, Issei said as he remembered what happened in the courtyard of that academy. It's because of the Hakufu girl, right? Drake said about the orange-haired girl. Yes, said the brown-red with a worried tone. The brutality he did against those kids, it seems as if he didn't know how to end the sentence, but the red dragon said at last. The dragon will control it, he said seriously. Yes, Issei said as he snapped his fingers and then asked his fellow red dragon. Drake, since we are in that place, he said while remembering how Hakufu was out of control. Yes, I felt that the dragon coming from her is trying to break free from the seal, said the dragon with utmost seriousness. Signal? Said the brown-red with a doubtful tone. Yes, although we don't know about that, said Drake. I saw, Issei said and then became sad. Ah, I'm useless, he said without feeling helpless. Why do you say that? Asked the red dragon. I had to protect her and because of a mistake, she got hurt by those guys, answered the brown-red boy while looking at his own hands. But she defeated them, said Drake. Even so, Issei said as he clenched his fists tightly. Don't blame yourself, the important thing is that your friend is fine, said the red dragon in a reassuring tone. Yes, you're right about that, Drake, said the brown-red man as he calmed down. Well, let's leave it here, for now it's your turn to learn magic with Elsha, said Drake. It's okay, Drake, Issei said as he laid down on his bed and then closed his eyes. In the consciousness of the booster gear. At this moment, the brown-haired boy opened his eyes, only to be met with the blonde woman. Hello Elsha-san, Issei said as he welcomed the former Sekirute. Hey Issei-kun, wow, what's with the sudden change? Elsha asked in a tone of surprise at the boy's hairstyle. Let's just say some things happened, the brown-haired red-haired boy replied while scratching the back of his head. By the way, where's Belzard? She said while looking for the green-haired man from one side to the other. Well, he had something to do, said the blonde. But leaving that aside, are you ready for this? I asked brown-red. Of course Elsha-san, I will be under your care, said Issei. Fufufu, very well, now I will tell you about magic briefly, so listen carefully to what I am going to tell you, okay? Said Elsha, who is a little more serious but still smiling, so that the boy said before she explained to him. Well, magic could be defined as the perfect alignment in an energy system that is brought together through symbolic gestures, verbs, instruments, tools and symbols that would be able to alter the known rules of nature, have you understood? He said his explanation of her. Yes, the brown-red one affirmed. Well, the lesson I'm going to teach you will be the mastery of elemental magic from a low level. We will go up accordingly with the passage of time. In order to use magic, you must channel the aura that covers the entire body. Observe, said the blonde, while creating a fireball the size of a soccer ball on the palm of her right hand. Wow, Issei said in amazement at the blonde woman's demonstration of her. Now naturally concentrate and let the energy flow from your body, said Elsha as she stopped manifesting the fireball. Okay, said the brown-haired red-haired man as he began to concentrate hard on gathering magic power in his hands at chest level, but he couldn't make any progress, so the blonde woman stopped him for a moment. Don't rush, relax and breathe, she said in a motherly tone to Issei, who was relaxed. The brown-haired girl pulled herself together and took a deep breath. She knew she had to concentrate, so she let her guide her. Close your eyes, Elsha said as the boy closed his eyes. Listen carefully to my words, okay, he said to Issei, who was completely relaxed. Yes, Issei said with his eyes closed. The source of magic also comes from the imagination, use that to your advantage, said the blonde. It's important to imagine something in your head before it happens, he explained little by little. Imagine, huh? The brown-haired red-haired boy asked himself while concentrating. Yes, that's right, release the magic power that's within you, concentrate, Elsha said encouragingly. Issei imagined a certain orange-haired girl with aquamarine eyes. The Kufu-chan, he thought, until he was able to generate something warm. He opened his eyes and could feel something in his hands. It was a small bright red-orange ball, but it was only for a few seconds before it disappeared. The former Sekirute had a supportive smile adorning her lips as she thought. Fufufu, it seems that you manifested the fire element in your first impulse, Issei-kun. Since being a hybrid between human and dragon, your affinity with it could increase to a decent amount, the blonde thought. Now try again, Issei-kun, he said to Issei. The brown-red man closed his eyes again and concentrated on generating the small ball, which is expanding until it forms the size of a baseball. Open your eyes, Elsha ordered. Issei opened his eyes to see the sphere in his hands. I did it, Issei said excitedly, but the sphere continued to expand further until… boom. It will explode, creating a small cloud of smoke. Cough, are you okay, Issei-kun? The blonde asked, shaking her hands to disperse the smoke and be able to see the brown-haired red-haired boy who had his hair completely combed back as if something had exploded in her face, and technically it was since her face of him was dirty. With her right hand she covered her mouth while trying to contain her laughter, but it was obvious. After calming down she created a white handkerchief. Here, he said while handing the handkerchief to the brown-red boy. Thank you, Elsha-san, Issei said as he took the handkerchief to wipe her face. That was a surprise, Elsha said, her surprise noticeable on her face. I didn't think it was going to, boom, he said to her kohai. I didn't expect that either, said the brown-haired red-haired boy while he adjusted his hair. Well, from what I've noticed is that the sphere is somewhat unbalanced, said the blonde. Unbalanced? Issei said with a confused tone. Yes, because you created it, it is difficult for you to control it, said Elsha. In order for your magic reserves to be stable, you must keep it under control, whether it is to create any element, he said to the brown-red man. I see, said the brown-red one. Now let's continue, said the blonde to continue the magic lesson. The brown-haired boy had trained to control fire magic under the tutelage of the blonde woman. I'm after. Let's leave the training here, you've progressed very well, Issei-kun, Elsha said with a smile. Haha, it's nothing, said Issei, who laughed embarrassedly at the blonde woman's praise of her, while scratching the back of his head with his right hand of her. Yes it is, since that shows that you are getting stronger, but you still have a long way to go, said a male voice, causing the brown-haired red-haired man and the blonde woman to turn around to meet the green-haired man who was approaching with a smile. Hello Issei, and by the way you look good with that hairstyle, said the strongest carrier. Hello Belzerd, and thanks for that, said the brown-haired red-haired man to the green-haired man. And how have you been? Belzerd asked. Well, just that things have happened, Issei replied. Things? Said the green-haired boy out of curiosity as Elsha did while they looked at the brown-haired red-haired boy. Well, what happened was, said Issei, giving his opinion of what had happened a few years back in Yashu's courtyard. An explanation after. I understand, said Belzerd while crossing his arms, having listened attentively to the brown-haired boy's words about the stories in Kanto. So a dragon controlled the Hakufu girl, Elsha said, while putting a finger of her right hand on her chin. This is new, leaving the subject, will you participate in the tournament? I asked the brown-red. Yes, although I feel like something is going to happen, said the brown-red man thoughtfully. I agree with that, Issei, but even though you still have to master your skills, said the older green-haired man. In combat he could help to gain experience while crossing his arms. Exactly, and more, what you have to do is control Drake's power, which means you have to support your physical condition and improve your resistance due to hybridization, said the blonde to the brown-haired red. I see, Issei said, narrowing his gaze. But I'm not ready, he said unsurely. Don't worry Issei, you just have to have more confidence in yourself, said Belzerd, while with his right hand he touches the brown-red man's left shoulder. And also don't doubt your decisions, Elsha said with a smile. You're right, thank you, said the brown-red man honestly. Well said the older green-haired man as he patted the brown-haired red-haired man on the back. For now, take a break and we'll continue training, said the blonde. Yeah, see you later, Issei said as he closed his eyes when his body turned into particles of light. Real world. The morning after. The brown-red one continued calmly as the first glimmer of sunlight entered the window of his room. Partner, wake up, said Drag. Issei was still sleeping. Wake up now, the red dragon shouted. Oh? What's wrong? Said the brown-haired red-haired boy who had woken up suddenly until he was at the edge of the bed and then. You were full face first to the ground. Phew, ha 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 ha, Drag laughed at that. Ah Drake, don't do that, Issei said with an annoyed tone as he pulled himself together and rubbed his eyes while yawning. I'm sorry, I just found it funny, by the way, you know you have to see the green-haired girl today, the red dragon reported as he calmed down. That's right, Ryofu-chan, as he quickly gets up from the ground. Drake, about the tournament, he said in a serious tone. What's wrong? Said Drake due to the sudden change of his carrier. Could it be a trap? Asked the brown-red. It may or may not be true, but you must keep your head up if something happens, replied the red dragon. Okay, Issei said. It's time to give me a quick shower and make the bentos. While she went to the bathroom to take a shower in 5 minutes and then go out and put on her academy uniform. Train destination. Nanyo train station. The train had been at the station for 30 minutes while it stopped for the doors to open so people could get off the transport, and from there the brown-red boy got out while he went to sit on a bench to wait patiently for the green-haired girl. I didn't expect you to have a new style, Ice-kun said in a female voice that was recognizable to the brunette who tilted her head forward to meet Ryofu, who was looking at the boy's change of her. Hello Ryofu-chan, Issei said to the green-haired girl who continued to look at him in silence. Are you okay? He said in a tone worried about his friend. Huh? Oh yes, I am Ice-kun, said Ryofu while re-establishing his posture. Well, since you're here, I'll explain to you about the tournament, he said and then started walking. Of course, he said the brown-haired red-haired boy while he accompanied the green-haired girl. His hairstyle isn't bad, on the other hand, I feel like that power is developing inside him, as I look into his eyes, I feel like I'm enchanted and at the same time attracted to him like the first time we met. How strange, never before in my life have I felt like this. I must tell the master if he could know about Ice-kun's mysterious power, thought the green-haired girl as she continued walking with the brown-haired red-haired boy. After that, Issei and Ryofu left the station, but the brown-haired boy felt like he was being watched from afar. On the streets. Belize-kun, as you know the tournament will start today, Ryofu said to the brown-red. Today? Issei said as he looked at the green-haired girl. Yes, since you are from Nanyo, the other academies that will participate are among them Seto, Kyosho and Yashu, said the green-haired girl. I see, but Yashu was defeated yesterday, said the brown-red man with a confused tone. True, but there are two people who were not present at the academy, the one with the scar is called Ganryu, and the one without hair is Bunshu, said Ryofu. They consider themselves Yashu's best fighters, he said to the brown-red. I understand, Issei said. The Kyosho is Kakuten Genjo, Kakuka Haku, Shizanosu and his leader Sasu Mitoku. Information about the cast member, sir. MNN So Tun-chan is going to fight too, huh? Issei thought as he remembered that he and his friend helped the dark-haired boy in a fight against Rikuyo's fighters on the bridge. And finally the Seto Academy, only the only participant will enter the tournament, said Ryofu. The girl right? Said the brown-haired red-haired boy making the green-haired girl nod. Yes, a level A warrior, the most feared and powerful in the Kanto region who is known as the goddess of martial arts, Kanuan Chao, said the green-haired woman. The martial arts expert, you must be careful with her blows because they are devastating, he gave advice to the brown-haired red-haired boy. I'll take your advice into account, Ryofu-chan said Issei, which changed the subject. By the way, do you know anything about a dragon that is sealed? He said so that the green-haired girl would stop for a moment. You saw his eyes of him, right? Ryofu said, and the brown-haired boy responded with a nod. Yes, she woke him up unconsciously, but she doesn't remember what happened, said the brown-red. So the supreme conqueror is trying to rise, the green-haired girl said in a whisper and checked the time on her cell phone. I have to go now, she very said hurriedly. Now? Said Issei, who stopped thinking while looking at the green-haired girl. Yes, I have to go to the academy, Ryofu said. See you later, Ice-kun, he said goodbye with a smile. Yes, see you later, Ryofu-chan said the brown-haired red-haired boy, while the green-haired girl left so that the brown-haired boy could continue his way to the Nanyo Academy. Nanyo Academy. In the academy courtyard we see two people in their school uniforms, one was the orange-haired girl who was upside down and was holding on to a fixed bar to do arm exercises with her legs, exposing her wide underwear which she didn't care about at the least, and the other was a giant brown-haired man who was looking at the screen of his smartphone while typing. Hey Gaku-chan, when will the tournament start? Hakufu asked the aforementioned with a carefree and excited tone at the same time. They will notify us soon, Gakushu said in a calm tone as he finished sending a message to the blue-haired girl. On the screen it said. Sending message to Shimaru Ayamu. Ayamu, I still don't know anything about you MNN, said the black-haired man before sighing and putting the phone in the right pocket of his pants. By the way, where's Hyodou? He said to the orange-haired girl about the brown-haired red-haired girl. Well, said Hakufu until she saw someone approaching her direction and she saw who it was. Ah, there it comes, hello Issei, he said as he greeted her despite being upside down. Hello Hakufu-chan, Gakushu said. Issei greeted the two and blushed when he saw the orange-haired girl's underwear of hers. What a good view, he thought, since that seemed admirable to him for Hakufu's position until he recovered. You're on time, Gakushu said, but he thought it was doubtful that the brunette would react when he saw the orange-haired girl, so he downplayed it. Yeah, well, I was a little late on the way, said the brown-red boy apologetically. Well, since you're here we can go to the tournament, Hakufu said excitedly. But there is a problem, said the black-haired man, which caught the attention of the two young men. What is it? Issei asked out of curiosity. Do you have Magatama Hyodou? Said Gakushu and then asked the brown-haired boy a question. No, what's wrong with that? Said the brown-red one. Well, as you can see, a fighter always has to have a Magatama on them so they can fight in the tournament, said the black-haired man. Since you don't have one, they won't let you participate, he said seriously. But is there a solution? Asked the orange-haired girl. That's right, Gakushu replied as he pulled out a Magatama of a bluish-green, almost aquamarine color from his left pants pocket. This Magatama is not tied to any destiny, but with it you can go unnoticed like any warrior. I had it planned in case you had to join us, he said, while handing the Magatama to the boy. Thank you, Issei said as he took the Magatama and noticed that it didn't have an earring. How am I going to wear it? He said until the orange-haired girl had an idea. Yolo, see, Hakufu said as he released his legs from the horizontal bar and then spun around and landed on his feet. Issei, can I take the Magatama for a moment? He said while extending his hand to the brown-haired boy. Of course, said the brown-red man while giving the Magatama to the girl. What will you do? I asked curiously. You'll see, said the orange-haired woman as she turned around to approach her briefcase that was on a bench and opened it to look for something. When she found it she made a necklace with the Magatama, then she returned to where the boys are to give the Magatama to the boy. Ready, he said as the brunette took it and put it around her neck. How does it look on you? He asked his friend about him. It suits me well, thanks Hakufu-chan, Issei replied with a smile, while Hakufu felt a tightness in her body again. She didn't know what it was, but her heart was beating strongly. Ring ring ring. The bell rang, so the brown-haired boy and the orange-haired girl looked at the muscle who took the cell phone out of his pocket and saw what it said on the screen. Tournament of Great Fighters. I'm here, said the black-haired man while opening the message that arrived. What does it say? Issei said to the muscle man. It says Ikebukuro, west entrance to the subway parking lot, near exit C4, Gakushu said after reading the message. Parking? Hakufu said in a curious tone while the brunette nodded. The place where we are going to fight, said the brown-red one. Ah, I see, said Hakufu, who already understood that. Kakubunji Station. At the Kanto District Station, where people passed by to go to work or wherever they wanted to go, we see 5 fighters waiting for the train, 3 standing, 1 squatting and the other sitting on the waiting chairs with their arms crossed. The first one was tall with short sandy-colored military-style hair and a green magatama. He was wearing a dark blue shirt, black pants, and red sneakers. The second had shoulder-length brown hair with reading glasses and a white magatama. He was dressed in a white short-sleeved shirt, a cross necklace on his neck, and an X-shaped scar on his right cheek. He was wearing navy blue pants and black shoes. The third had short dark blue hair with a green magatama. On the bridge of his nose he had a band. He was dressed in a dull blue short-sleeved shirt. Underneath this was a sleeved shirt of the same color, but darker, matching pants and black shoes. The fourth one has a red magatama. On his head he has a black cap with a white skull without a jaw. He was wearing a short-sleeved shirt of the same color and design, dark green pants and white shoes. And the last one was a pointed chestnut with a white magatama. He wore an unbuttoned short-sleeved violet shirt, underneath it a dark blue flannel. Around his neck he had a bronze-colored chain necklace, cream-colored pants and black shoes. The Super Express train will arrive at its destination at Kakubunji Station, Akadao. The voice coming from a horn was heard at the station. The guy with the spiky brown hair took his phone out of his right pants pocket to check what the message said. Great Fighter Tournament. Akadao Super Express train at Kakubunji Station at 10:15 am, please wait behind the white line. Since then the orange high-speed train arrived at the station. The one with the cap got up and walked towards the train car. The one with blue hair also got up and followed his partner as he did the one with glasses, the one with military hair and the spiky brown one who put away his phone. The train door opened for the 5 fighters to enter, but they noticed that the car was almost empty until they saw only one person who was looking neutrally at her opponents. To be exactly, a girl with long purple hair that goes all the way to her feet, who is sitting in the seat with her legs crossed while holding in her left hand her trusty silver-colored naginata, but the tip is wrapped in a dark violet cloth. Just one? Said the dark blue-haired guy who was the leader of the group with an arrogant smile. HMPH, they underestimate us, he said as the train door closed automatically behind the fighters. Let it begin, said the purple-haired girl named Kanuan Chao, while the referee agreed normally so she could start talking. The referee of this tournament will be the fighter from a neutral institute, the Kensho Academy, said the referee with long dark red hair that reaches below his shoulders, wearing a long-sleeved jacket and black pants and dark brown shoes, while the person wearing an office suit along with the briefcase that is in the corner. He gets up and went out to the door to another train car. The Ikebukuro parking lot. In the west of the city we can see the parking lot. Suddenly the driver stopped his car in front of the entrance where there were 2 guys, one with yellow bandana on his head with his hands in his pants pockets and another with dull brown hair combed back while his arms are up holding a white sign with his hands with some letters that said, "The parking lot is full at the moment, thank you for your patience." The driver, after reading what was on the sign, moved the gear shift lever to press the accelerator, causing his car to back up and move away from the parking lot. Inside the parking lot, there are the representatives of the Nanyo Academy who were the brown-haired redhead, the orange-haired girl and the muscular guy, who had arrived in 10 minutes, and in front of them are 2 people. The first was a bald man with dark skin, and the other was brown-haired who has a vertical scar on his right eye. On the right side, there is a man with long black hair with blue highlights, wearing the same clothes as the dark redhead on the train. You've noticed something, Issei said to the red dragon in his mind, while the place then noticed the 4 men who are watching them at possible points in the place with cameras that were recording him, one behind him from behind, the other on the left side, one on the first floor, and the last one who is behind the 2 fighters where the entrance is. Yes partner, it seems that they are going to calibrate and analyze the fighting skills, said Drag. We don't know what they're up to, but pay attention, he said while receiving a nod from the brown-haired boy. From then on, the black-haired man in black uniform spoke. I am Keietsu from the Kuoh Academy. I will be the referee of this duel between the Yashu Academy and the Nanyo Academy. The maximum number of fighters is 5. When all the fighters on one side fall, a winner is declared, said the black-haired man named Keietsu in a normal manner. Only 2 fighters on your side, are they less than us? Hakufu asked curiously. That's right, they are the only ones who are going to fight and believe that with 2 it is enough for them to beat us, answered Issei. Well, the orange-haired girl agreed. Well, said Gakushu, making the young people pay attention to them. Since we are not complete in this situation, we will have an advantage to win, he said while taking a few steps forward. Will you be my opponent? Said the scarred man, who took a few steps forward and looked at the orange-haired girl with his left eye. I was expecting a meeting with that young lady over there, he said with little arrogance. Baku-chan, finish with your super punch, said the orange-haired girl to the muscle man in a sign of support. Fork, she said excitedly. The brown-haired boy just looked at the 2 fighters, while he remembered the conversation he had with the green-haired girl a few hours before. The one with the scar is called Ganryu, and the one without hair is Bunshu. So it's them like Ryofu-chan, said Issei thought as he took another look at Yashu's 2 rivals. The muscle man and the scarred man looked at each other as neither of them moved, and then the muscle man turned his head to the right to speak to the referee. Ready to start, said the black-haired man, but what he didn't expect was that the scarred man gave a smile, implying that the muscled man was distracted for a few seconds, and he lunged towards him, so he looked forward again only for a right hand to grab the right side of his head by the scarred man, while giving a left knee to the chin at the same time that his sun hat flew off his head in midair. POW. The one with the scar then grabbed the muscle man by the shoulders with both hands and then headbutted him in the face, more specifically in his nose, making him bleed. Wham! Gakushu screamed before being knocked back to the ground by a dull sound, as if he heard some kind of demolition. Kuoh. In the hall of another academy. The fight between Yashu and Nanyo will be broadcast. I want to see the super breast, said to a guy with dark brown hair combed back, who wanted to see the orange-haired girl fighting, but yes, to see her breasts. It was obvious from the winners before they started, he said to a guy with short black hair who was watching the fight from his laptop. I don't know why, but I'm going to bet on Nanyo, said the guy with short brown hair who was sitting on top of the table while watching the fight. Also, I don't know if you've heard any rumors from a few days ago, while the others look at their partner. Rumors? About who? Said the guy with short black hair doubtfully. About a boy named Issei Hyodou, said the guy with short brown hair. Now that you mention it, a friend told me that his cousin who was a Nanyo student had a black eye, split lip, fractured ribs, his left arm is broken as well as his right leg. He was saying shaky words like he's not human, he's a monster, said the guy with short black hair, causing the 2 boys to be surprised by what they heard, even though he was gossiping. Are you serious? Said the guy with the dark brown hair combed back. Of course, he has defeated all the fighters in that academy, said the guy with short brown hair. And more, on the bridge he defeated 2 Rakuyo fighters with great ease. He also fought with Yashu's fighters in the garbage dump. He even almost went to punch Tsuji in the face, which hit him in the stomach, but made the boy manage to break his glasses, he said to his friends. Wow, said the guy with the dark brown hair combed back. Nobody knows about his strength, but what I do know is that that boy is not someone you should take lightly, said the guy with short brown hair, while the 2 boys nervously swallowed their saliva, and several of their companion was very interested in the brown grid. Nanyo vs Yashu back. The duel hasn't started yet, that's cheating, Hakufu exclaimed in an annoying tone to the scarred fighter for playing dirty. What are you waiting for? Said Ganryu, who had his hands in his pants pocket. Who's next? I asked the 2 boys in a challenging tone. I'm next, answered the orange-haired girl who was trying to enter the fight, but the brown-haired red-haired boy stopped her with his left hand, which he placed on her shoulder. Wait, Hakufu-chan, said Issei to his friend. What, but why? Said Hakufu, annoyed that I stopped him. Look, said the brown-haired red-haired man who looked forward, and the orange-haired woman did the same to see how the muscled man was slowly getting up. MNN what, but you still move, said the white sun hat when he saw the muscle man who was slowly standing up. If I at least want to draw, I have to finish it, Gakushu thought to himself, while his face had a little blood and his left eye was closed, and after that he launched himself towards his opponent. While on the other hand Issei and Hakufu watched the fight. MNN, it's not bad that that giant got up after receiving the knee and headbutt from that fighter, even though he has good strength, his resistance is poorer than the others, Drake thought while watching the fight through the eyes of his carrier. At this rate, he will be unconscious seeing what the result of the fight between Ganryu vs Gakushu was. Nanyo Station. The express train bound for Tachikawa will depart in 5 minutes, the voice came from a horn that was heard at the station. At the station, we see the orange train that had just arrived at the station so that its doors could open to let the purple-haired girl be seen, who went out to walk to a place. Inside the car is the dark red-haired referee who is standing while he watches how the girl walked away from there and then takes out his phone in his pocket and then types. On the other hand, there are the 5 fighters who were unconscious with severe bruises as well as bleeding on their faces due to the fighters' blows. On the dark red cell phone screen there was a message before being sent to Kuoh Academy. Great Fighters Tournament Report. Kuoh Academy scores 1 victory, Kanuan Chao had a crushing victory by herself. Outside parking. Amazing, said the guy with the yellow handkerchief after reading the message on his cell phone while the other guy yawned in tiredness. Hanu defeated 5 people by herself, said her partner. When suddenly. Tap 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 tap. Footsteps were heard approaching. They saw who it was only to see one person. It was the blue-haired girl wearing her maid outfit who was heading to the combat area to participate since the night before. She was defeated by the green-haired girl in a forceful way, but she had doubts in her mind because of Rikuo's fighting words. Flash Black Kuoh Academy. Last night. We are in an area of the Kuoh Academy forest where blows resonated in that place. We see 2 girls who are fighting each other. The first is from this institute and the other from Nanyo. Both started fighting each other minutes ago. Now we see the green-haired girl launching herself towards the blue-haired girl, who was panting from dodging or blocking so much, since she didn't have the chance to counterattack the girl who was moving quickly. She saw how the Rikuoh warrior approached to attack with her right fist, but the girl with the eye patch blocked it with her arms in an X shape. But made the force of that blow send it barely towards a tree. Ryumu screamed because of the pain in his back, since his forearms have bruises from the girl's blows, while his body is tired from moving so much. What is that energy? She said to herself as she leaned against the tree and watched a green-eyed girl who was standing as if she had not received the blows. She swings with superhuman speed to give a strong kick with her right foot in her direction, for which she had to quickly duck, while the tree is split into 2 by her opponent's attack, as if it were a hot blade cutting butter. The blue-haired girl took advantage of this moment to attack with some kind of invisible blow to the green-haired girl's breasts with both hands, and then use the same hands to the grass and give a push backwards to distance herself from the green-haired girl, thus landing on her feet. The girl with the eye patch landed and knelt with her right foot on the ground for support while she breathed tiredly from her body and saw how half of the tree collapsed to the ground with a dull sound. What, you only know how to dodge? Ryofu said with a playful smile on his face. You're the guest and I need more fun, huh? He said until he let his expression change until he lowered his head down and. Ross. I noticed how her academic shirt has been torn from her waist, noticing her toned belly down to below her large breasts, where it bounced a few times, including from the sleeves on her arms to her elbows, and the pieces of fabric fell a little by little to the ground, which caused her a bit of surprise. And you've decided to get serious, huh? I thought you used submission moves, but you're also capable of using the paralysis technique dodging, said the green-haired girl, while looking at the blue-haired girl who was somewhat tired. Have I only managed to touch his clothes? Ryumu thought as he caught his breath while a few drops of sweat ran down his face. My turn, Ryofu said, and then launched himself at a monster speed towards the blue-haired girl, who had barely gotten up while preparing to block. The green-haired girl attacked Ryumu, who was limited to defending herself, but it didn't last long, since Rikuo's fighter hit different parts of her body, such as her arms, shoulders, thighs, sides, legs, and knees. The girl with the eye patch tried to hold on, but it was useless since she couldn't keep up. After the green-eyed girl hit her vital points, she kicked the Nanyo fighter in the back, causing the blue-haired girl to fall to her knees and then collapse on the ground face down, but conscious and motionless. Am I circa an apostrophe T move, thought Ryumu, who was trying to move, but her body didn't respond. That's how it paralyzes, since I have disabled all your joints, said the green-haired girl, while looking at the blue-haired girl. You will be a rag doll for an hour, I informed Ryumu. Ugh, just finish me off, Ryumu said in a weak and sad tone. I know she was resigned to this, yeah. You act like a deflated balloon. How cute, Ryofu said in a playful tone as he slowly approached the girl and then got on his knees. I would like to play with you, so he said while he brought his hand closer to the blue-haired girl who closed her eye, but. Ring ring ring. The sound of a cell phone made the green-haired girl stop, her hand almost close to the blue-haired girl's intimate part, since the real reason was that she wanted to play with her body, but she didn't continue because her cell phone was ringing, so she stood up again and then took out her skirt pocket and moved away from the blue-haired girl to a safe distance and then answered the call. Huh? Ryumu thought with confusion as he watched a green-haired girl continue talking to someone on the line. After a few minutes the green-haired girl returned to approach the blue-haired girl who was still face down because her body was paralyzed by the girl's technique. To the surprise and confusion of Raimu, who did not expect this, is that the green-haired girl leaned down to flip the girl face up and lift her off the ground and then leave her lying on a nearby tree. "I'd like to continue with this," Ryofu said as he stood up. "But I have something to do," while he walked away from the blue-haired girl. "Huh?" Raimu said doubtfully. "Like what?" "I have demanded of the green-haired girl." "Meeting with a certain person," said the green-haired girl as she turned around. "It's with Saji, isn't it?" Raimu asked in a serious tone. "No," Ryofu answered while the blue-haired girl raised an eyebrow since she thought she would go for the blonde. "It's with someone I met a week ago," he said when he gave a quick glance to the blue-haired girl. "And what is your name of her?" the blue-haired girl asked. "If you want to know, you'll have to win and advance to the end of the tournament. If you manage to beat me there, maybe I can answer that for you," answered the green-haired girl, and then went to the academy and went to see an injured and idiotic blonde to see if he was okay so she could leave him somewhere else and meet up with a friend to sleep. After 1 hour of the paralysis technique taking effect, the blue-haired girl recompassed herself as she got up and then left the place and went home. End of flashback. What does he mean by that? Raimu thought and then continued walking. "Hey girl, entry is prohibited here," said the guy with dull brown hair combed back to the blue-haired girl who ignored him as she walked past. "You didn't hear me," he said as he grabbed her right arm with his left hand, which he should never have done since the girl gave him a cold look. "Huh?" was the only thing he said about her before he was beaten by her blows from her. POW. Wham. POW. POW. Wham. POW. POW. Wham. POW. The guy with the dull brown hair combed back fell to the ground with a few bruises on his face while the blue-haired girl walked into the parking lot while adjusting her left glove with her eyes closed and then opened them. "Raimu Shimei, fighter," said the blue-haired girl as she continued on her way to the fight site. Kuoh Academy. Orchid Room. In the orchid room, which was in a glass greenhouse, we see 6 girls who are sitting in a Caesar position. There are 3 girls who are wearing white yukata with violet edges and a dark brown boy who is lying on his back on the floor while his head is in the lap of an 18-year-old girl. His height is 164 centimeters, he has circle-shaped glasses, red eyes. Long black hair that is tied in 2 ponytails with violet ribbons. He was wearing the Kuoh Academy uniform, long black stockings that reach his knees and brown shoes measurements. Chest. 85, waist. 57 hips. 83. This girl's name is Kaku Bunwa, Tataku's second in command. The dark brown one was looking and smelling a purple and white orchid. But there was one who was in front of her boss and the 4 girls. She was a 16-year-old girl, her height is 158 centimeters, she has short almost chocolate brown hair, green eyes, she is wearing a dress, her Kuoh Academy uniform, long white stockings that reach her knees, and brown shoes measurements chest. 84, waist. 58 hips. 86. This girl's name is Kaudai Chinkyu. She tilted her head to her left to look at her green-haired friend lover by chance, who looked with serious eyes at the dark brown-haired boy. Ryofu, Kanu won a victory, Kaudai thought, and then looked in front of the dark brown-haired boy who spoke. "Just what I expected from the great fighter of Kanu, a genius in combat, is worth more than 100 mediocre ones," said Tataku while looking at the orchid. "She is the future winner of this tournament," Kaku said to the dark brown-haired boy. "I heard that the superior forces are not enough to defeat her and that they made a boring bet," said the black-haired girl while she strokes her hair. "HMPH, not when there's one stronger than the others," Tataku said with an arrogant smile and then remembered something. "Oh, and the Supreme Conqueror Academy," he said while the green-haired girl heard about the aforementioned girl who was the orange-haired girl's friend with the brown-haired girl with golden and red locks. "Nanyo Academy," Kaku said. "He must be in the middle of the fight with Yashu," he said while notifying his boss who agreed. "Ah hey, Ryofu," said the dark brown-haired boy to the green-haired girl. "Forks," said Ryofu. "Last night, Raimu from Nanyo came to visit us." Tataku asked with a curious and arrogant tone at the same time. "She wanted to take Saji, but I sent her back home," and he responded formally to his boss who agreed. "Anyway, we can't bring back a dead person, aha," said the dark brown-haired man while letting out a small laugh. The green-haired girl just closed her eyes while the brunette next to her is a little uncomfortable since she knows her friend very well when she is lying. "MNN?" Kaku looked at the green-haired girl with suspicion. "What if we confront him with Kanu?" Tataku said as he calmly smelled the orchid. "MNN, so you're going to have the Supreme Conqueror, Hakufu Sansaku, duel Kanu?" Kaku asked his boss about him. "As I planned, she destroyed Yashu, so next," the dark brown-haired boy responded but couldn't finish his words because he was interrupted by the green-haired girl. Impossible, Hakufu-san. Saku will never defeat Kanu. Ryofu said with seriousness in his tone. Do you believe that? Said Tataku without turning his face. Ah. Said the green-haired girl, not believing that her boss was serious. If she fights against a powerful opponent like Kanu, said the dark brown-haired man, while slowly removing 2 pieces of the orchid. It would cause Saku to explode with rage, and they would fight each other to the death, he said very calmly. Ryofu was surprised to hear the dark brown-haired boy's plan. They are like 2 hungry tigers competing for their prey, and it would be a situation where both predators devour each other, said the black-haired girl with glasses to the dark brown-haired girl with a smile. You are certainly very intelligent, Kaku-kun, my dear chief of staff, said Tataku, who congratulated the black-haired girl with glasses on that. I don't want to question you, said Ryofu, who had stood up, making the dark brown-haired boy and the black-haired girl with glasses look at him. But you don't have to use that strategy. I, Ryofu-hausen, will take care of defeating Hakufu without making them kill each other, he said, while in his mind, he worried that the brown-haired boy with red locks would fight sooner or later against the purple-haired girl. He knew who she was, since the Seto warrior has resentment against the opposite hex, in other words men. Nanyo vs Yashu back. On a phone screen it said the following. Yashu vs Nanyo. Even though they had a good fight due to Gakushu's bravery, their defeat seems certain. We see how the muscle man from the Nanyo Academy was serious while taking a few small steps forward, causing his feet to wobble, and then falling to his knees and collapsing to the ground face down, implying that he was defeated. Gakushu Issei exclaimed with a worried tone. Akichin, said Hakufu in the same tone as the boy. I, said Ganryu as he raised his right foot back and before kicking the muscle man. Stop, said Kaetsu, putting his right hand in front of the scarred fighter, signaling him to stop. TSK, why are you interrupting me? The white sun hat asked the referee angrily. I think Gakushu is in no condition to fight, Yashu has the victory, Kaetsu answered, while the bald fighter smiled and the scarred one grew annoyed when he placed his left foot on the muscle man's head and then moved it from side to side. Miserable, said Issei with an angry expression at what he saw. That guy should T humiliate like that, said Drake, who is the same as his bearer. Issei, said the orange-haired girl, making the boy look at him to see how she had an annoyed expression, which is furious at what she is seeing the scene. You can't stop me now, he said as he walked forward towards the center of the fight. Bakufu-chan, wait, said the brown-haired red-haired boy who was going to stop her but. Companion, said the celestial dragon in his mind of him. What's wrong, Drake? Issei said to the red dragon. I'm sensing a Kai energy approaching, Drake said. Whose? Said the brown-red boy with a curious tone. Do you remember the day when a girl helped you take Tsuji to the hospital? Said the red dragon while the brown-red boy remembered until he had a click in his head. You mean, said Issei, who already knew who it was. Yes, Drake said while nodding. She is here, she is here, they both said. Why next, it's Hakufu-san. Saku's turn, said Hakufu as he raised his left arm upwards. HMPH, as I expected, Ganryu said as he picked up the sun cap on the ground and put it on his head. I'm going to play with you until you wet your underwear, he said in a cheeky tone to the orange-haired girl, and before he launched himself at her. Wait, said a female voice that was recognized by the brown-haired red-haired boy, so that he, along with the orange-haired boy and the others who were there, looked up to find Ryomu, who was standing on the railing looking at the center of the fight. The next fighter for Nanyo is truly yours, Ryomu Shimei, shouted to the four winds. Ryomu, said the brown-haired red-haired boy with a tone of surprise upon seeing the blue-haired girl. Wow, I never thought she wore such a hexy outfit, Issei thought as he looked at the maid outfit. Then, the blue-haired girl jumped onto the battlefield with a forward somersault and landed on her knees before getting up. Ah, Mu-chan, nice to see you, said the orange-haired girl, who effusively greeted the blue-haired girl who was approaching the man with the scar. Ryomu, Gakushu said with difficulty before falling unconscious. So it's you, Ryomu, Ganryu said in a mocking tone to his opponent while his hands are inside his pants pockets. I didn't expect you to come, ha 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 ha, now I'll have more fun while letting out a small laugh, yet confident at the same time. Haha, you're not going to interrupt like last time, are you? Said Bunshu with his arms crossed while the blue-haired girl didn't say a word as she saw the man with the scar with a serious expression. We can start, Ryomu said, ignoring the bald fighter's last comment as he closed his eye while adjusting his right glove. Ryomu, I remember what happened 2 years ago, said the white sun hat and then lunged at the blue-haired girl at full speed while his sun hat flew off his head. Uoa, she screamed as she was about to connect a solid blow with her right fist, but in that, the blue-haired girl opened her eye and with a quick movement she was able to catch her opponent in a key, strangling him on the neck with one of his legs and immobilizing him. Whoa, Ganryu cried in pain. Ganryu, Bunshu said to his partner. You haven't changed at all, Ganryu, the blue-haired girl said contemptuously as she tightened her grip a little more. You keep attacking with your surprise attack and your disgusting face, he said coldly. He has it, Issei said with a smile. A chokehold, interesting, Drake thought. Amazing, Hakufu said in a whisper. You still use that cheap grabbing technique like before, Ganryu said with difficulty due to her blue-haired girl's grip, which tightened a little more. But if I fall on my back of her in this position, I swear you'll end up with another patch in the hospital. He tried to threaten her, but it was no use since he was immobilized by the key. Why don't you try to move, if you can? Raimu said challengingly to the scarred man, who smiled confidently as he believed that the key technique was useless for him, so he tried to move, but noticed that his body was not responding. He tried to move, but with the same result. What? My legs are, she said about the white sun hat with an expression of surprise at the immobility of her legs. Ed? Said Raimu, who is upside down. Well, I'll answer you. I used the paralysis technique jogging on your body, so you won't move for a while, he said to the white sun hat. Damn, Ganryu said with difficulty while a drop of blood was secreted from his left eye, falling from his cheek, in other words a tear, and from the 2 holes in his nose lines were coming out that went from his mouth to his chin. It's going to fail, said the brown-red one. Ganryu, what do you think you're doing? Said the bald man to his companion. I am, said Ganryu as he raised his right arm upwards with difficulty, and with his hand, she took the blue-haired girl's underwear and then pulled it a little, leaving her butt almost exposed due to the position of her grip. From Yashu Academy, Ganryu, he said when he could move his legs again. Her legs are moving, the orange-haired girl exclaimed in a tone of surprise. He is nullifying the paralyzing attack jogging with his kai, said the red dragon, amazed by the feat of the white sun hat fighter. At that, the scarred man stepped back to crush the blue-haired girl with his own weight and free himself. Uchan, Hakufu said with concern. Be careful, Issei said. The blue-haired girl let go of her opponent's neck and released her legs, then quickly changed position to grab her arms and use the same momentum generated by the scarred man. Raimu shouted and then slammed him to the ground with a suplex added to his own strength, which generated a devastating impact for the fighter Yashu. Oof. He did it, said the brown-red one. On a phone screen it said the following. Raimu defeated Ganryu and Nanyo has her first victory. Fabulous, it seems that Mu-chan is stronger, said Hakufu after seeing the fight while the brown-haired red man approached her. Yes, I thought so, Issei said. But something has changed in her, she said to her Ella orange-haired friend. Then, the blue-haired girl stood up and ignoring the now unconscious scarred fighter as she settled in, she pulled up her underwear with her hands, but not before revealing a little of her butt. Oh, what a nice ass, Issei thought with a bit of perversion in his mind as he placed his left hand on his nose because he felt a bit of his blood almost coming out while the blue-haired girl looked at him, which he looked away, but what he didn't notice and the red dragon did was that the girl with the eye patch had a slight blush on her cheeks. He saw me, Raimu thought, still blushing. Mate, now is not the time for you to start fantasizing, but the giant needs some attention, the red dragon reported. True, Gakushu, said the brown-red man, remembering the muscle man who is unconscious on the ground. Issei, are you okay? Hakufu asked the brown-haired red-haired boy who recovered. Is that Issei? When did he change? Although his hair looks good on him, thought the blue-haired girl while staring at the boy. Yes, I'm fine, Issei replied. For now, we have to take Gakushu to the hospital, he said as he approached where the muscled man was and then carried the enormous body on his back. Ugh, gosh, Gakushu weighs like an 80-kilo rock, thought the brown-red boy. And what will happen with the fight? Asked the orange-haired girl. Don't worry, said Raimu, causing him to draw Issei Hakufu's attention. I will finish it, he decisively said. Are you sure? Issei said, only for the blue-haired girl to nod. Oh, really? How do you plan to do that with a mind as illogical as yours? Bunshu said to the blue-haired girl. Say whatever you want, but today I will get revenge for what you did to Tae, said Raimu, since he had a pending account with the person who stole the violet-haired boy so that he ended up in a wheelchair. What are you talking about? Hakufu asked a brown-haired boy with doubt. I don't know, but I would say it's a personal matter, Issei replied. We have to leave, Hakufu-chan, he said as he walked out of the place. Yes, said the orange-haired girl as she followed him. Hold on, Gaku-chan, she said, worried about her big friend. After climbing the stairs to the first floor and then the brown-red one stopped for a moment. Raimu, said Issei, making the blue-haired girl look at him from below. Be careful and good luck, he said while the blue-haired girl just smiled and winked at him in response, causing the boy to blush involuntarily. Well, this scene was seen by the orange-haired girl who did N''T know what she felt in her chest. Why do I feel like I'm upset with Mu-chan for getting Issei's attention? Hakufu thought to himself. After that, Issei and Hakufu along with the unconscious muscle man continued on their way towards the parking lot exit. "I don't think you can handle me," said the bald man before jumping to place his feet on a pillar on the left and then giving a boost to kick with his left foot at full power against a blue-haired girl. "Ooh," he screamed, but she just dodged normally, but a part of her eye patch was torn while the fighter hit the ground, which formed a small crater, and at the moment he turned around to prepare to attack, but huh? I notice that the girl is not there while I look around. In the air, there is the blue-haired girl with her eye closed and a serious expression since she previously jumped after dodging the bald fighter's blow. Compared to Injutsu's cowardice, Raimu thought and then opened his eye. Oh? Bunshu looked up only to be greeted by a kick with both feet from the blue-haired girl who stayed like that for a while. Ugh, I let out a cry of pain. The Kufu's stupidity could be better, Raimu thought as her eye patch slowly fell off only to reveal her left eye closed, then she pulsed upwards before the bald fighter caught her with his arms, in that she grabbed both of the man's wrists so that she was face down, which left her white underwear exposed. In one movement she spun on her axis to the left so that her body was lowered and hit the back of the bald fighter's head with her feet while pulling his arms back, causing the bald fighter to become immobile. "Because I can also be stupid without thinking about it," she said to deliver the final blow. "Ah," said Bunshu before the blue-haired girl used her strength to send him face down to the ground with a dull sound and knocking him out. "Go off." On the screen of a phone there was a message. Raimu from Nanyo quickly finished off Bunshu from Yashu. Clarification of the after Chapter 5. 1. Ryofu explains the rules of the tournament to Issei. 2. I have started magic training with Elsha. 3. How the tournament participants are left. Nanyo. School, University, National Diet and Imperial College Victoria. Yes. Goodbye and goodbye dead. Sido. Kanuachu victory. Hayasho. Kakuten Genjo, Kakaku Haku, Shizanosu and Saosu Mitoku. Bakuyo. Ryofu Hausen. For Issei and Drag look for a way to break the seal that contains the Hakufu dragon. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.